On the first day of the 5th month in the 7th year of Xinjin, the Northern Star King was to marry the Prime Minister's daughter, Fu Shui. The Northern Star Palace was decorated festively. Guests filled the seats. In the great hall stood a man in red robes. His flawlessly handsome face showed no expression, exuding an aura of unapproachability. People discussed how the Prime Minister's daughter was beautiful and well-read. Her marriage to the Northern Star King was truly a beautiful story. The bride, surrounded by people, walked into the hall. Though her face was covered by a veil, one could tell she was a beauty just by her graceful figure. Under everyone's gaze and discussion, the newlyweds completed the ceremony. The rumors about the Northern Star King's preference for men were dispelled. The officiant loudly announced the completion of the ceremony and to escort them to the bridal chamber. Before the words faded, the newly married Northern Star King's wife suddenly tore off her red veil, revealing an extremely beautiful face and a seductive, triumphant smile. But that wasn't the point. The point was she wasn't the Northern Star King's wife, Fu Shui. Chu Mei looked at the Northern Star King with a smile brimming with meaning. Northern Star King, you've completed the ceremony with me. From now on, you're my man. Tuoba Jun's brows furrowed slightly. Expressionlessly, he asked, "Who are you? Where is my queen?" Chu Mei flipped a strand of her hair. With a curled lip, she said, "My name is Chu Mei." Chu as in charming, Mei as in bewitching the Northern Star King. Chu Mei stepped closer to Tuoba Jun, her finger lightly tapping his chest. "Your Highness's memory is quite poor. You've forgotten me. Poor me, with my devoted heart, had to come and snatch the bride." Tuoba Jun swatted away Chu Mei's hand. Still expressionless, he coldly said, "Hand over Fu Shui." Chu Mei pouted, telling Tuoba Jun that Fu Shui was safe at the Prime Minister's residence, and she only wanted to complete the ceremony and marry Tuoba Jun. Tuoba Jun's lips curled coldly. This Chu Mei had actually helped him solve the problem of Fu Shui. How interesting. He stepped forward, pulling Chu Mei into his arms. People could only see them embracing tightly, but didn't see Tuoba Jun pressing his left hand on Chu Mei's vital point. Tuoba Jun asked in a voice only they could hear. The #1 immortal expert in the martial world, the renowned Huani Immortal, switched places with the Northern Star King's wife. "What exactly is your purpose?" Chu Mei ignored the hand on her vital point, stood on tiptoe, wrapped her arms around Tuoba Jun's neck, and without hesitation, kissed his lips. Chu Mei didn't linger. After quickly separating, she still looked at Tuoba Jun with admiring eyes. What purpose could a woman have for running away to snatch the groom on her wedding day? Of course, it's to marry you and bear your child. Prime Minister Fu angrily demanded Chu Mei a hand over Fu Shui. Looking at the still embracing couple, he became even more furious, telling Tuoba Jun to arrest this vixen Chu Mei. Coming to cause trouble at the Northern Star King's palace, she must not be let off lightly. Tuoba Jun smiled, wiped the woman's lip rouge from his mouth, and looked at everyone. "Who dares to give orders in my Northern Star Palace and make decisions for me?" Everyone immediately dared not make a sound. Tuoba Jun tilted Chu Mei's chin up. "Do you mean what you said?" Chu Mei's eyes curved in a smile. "I do." Tuoba Jun lifted Chu Mei in his arms. "If that's the case, then you shall be my queen." Tuoba Jun carried Chu Mei through the crowd towards the back courtyard. He informed Prime Minister Fu to tell the emperor that he already had a queen. The engagement with the Prime Minister's daughter was hereby annulled. The Prime Minister was in disbelief. He shouted angrily at Tuoba Jun's back, demanding an explanation, but received no response. Passing through the complex buildings, Chu Mei caressed Tuoba Jun's face, leaning close to his neck, her breath fragrant. "Your Highness, this isn't the way to the bridal chamber. On such a beautiful night, wouldn't Your Highness be wasting this precious time by not spending it with me?" The warm breath tickled Tuoba Jun's neck. He remained unmoved. "In front of me, my queen, you can drop your illusions." Chu Mei was startled. Indeed, her illusions had no effect on him. Chu Mei, unfazed, lowered her head and smiled, telling Tuoba Jun that she wouldn't dare use such trivial tricks in front of the Northern Star King. She'd go wherever he took her. Tuoba Jun kicked open a room's door. Behind a gauze curtain lay a man in his undergarments. The man hurriedly arranged his clothes, asking Tuoba Jun in surprise why he was here on what should be his wedding day. Seeing Chu Mei's puzzled examination of the man, He explained his identity. Your Highness's servant, Luo Jui. Luo Jui was said to be the most beautiful man in the world. Could he be Tooba Jun's male favorite? Tooba Jun set Chu Mei down, telling her Luo Jui had injured his foot and asking her to take a look. His casual tone made Chu Mei instantly bristle. You're asking me, your new bride, to treat your male favorite? Are you kidding? Tooba Jun, still expressionless, told Chu Mei that if she wanted to be his queen, she should learn the first rule of his palace. In his palace, his word was law. If she couldn't comply, she was free to leave. Chu Mei gritted her teeth, suppressing her anger. Forcing a smile, she said, Fine, it's just treating a foot injury, right? Tooba Jun turned and left. As soon as he was gone, Chu Mei turned to Luo Jui with a seemingly kind face. I am the Huani immortal. A mere foot injury. Let's treat it well. Soon after, Luo Jui's screams echoed throughout the palace. One day later, the maid Qing Lian worriedly asked Chu Mei if she was concerned about being thrown out of the palace if Luo Jui complained about yesterday's treatment. Chu Mei yawned carelessly, reminding Qing Lian to address her as Your Highness now. Then she proudly told Qing Lian that she was simply focused on treating Luo Jui's injury, not slacking at all. She wanted him to tell Tooba Jun that the first rule of the Huani Immortal is to never be taken advantage of. Suddenly, the door was kicked open with a bang. Chu Mei turned to see a woman in yellow clothing burst in, her pretty face full of anger. Pointing at Chu Mei, she scolded, You shameless hussy, get out of here! Chu Mei calmly replied, Such aggression. Could you be the Northern Star King's secret lover? Even if you're his concubine, I'm now the queen. There's a hierarchy, and your manners are quite inappropriate. The woman in yellow was so angry she stomped her feet. Who do you think you are to be the queen? Chu Mei feigned realization. Oh, you must be Miss Fu Shui. But wait, Fu Shui doesn't look like this. Is this how you look without makeup? The woman in yellow, enraged, raised her whip to attack Chu Mei. I am Brother Shin's sister, Princess Jingen. Keep talking nonsense, and I'll tear your mouth apart. Chu Mei grabbed a nearby feather duster, wrapping it around the incoming whip. Oh, it's the princess. But even a princess doesn't have the right to hit the queen, does she? Princess Jingen retorted, saying the royal family would never recognize Chu Mei. Chu Mei released the feather duster, feeling completely unfazed. Recognition doesn't matter. I don't really want to be the queen anyway. As long as I can complete my mission, everything else is irrelevant. The long-abused feather duster broke into two pieces. Princess Jingen said triumphantly, Now where will you hide? Chu Mei pointed a dressing mirror at Princess Jingen, letting her see her feather-covered appearance. She laughed. The princess is indeed a phoenix fallen from heaven, just unfortunately molting at the moment. Princess Jingen burst into tears. How dare you insult me? She ran out crying, Wait till I tell my brother to divorce you. Chu Mei waved, saying, Take care on your way out. In an exquisitely carved pavilion, a guard was holding Luo Jui's foot, reporting to Tooba Sheng. Though Luo Jui's injury had improved since yesterday, it still looked frightening. Yesterday, standing guard outside, he heard Luo Jui's screams. She could have easily healed him, but deliberately tormented him. With such a vicious heart, the guard suggested that Your Highness should expel Chu Mei as soon as possible. Luo Jui chuckled, telling the guard his injury was trivial. His apparent suffering was just to fool Chu Mei. The king surely had his reasons for keeping her around. Tooba Jun asked Mo Yin to fetch the ice jade snow cream, but Luo Jui stopped him, saying such a minor injury didn't require royal medicine. As Mo Yin was about to get the medicine, they heard a commotion at the door. Princess Jingen burst in angrily. With teary eyes, she complained to Tooba Jun, saying that vile woman Chu Mei had hit and insulted her, demanding Tooba Jun to expel her. Luo Jui interrupted, saying Chu Mei was still the queen and should be respected. Princess Jingen snapped at Luo Jui. What right does she have to be queen? As my brother's male favorite, aren't you tired of pretending? Tooba Jun's face darkened. He rebuked Jingen. Who gave you the audacity to spout such nonsense here? Luo Jui intervened, saying the princess spoke out of anger. However, Chu Mei was properly married to the king and wouldn't be divorced on a whim. Princess Jingen retorted angrily, denying it was a proper marriage, calling it shameless instead. Before she could finish, Tooba Tao interrupted. Who instructed you to kick down the queen's door early this morning? Princess Jingen shouted, It was my own idea. That position should have been Fu Shui's, but that vile woman stole it. Tooba Tao sighed in relief. At least she wasn't instigated by others. He patted Princess Jingen's head, telling her not to be disrespectful to the queen in the future. Then he asked Mo Yin to escort Jingen out. Luo Jui smiled, shaking his head, saying the princess was too naive. Fu Shui was just a pawn arranged by the emperor. Even if Chu Mei hadn't crashed the wedding last night, he would have gone to act in the marketplace anyway. He then asked Tuoba Jun if he had investigated Chu Mei's background. Last year, when Tuoba Jun was ambushed and fell unconscious, someone saved him, but he lost his jade pendant. It just happened to appear in Chu Mei's possession. Tuoba Jun stated that if it wasn't flawless, how would he dare to come to the Northern Star Palace? Luo Jui asked with a smile if the king meant Chu Mei was suspicious. Tuoba Jun told Luo Jui to continue monitoring her, to find out who she might be colluding with. Qing Lian rushed into the room, telling Chu Mei that today Tuoba Jun had accepted 4 beauties bestowed by the emperor. The palace hadn't had women for years, and this time he accepted without hesitation. Chu Mei joked, after being abstinent for so long, naturally he's addicted after tasting it for the first time after marriage. Suddenly, Tuoba Jun walked in, smiling and asking Chu Mei what she was talking about. Chu Mei wondered if he had come to question about Luo Jui's matter. Chu Mei asked Tuoba Sheng's purpose for coming. Tuoba Sheng countered, asking if he couldn't come without a reason. Chu Mei marveled at how free Tuoba Sheng was while greeting him with a smile. Qing Lian tactfully withdrew. Chu Mei took the opportunity to mention the 4 beauties Tuoba Sheng had accepted today. Tuoba Sheng teased if she was jealous. Chu Mei, while pouring tea, pretended to understand, saying it was to give an explanation to the emperor and wealthy families. Accepting 4 beauties would secure her position as the queen. Tuoba Sheng denied after a moment of silence. Chu Mei was overthinking. Having more concubines would also prevent Chu Mei from getting bored. Chu Mei knew well that Tuoba Sheng wouldn't make such a disadvantageous deal. He must have another purpose. Chu Mei feigned confusion and asked Tuoba Tao what he meant. Tuoba Tao didn't answer, only asking if she still had the jade pendant. Chu Mei answered affirmatively, inwardly marveling at how quickly the topic had changed. Tuoba Jun instructed Chu Mei to keep the jade pendant safe. Except for Luoyua Pavilion and Taohua Cottage, she could manage the rest of the palace as she saw fit. Chu Mei's smile remained unchanged, saying she would manage the household fairly and get along peacefully with the other concubines. Both harbored ulterior motives, ready to face whatever came their way, but maintained a harmonious facade. Chu Mei asked Tuoba Sheng where he would rest tonight, having just accepted 4 new beauties. Tuoba Sheng only said, "Turn off the lights." Chu Mei's expression changed dramatically, realizing he intended to stay here. Then Tuoba Sheng added, "I'll sleep on the bed. You sleep on the couch." Chu Mei sighed in relief, then smiled and probed, saying married couples shouldn't sleep separately. Tuoba Sheng coldly responded, asking if he needed to repeat the first rule of the palace. Chu Mei very consciously grabbed a new set of bedding, assuring she wouldn't go near his bed even if sleepwalking. One day, Chu Mei, still asleep, was awakened by Qing Lian. She was then informed that the master had issued a new urgent task. It was to investigate within a month whether Tuoba Shun had any special marks on his body. The crucial point was that it didn't specify where the mark was. Did this mean Chu Mei had to see Tuoba Jun's entire body? But Tuoba Jun never let women get close to him. Judging from yesterday, he might flee if she dared to remove even one piece of clothing. Chu Mei asked Qing Lian with a dejected face if someone else could do this task, but was mercilessly refused. Chu Mei put on her outer garments, deciding to go all out. She inquired about Tuoba Shun's whereabouts for the day. Learning he had gone to Changwa Gong's mansion and the young lord had an appointment at Chunjiang Pavilion, she asked Qing Lian to prepare as they would be going out soon. Qing Lian asked where they were going. Chu Mei turned back with a determined look. She smiled and said, "The brothel." Chu Mei had Qing Lian wait outside while she entered the brothel alone. The old madam directed a group of girls into a room. She muttered, telling them to serve the king well, saying it would be their fortune if he liked them. Chu Mei understood and mixed in with the girls to find Tuoba Shun. Entering the room, she saw the young lord showcasing a line of new beauties to Tuoba Tao. He also mocked Chu Mei, saying a woman from the Jianghu naturally couldn't compare to the girls of Chunjiang Pavilion. Tuoba Tao remained expressionless, unmoved. He only said to speak directly, or he would leave. The young lord immediately dropped the roundabout talk, saying his purpose for the invitation was to exchange that treasure with Tuoba Tao. Chu Mei was shocked to hear this. Could the treasure the young lord spoke of be the art of war? He wanted it too? Tuoba Tao asked what he wanted to exchange. The young lord waved his fan, saying naturally it was also A treasure, the famous courtesan of Chunjiang Pavilion, Miss Han Yin. She was on par with Miss Kuyu, who left with Tuoba Tao years ago. If Tuoba Tao agreed to the exchange, she would be sent to his mansion immediately. Everyone teased Tuoba Shun for being romantic. Chu Mei stared at Tuoba Shin, silently pondering who this Kuyu was. So the Northern Star King had a romantic past. As she was thinking, she suddenly met Tuoba Shun's gaze. Chu Mei hurriedly lowered her head in fright. Goodness, with so many people staring at him, he could still spot her. Did this man's vigilance have to be so good? Tuoba Tao smiled and declined the young lord's request, citing a fierce wife at home as the reason. Everyone laughed, saying even the king was afraid of a formidable woman. But Chu Mei sensed that Tuoba Tao seemed to want to use her to escape this place of entertainment. The young lord joked that a Jianghu woman couldn't compare to the top courtesan, suggesting he divorce that shrew. If she didn't comply with Tuoba Tao's wishes, she might incur his dislike, which would be unfavorable for future plans. So Chu Mei cooperated with Tuoba Shun, stepping out from the crowd and asking sternly if the Chongnan Marquis wanted to divorce her. When did outsiders get to decide the affairs of the Northern Star King's mansion? Married yesterday, and today the Marquis is already talking about divorce and sending concubines. As long as I'm here, you can forget about pushing people into the Northern Star King's mansion. The Chongnan Marquis exclaimed in surprise, asking if she was the woman who crashed the wedding and why she was here. Chu Mei retorted that she had heard of the young lord's profligacy, inviting the king to this place of entertainment. So naturally she came along out of concern. Sure enough, he was trying to force the king to take a concubine, which was outrageous. Tuoba Jun secretly approved of her ability to counter each move. Not bad. The young lord was left speechless, only able to glare at Chu Mei. Chu Mei continued her tirade, saying he'd never seen such a beautiful woman as her. Put away that devouring gaze. I only like the Northern Star King. The king said last night he only loved me, and he can't go back on his word. Tuoba Jun secretly held his forehead, thinking she was going overboard. He doubted if asking Chu Mei to clean up the mess was a mistake. Seeing the two about to leave, the young lord hurriedly called out to stop Tuoba Shun, asking what it would take for him to agree to the exchange. Chu Mei answered for Tuoba Shun, saying nothing would make him exchange. Tuoba Shun pulled his arm from Chu Mei's grasp, saying that while the Qi Shao sword was priceless, it was just a piece of scrap iron. If something truly valuable was offered, an exchange might be possible. Chu Mei was startled, asking if he meant the sword. Tuoba Jun smirked, asking what she thought it was. Chu Mei quickly covered, saying she thought it was some rare treasure. Back at the palace, a maid reported. Chu Mei said Consort Fu had been kneeling outside her chambers all morning and had now fainted. Chu Mei thought to herself that the fainting was quite timely. She wondered what trick was being played. Chu Mei went to Fu Shue's quarters. Sitting by Fu Shue's bedside, she kindly inquired about Fu Shue's condition. Fu Shue said pitifully, "If the princess doesn't want to see me, she can just say so. Why make me kneel outside the palace all morning to humiliate me?" Chu Mei thought to herself, "You knew I wasn't in the mansion, yet you came to pay respects. Using fainting to gain sympathy? This is too easy to see through." Chu Mei kindly apologized and said that as the laundry fairy, she would personally examine Fu Shue's condition. After casually taking her pulse, she said it was a deficiency of qi and blood. 3 acupuncture needles would cure it instantly. As they pushed and pulled each other, Chu Mei quickly stuck a needle into Fu Shue's hand. Then she asked Fu Shue how she felt. Fu Shue hurriedly said she suddenly felt better. Leaving Fu Shue's quarters, Chu Mei's smile faded. She was determined to secure her position as princess. Before her mission was complete, she wouldn't allow anyone to interfere. Qing Lian called Chu Mei, saying she had something to report. Could it be news from Tuoba Jun? Inside the Peach Blossom Lodge was a pool. The water flowed from a waterfall behind the mountain. Tuoba Jun was sitting under the waterfall, practicing martial arts. Chu Mei learned from Qing Lian that Tuoba Jun usually practiced in the pool. She thought this was a good opportunity to see his mark. However, the mist by the waterfall was too thick. She would have to get close to see clearly. But Tuoba Jun was too vigilant. The chance was rare, so Chu Mei entered the pool fully clothed. She didn't expect Tuoba Jun to be so fully dressed while practicing. He had quite a good figure. Suddenly, Tuoba Jun appeared in front of Chu Mei. Looking down at her, he grabbed her neck. "How dare you? I warned you not to come near Peach Blossom Lodge." The hand on her neck tightened. Chu Mei explained, I came from the back mountain. Is it wrong to want to see my husband? Tuoba Jun released his hand and asked how she came here. Chu Mei coughed lightly and said she had just disciplined his new concubine, and now everyone in the mansion was calling her arrogant and domineering. The king took a concubine right after marriage and visited brothels. Was she just for show? She wanted an explanation. Tuoba Jun asked if she would leave now if he told her to. Chu Mei replied that of course not. She would cling to his leg and cry without letting go. Tuoba Jun pinched Chu Mei's chin. That settles it then. If you're bullied to tears and can't handle it, don't come to me. As my princess, you can be arrogant and domineering. But if you're found to be unfaithful, there's only one outcome, death. Chu Mei agreed, feeling cold inside. Playing mind games with Tuoba Sheng was like dancing on a knife's edge, but she had to complete her mission. Tuoba Sheng watched Chu Mei's retreating figure, pondering. Under his questioning, Chu Mei remained calm. Cleverly, Chu Mei suddenly got a leg cramp and fell into the pool, calling for his help. What a peculiar woman, making a fool of herself right after being praised. Tuoba Jun carried Chu Mei out of the pool. Chu Mei looked embarrassed and hesitantly asked if she had just drunk Tuoba Jun's bathwater. He practiced for hours at a time. Wouldn't he have to? Tuoba Jun told her to shut up. Chu Mei asked again with a pitiful face, insisting on an answer. Of course not. At this moment, a strange woman suddenly appeared, holding a cloak and telling Tuoba Shin not to catch a cold. The woman informed Tuoba Jun that Luo Jiuyi had business with him and was waiting at Luo Yu Pavilion. Tuoba Jun took the cloak and put it on Chu Mei. He instructed the woman called Qin Ji to take Chu Mei back to her chambers by sedan chair. Unexpectedly, the Northern Star King had a considerate side. Qin Ji bowed to Chu Mei. Chu Mei sighed that there was such a beauty in the palace. She felt the woman glared at her before leaving on her own. Back in her chambers, Chu Mei complained to Qing Lian. Let alone hidden parts, she couldn't even touch a strand of Tuoba Jun's hair before becoming soaked. She asked Qing Lian if she had found out any information. Qing Lian replied that the midwife who delivered the Northern Star King and those who served him had all died in a fire. It didn't seem like a coincidence, but rather deliberate concealment of something. Indeed, there was a major secret hidden. The investigation of the birthmark couldn't be leaked to anyone. Chu Mei then asked about news of Kuyu. Qing Lian reported all the information she had found. 5 years ago, she was the lead performer at Chunjiang Pavilion. Later taken away by the Northern Star King, she accompanied him in battles. She died on the battlefield 3 years ago. Since then, the Northern Star King returned to the capital and gave up all his power. He seemed deeply affected, only wanting to be an idol prince. Chu Mei remarked that she didn't see how he was like an idol prince at all. Then Qing Lian mentioned that Kuyu had a younger sister named Qing Ji, who now lived in Peach Blossom Lodge. The Northern Star King particularly valued her. Chu Mei must not offend her. The woman she just met turned out to be Kuyu's sister. Qing Lian worriedly asked if anything happened when they met. Chu Mei said she was the mistress of the palace. What could happen? She told Qing Lian to bring food, saying she needed energy to think of ways to investigate the birthmark. As night fell, Chu Mei was awakened by a noise outside her door. She sat up abruptly with silver needles in hand, shouting, "Who's there?" "I'm the Northern Star Princess. What do you want?" Chu Mei was surprised. Qing Lian should be guarding the door. Who else could get past her strong martial arts? The intruder entered, and as the bedside candle lit up, Chu Mei finally saw who it was. "Oh, it's your highness. In the middle of the night, I thought it was an assassin." Tuoba Shun looked Chu Mei over, his lips curling slightly. Huani immortal. Chu Mei's illusions captivate hearts. Her medical skills save lives. Skilled in illusions and qigong, not versed in other martial arts. But judging from her reaction just now, I should add, highly vigilant and skilled with hidden weapons. Chu Mei was startled at first, then smiled ingratiatingly. "Didn't your highness already know all this on the night of clarification? Why bring it up now?" Tuoba Jun said seriously, "Use your illusions to help me ask about something." Chu Mei hesitated and asked who he wanted to question. If it was to deal with the young master's people, preparations had to be made in advance. Tiansha Brotherhood wasn't part of the young master's forces. Helping him was fine and could earn some goodwill. Chu Mei smiled and said no problem, then asked if she could get a reward for helping his highness. Tooba Jun asked as expected what she wanted. Chu Mei smiled and said she didn't want gold or silver, just a portrait of His Highness. Without clothes, a full-body one. Not too abstract, but clear at first glance. Acting infatuated. She said looking at this portrait in the future would be like His Highness sleeping beside her, no longer lonely. For the sake of the mission, she was really going all out. Even the usually calm and indifferent Tooba Jun's expression changed drastically. This woman was really something, always thinking about such nonsense. Tooba Jun turned to leave. Chu Mei chased after him, asking if he would give it or not. Tooba Jun gave her a threatening look, as if she wouldn't go if he didn't give it to her. Of course she would go. The first rule of the prince's mansion was that the prince's word was law. Chu Mei gazed at Tooba Jun with resentful eyes. Even Tooba Jun couldn't quite handle this look. He could only turn away and order her to get dressed and set out. On the way, she learned that the imperial power wasn't in Tooba Jun's hands, but had gone to Prince Su's mansion. Entering the dungeon, Luo Jiuyi was already inside. Huang Quan had already fallen unconscious. Tooba Jun gestured for Chu Mei to come forward and check his condition. This person had fainted due to excessive blood loss. It was perfect for using the dream entering technique directly. He asked Tooba Jun what he wanted to know. Tooba Jun told him to ask, who issued the assassination order for Kuyu 3 years ago. The expression when saying this was one of nervousness Chu Mei had never seen before. Chu Mei stared into Huang Chuan's eyes and activated her soul-capturing technique. Chu Mei asked him who ordered him to assassinate Kuyu 3 years ago. Huang Chuan's face contorted in pain. He only managed to say Tooba before passing out again. Chu Mei was also affected by the backlash, being thrown to the ground. Luo Jiuyi asked if she had gotten any information. Chu Mei wiped the blood from the corner of her mouth. She said she tried her best. There were only the words Tooba in his mind. He was already mentally unstable. They couldn't interrogate him anymore. Tooba Jun immediately picked up the injured Chu Mei and instructed Luo Jiuyi to send some tonics to Yunzi Palace. Chu Mei looked at Tooba Jun's profile, feeling somewhat touched. She hadn't found out who was behind it, but he wasn't angry and even cared about her. She didn't expect Tooba Jun to have such a considerate side. Tooba Jun carried Chu Mei back to Yunzi Palace. For the first time ever, he said, "You've worked hard," before turning to leave. Luo Jiuyi brought tonics to Yunzi Palace. Chu Mei questioned Luo Jiuyi. Why wasn't Huang Quan in the mansion, but in Prince Su's dungeon instead? Luo Jiuyi explained. Huang Quan was captured by Prince Su. Both the Emperor and Tooba Shun wanted this person. It wasn't appropriate for Prince Su to hand him over to either side, so he could only keep him in his own palace dungeon for now. Chu Mei, confused, asked again, couldn't the Emperor and the Prince just interrogate him together? Sneaking in late at night was truly unbecoming of the prince's status. Luo Jiuyi continued to explain. Some questions weren't suitable to be asked in front of the Emperor. Huang Quan wasn't just related to Kuyu's death, but also to the 500,000 taels of silver missing from the court. That's why Tooba Shun was in such a hurry to interrogate him. Chu Mei thought to herself, the rumor that the Tooba royal brothers were close must be a lie. At least between Tooba Shun and the Emperor, there was discord. Outwardly, Chu Mei expressed that as the prince's wife, she would fully support the prince's grand talents and far-sighted plans. Luo Jiuyi bowed and requested that since Kuyu's matter wasn't simple either, he hoped Chu Mei could provide more assistance. After exchanging pleasantries, Luo Jiuyi said Tooba Jun had him prepare an album, something Chu Mei had been longing for. Chu Mei's heart leapt with joy. Could it be Tooba Jun's portrait? But why did it feel so thick when she touched it? Chu Mei opened the cover and took just one look before throwing the book away. Her face turned ashen. Tooba Jun, you're ruthless. Suddenly, a voice came from above. Marquis Changnan Pei Xiaonan was sitting on the wall, holding the book Chu Mei had just thrown away. He teased, I didn't expect the princess to have a hobby of looking at erotic pictures. Chu Mei glared at him. Why are you climbing over my courtyard wall? Young Marquis Pei Xiaonan flipped down and landed in front of Chu Mei. He held a pile of gold and silver in his hands. He said he came today to apologize to Chu Mei and had also picked up the thing she dropped. He then sighed, saying the queen's taste was indeed different from that of noble ladies. Chu Mei blushed and refused his approach. She said, I know you want the Qi Shao sword, but it's useless to ask him. Pei Xiaonan quickly added that something else would do too. Whatever he could get, he'd bring it to Chu Mei right away. Chu Mei thought it over. It would be difficult for her to see Tooba Jun's mark, but with his help, it might be much easier. He turned back to look at Pei Xiaonan with a smile. Pei Xiaonan broke out in a cold sweat, feeling like he'd been sold out. Chu Mei said, I do have one request. If you can agree, I'll give you the Qi Shao sword. Pei Xiaonan quickly asked what the request was. Chu Mei grinned mischievously, saying she wanted him to create an opportunity for her to see the Northern Star King naked. Pei Xiaonan gasped, Are you joking? That's too difficult. Aren't you afraid I'll tell the Northern Star King? Will you do it for the Qi Shao sword or not? Pei Xiaonan gritted his teeth and agreed. He then said that although he agreed, he had no good ideas. He asked Chu Mei if she had any thoughts. Chu Mei told him to use the Qi Shao sword as a pretext. To spar with Tuoba Jun, Pei Xiaonan didn't need to win, just to wound Tuoba Jun. This way, she could persuade Tuoba Jun to take off his clothes to treat the wound. Pei Xiaonan was almost in tears. Let alone wounding him, not getting beaten to a pulp would be good enough. Chu Mei chuckled, saying she had a clever plan. The next day, Pei Xiaonan came to the Northern Star Palace early, demanding Tuoba Jun to duel with him, using the Qi Shao sword. Chu Mei joined their conversation, greeting them. The two exchanged glances. Pei Xiaonan shouted that he was about to duel with Tuoba Jun for the Qi Shao sword. Pei Xiaonan taunted, saying a great sword befits a hero. If he dared not duel, how could he be called a hero? He wouldn't deserve to own the Qi Shao sword. Tuoba Jun pondered silently. Although Pei Xiaonan was a playboy, he wasn't stupid. Knowing he would lose but still challenging, he must have some backing. Chu Mei pretended to defend Tuoba Jun, saying, If His Majesty doesn't want to, you can't force him, can you? Pei Xiaonan inwardly marveled at how masterfully this woman could act. Tuoba Jun asked Pei Xiaonan what he planned to lose to him. Pei Xiaonan was momentarily speechless. He looked at Chu Mei and said, I did give you a welcome gift yesterday. Can't you put in a good word for me? Chu Mei mercilessly said that as a married woman, she couldn't accept gifts from others and was planning to return it. Hearing this, Tuoba Jun stood up abruptly and told Pei Xiaonan. 3 days later, at the Western Arena, he then instructed Chu Mei that she could keep the gift, considering it his win. Chu Mei smiled and said, All right, let's consider this gift as the stake. Pei Xiaonan left angrily. Inwardly, he cursed that this couple was truly merciless when it came to tricking people. Tuoba Jun watched Chu Mei smiling as she saw Pei Xiaonan off. He thought her protective stance earlier was indeed quite adorable, but he didn't need a woman's protection. Chu Mei thanked Tuoba Jun for betting the Qi Shao sword against Pei Xiaonan. Tuoba Jun said it was enough for her to do her duty. He then mentioned that Chu Mei looked haggard, probably from staying up late last night. Chu Mei replied that she had stayed up late reading. Tuoba Jun said if she liked it, he could have more books sent to her. He then told her to take care of her health with a teasing look. Chu Mei, torn between laughter and tears, said, You've really misunderstood me. Just as she left the room, she saw Fu Shui walking towards her. Fu Shui gracefully bowed, saying she had offended the queen the other day and came to apologize. After exchanging pleasantries, Fu Shui entered the room with gifts. Just as they sat down, Princess Jingyan kicked open the door, cursing angrily. She accused Chu Mei of being ill-mannered, stealing the 7-colored jade bracelet bestowed by the Empress Dowager. She said Chu Mei would go to jail for stealing an imperial gift. Fu Shui hurriedly stood up to defend, saying it must be a misunderstanding, as the queen wouldn't steal the princess's things. Princess Jingyan asked Fu Shui why she was here. Fu Shui explained that she had offended the queen and came to apologize. Princess Jingyan, pointing at Chu Mei, scolded that she wasn't worthy. Palace maids had seen her playing with the jade bracelet, and she was still trying to cover it up. At this moment, Chu Mei's palace maid appeared with the bracelet, saying she had seen it in Chu Mei's possession. She initially thought it was a gift from the Empress Dowager, but later heard the princess had lost her bracelet and realized it might have been obtained improperly. With evidence at hand, Princess Jingyan berated Chu Mei for disgracing the Northern Star Palace. Fu Shui chuckled, saying the queen must have taken it by mistake. Although the queen probably hadn't seen many fine things, she wasn't the type to covet vanity. Chu Mei thought to herself that this must be another of Fu Shui's schemes, arranging for the palace made to frame her skillfully. Princess Jingyan was being used as a pawn again. Chu Mei, unwilling to back down, stated that even though she was the Northern Star King's sister, she wouldn't allow her to slander her at will. She then asked Qing Lian to bring up the gift Pei Xiaonan had sent yesterday. She told them she had the same 7-colored jade bracelet and had no need to steal hers. Princess Jingyan, in disbelief, said hers must be fake. Fu Shui added fuel to the fire, saying Miss Chu Mei should abandon some Jianghu habits and not accept valuable gifts from other men. Chu Mei countered the move, saying the gift was a stake, and since she would win eventually, the king had told her to accept it first. Princess Jingyan said having won didn't mean Chu Mei hadn't stolen hers. She called on Fu Shui to go find Tuoba Jun for justice. Chu Mei, with a serious expression, stopped the two who were about to leave. She said, "Princess Jingyan, an elder sister-in-law, is like a mother. Today you slander me. Considering your youth and for the king's sake, I won't hold it against you. As for Consort Fu, you seem to have directly called my name earlier. I am the wife. You are a concubine. Calling the primary wife by name could warrant sending you to the clan court. However, family shame shouldn't be aired publicly. Lest the king learns of it and becomes displeased, I'll just punish you to copy the women's virtues 10 times. Fu Shui held back Princess Jingyan, who was about to lose her temper. Chu Mei warned, saying some people should cause less trouble, or it wouldn't be as simple as copying books. Princess Jingyan still wanted to find Tuoba Tao for an explanation. Fu Shui said there might be a misunderstanding about the bracelet, and it was her own fault for losing the position of primary wife, now having to watch her words. Princess Jingyan was indeed provoked to fury, vowing to make Chu Mei pay. Night fell. Chu Mei instructed Qing Lian to change to a new one. The manager had some unclean maids. Qing Lian handed over Tuoba Jun's letter at the right moment. Chu Mei was overjoyed after reading it. Tuoba Jun must have taken the wrong medicine, actually inviting her to bathe. It was truly a heaven-sent opportunity. Arriving at Qiushui Villa, the maid in the villa led Chu Mei towards the cold pool, mentioning that the king was a frequent visitor here. It was the first time he had brought a woman here. Chu Mei entered the water, but didn't see Tuoba Tao. As she was puzzled, she heard noisy male voices mentioning Princess Jingyan, calling others to come see a beauty bathing. Chu Mei quickly hid behind a fake mountain in the pool. As the people drew closer, Chu Mei was considering whether to take the initiative and knock out a few of them first. Suddenly, someone pulled her into an embrace. Chu Mei was startled and about to act when she was stopped. She turned to see it was Tuoba Tao. Tuoba Jun held Chu Mei's waist, teasing, "What's wrong? Does the queen not recognize me?" Tuoba Jun, looking at the approaching drunks, told them to get lost. The leader said he was a regular here and asked who Tuoba Jun thought he was to be so rude. Before he could finish, Tuoba Jun kicked him flying. He told them to either leave or die. The man cursed as he fled, shouting that he'd call for backup and they should wait. Tuoba Sheng turned back to ask Chu Mei if she was cold. Chu Mei looked at Tuoba Sheng pitifully, clutching her clothes, saying she wasn't afraid of the cold, only of embarrassing the king. She had protected herself well and asked if the king was satisfied. Tuoba Jun's expression changed slightly. He took off his cloak and put it on Chu Mei. A commotion was heard. Princess Jingyan arrived with a large group. Seeing Tuoba Jun, she was shocked. "Brother, why didn't you say you were coming? You didn't even mention it." Tuoba Jun, holding Chu Mei, scolded, "Jingyan, stay. Everyone else, get lost." The others, realizing it was the Northern Star King, said they hadn't recognized him and quickly left. Tuoba Jun told Princess Jingyan to apologize to Chu Mei. Princess Jingyan refused, saying, "What kind of queen is she? It's her own fault for being stupid, coming just because she heard it was the Northern Star King. She's shameless." Tuoba Jun repeated his demand for an apology to the queen. Jingyan said Chu Mei stole from her and bullied sister Fu Shui. She admitted she did it on purpose, wanting Chu Mei to be seen naked here. Before she could finish, Tuoba Jun slapped her. Princess Jingyan was stunned. She said in disbelief, "You hit me for this woman? I don't want you as my brother anymore." Tuoba Jun apologized to Chu Mei, saying he had spoiled his sister. Chu Mei said it was fine, she's just a young girl. But she added that his sister indeed needed some discipline. "It's good that it was me. Anyone else would have spanked her." Tuoba Jun asked Chu Mei if she was scared. Chu Mei said yes, if someone had seen her, the king might not want her anymore. Tuoba Jun comforted her, saying she didn't need to be afraid. He also mentioned that tomorrow was his competition with Pei Xiaonan and asked Chu Mei to come. The next day at the Western City Training Ground, Chu Mei watched the two on stage, thinking Pei Xiaonan better not let her down. After the competition, as expected, Tuoba Jun defeated Pei Xiaonan. Pei Xiaonan said resentfully, "Did you have to be so harsh?" Chu Mei observed the situation, thinking it wasn't good. After fighting for so long, Pei Xiaonan still hadn't managed to wound Tuoba Tao. Tuoba Tao looked down at Pei Xiaonan from above. He asked contemptuously if Pei Xiaonan still wanted to fight. Suddenly, he heard Chu Mei shouting his name from behind. Tuoba Tao turned sharply and locked eyes with Chu Mei. In an instant, the illusion was fully activated. Tuoba Tao momentarily lost his balance. As the illusion took effect, Chu Mei suddenly saw everything turn red. In that moment, she saw mountains of corpses and seas of blood, countless fallen figures. She saw a sky that seemed dyed with blood. She then saw who the only standing figure before her was. Looking closely, it was Toba Shung, seemingly out of his mind, with his sword tip carrying killing intent towards Chu Mei. Chu Mei's body seemed frozen in place, unable to move. She could only watch as the sword tip came closer and closer, blood splattering. The powerful killing intent suppressed Chu Mei's illusion. Toba Shung's gaze towards Chu Mei was deep and cold. Pei Xiaonan thought Toba Shung was still immersed in the illusion, believing his victory was certain. Just as he was about to attack Toba Shung, Chu Mei couldn't stop him in time. Toba Shung kicked Pei Xiaonan several meters away with one strike, knocking him unconscious. Chu Mei quickly went forward to check the situation. She told Toba Shung she needed to treat Pei Xiaonan and would return later. Watching Toba Shung's retreating figure, cold and lonely, Chu Mei felt uneasy. He was even harder to deal with than she had imagined. Inside the Marquis Changhua's mansion, Chu Mei was treating Pei Xiaonan while his sister-in-law inquired about his condition. Chu Mei reassured her that Pei Xiaonan's life wasn't in danger. Following her prescription and taking medicine on time, he would recover in half a month. Chu Mei asked Pei Xiaonan why he was so adamant about obtaining the Qishao sword. Pei Xiaonan's sister-in-law explained that the Marquis Changhua often got injured on the battlefield, so he longed for a treasured sword. One day, he mentioned the Qishao sword, and Pei Xiaonan took it seriously. Chu Mei understood, so it was for his older brother. Sister Qi apologized to Chu Mei, saying Pei Xiaonan had caused them trouble these days. Chu Mei quickly returned the courtesy and prepared to leave. She instructed them to find her immediately if Pei Xiaonan's condition worsened. Outside the Marquis's mansion, Qing Lian came to escort Chu Mei, worried about her safety. Chu Mei asked about the Northern Star King's whereabouts. Qing Lian said Toba Jun had been in his study since returning to the palace, not coming out. Chu Mei clenched her fist coldly and said she would return to the palace to see him immediately. She told Qing Lian to report back to the master that although he tried his best, he probably couldn't find out about the matter to be remembered. She also asked whether to consider the Northern Star King's life when seeking the Wu Ho's art of war. If necessary, should they use others to take his life and complete the mission? Chu Mei arrived at the Northern Star King's study. Yan Fengzhai was hesitating on how to enter. Then they heard Toba Shung's order to come in. Chu Mei was startled but quickly composed herself and pushed open the door. Toba Shung was sitting at his desk, coldly scrutinizing her. Chu Mei closed the door with a bang, as if nothing had happened, and asked Toba Shung why he hadn't rested yet. As Chu Mei gracefully walked in, Toba Shung picked up the tea set on the table. Pouring tea into the cup in front of him, he explained about today's events. Mayor apologized to the prince. She didn't want to deceive the prince with lies. She admitted that what she did today was indeed to help Pei Xiaonan obtain the Qishao sword. Toba Shung coldly laughed and said sternly, "As the Northern Star Princess, you openly admit to helping an outsider." Chu Mei picked up the teacup and explained that she was truly moved by the deep bond between Pei Xiaonan and his brother, which is why she wanted to help Pei Xiaonan ask for the prince's punishment. Toba Shung retorted that Chu Mei had no relation to Pei Xiaonan, so how could he believe this reason? Chu Mei showed a cautious expression and admitted that she indeed had selfish motives. If she helped Pei Xiaonan this time, he would surely lend a hand if she needed help in the future. In the prince's mansion, she had no one to rely on, no one to put her mind at ease. If she could form a good relationship with Pei Xiaonan, it would be like having an ally. Toba Jun grabbed Chu Mei's chin, saying, "You are my princess. I am your greatest support. Offending me for the sake of others is abandoning the essential for the trivial." Chu Mei continued to play the victim, saying she understood, but the prince didn't need an unstable princess. To secure her position, she needed to find allies. She emphasized word by word that she did this because she wanted to stay by the prince's side. Toba Jun released his grip on Chu Mei's chin, saying, "Indeed, you're a little fox. I'll let you off this time, but there won't be a second chance." Suddenly, Toba Jun paused while drinking tea, noticing the taste was different from usual. Chu Mei explained it was Snow Mountain white tea, best for calming the mind and spirit. It wasn't very appealing in appearance, so the prince probably didn't drink it often. Toba Jun asked if she knew about tea ceremony. Chu Mei proudly said she was the Huani immortal after all. Health cultivation and medical skills complemented each other, more effective than medicine in regulating the body. Chu Mei then took out a bottle of incense from her sleeve, saying that since the prince's internal energy burst out today, partly due to her influence, she specially prepared this incense to help regulate his qi. Tuoba Sheng said he would entrust all his daily needs to her from now on. Chu Mei was surprised, wondering if he wasn't afraid she might take the chance to poison him. Then Chu Mei smiled and agreed, saying it was her honor. Watching Chu Mei's retreating figure, Tuoba Sheng smiled, thinking, I'm giving you a chance. Let's see what tricks you'll play. After Chu Mei closed the door and left, Luo Jui emerged from behind the screen next to Tuoba Sheng. Clearly, Luo Jui had heard the entire conversation between Chu Mei and Tuoba Sheng. Luo Jui asked Tuoba Sheng puzzledly why he did this, since they still hadn't figured out Mei's purpose for coming to the prince's mansion. If Chu Mei really intended to harm Tuoba Sheng, wouldn't this move play right in her hands? Tuoba Sheng remained silent, holding his teacup. Then Luo Jui approached the desk. Leaning in, he whispered to Tuoba Sheng that based on current information, Chu Mei probably wasn't associated with those few individuals. Tuoba Sheng slammed his teacup on the table with a bang. He ordered Luo Jui in a deep voice. The deeper the concealment, the greater the ambition. Continue investigating. A few days later, Chu Mei was busy in Yanfeng Lodge. Suddenly, Tuoba Sheng walked in. Chu Mei smiled at Tuoba Sheng, saying she had calculated that he would return soon, so she had already prepared tea and incense. Tuoba Jun casually acknowledged this, then asked if Chu Mei had been managing everything alone these days, without any maids assisting her. Chu Mei laughed, patting her chest, saying she knew the study was an important place. Without the prince's orders, how could she dare to bring anyone in? Tuoba Sheng nodded and let Chu Mei go out to rest. Seeing Chu Mei close the door of the study, Tuoba Sheng pulled out the poison-detecting hairpin from his hair. He thought to himself, Chu Mei had been managing daily affairs for about 10 days now. If she wanted to poison him, she should have made her move by now. The hairpin swirled in the tea, but nothing unusual happened. What exactly is this little fox planning? Meanwhile, Chu Mei sneezed as if sensing something. Just as she was about to call for Qinglian, a woman suddenly burst in, crying and begging Chu Mei to save her father. She said she would be willing to serve as a slave in return. Chu Mei didn't recognize her and asked who she was. Qinglian beside her answered that it was Beauty Lin, one of Tuoba Jun's concubines. Her father had been sentenced to death, so she came to ask for Chu Mei's help. Chu Mei refused, saying she didn't know her or her father, and besides, she couldn't do anything about matters of the court. Beauty Lin continued crying and pleading, saying she knew Chu Mei was kind-hearted and valued loyalty. If she could help pay Xiao in, she could surely help her too. Chu Mei sneered, saying who said she was kind? She never did business at a loss. What benefit would she get for helping her? Beauty Lin firmly held onto the dossier in her hands, saying she didn't have much to offer, but if Chu Mei could save her father, she would do anything Chu Mei asked, no matter how difficult. Chu Mei smiled and said she was being too serious. If she said that, Chu Mei would be the bad guy if she didn't help. She took the dossier from Beauty Lin, saying she would handle her father's case. She told her to go back and wait. Beauty Lin thanked her again. She told Chu Mei that she would repay this great kindness in the future. That night, Chu Mei sat in her Yunzi palace. Looking at Beauty Lin's father's dossier, she realized it was related to the missing silver from the court. Chu Mei turned to tell Qinglian that she was going to find Tuoba Sheng to tell him about this. Qinglian asked in confusion why she would tell Tuoba Sheng. Chu Mei smiled and said, Tuoba Sheng was previously ordered to investigate the whereabouts of the missing silver. Being so clever, he would find out sooner or later. It was better for her to tell him now and gain his favor. Chu Mei took advantage of the night to come to Yanfeng's study and knocked on the door of the study. Tuoba Sheng let Chu Mei in. Chu Mei smiled and said the prince must be tired after a long day. She came to give him a massage. Chu Mei walked behind Tuoba Jun and put her hands on his shoulders to start massaging. Tuoba Jun didn't move and continued looking at the documents in his hand. He told Chu Mei to speak directly if she had something to say. Chu Mei didn't hide anything and said Beauty Lin had come to her today asking to save her father. Tuoba Jun asked if she hadn't already agreed. Chu Mei smiled and said indeed nothing could be hidden from the prince. Beauty Lin was helpless and pitiful. Tuoba Sheng said there were only about 20 days left before Beauty Lin's father would be executed. He asked Chu Mei what she thought. Chu Mei leaned close to Tuoba Sheng and whispered that she heard Lord Su was implicated because of the tax silver robbery in his jurisdiction. She had heard Luo Jui mention that the prince was also investigating the missing tax silver from the court. She asked Tuoba Sheng if these two incidents, both involving silver, might be the work of the same group of people. Tuoba Sheng grabbed Chu Mei's hand and said coldly that she should handle what she had agreed to herself and not waste effort trying to manipulate him. Chu Mei obediently said she understood. How could she dare to trouble the prince? Tuoba Sheng sneered and said, "Don't tell me you came here just to give me a massage." Chu Mei said the prince had once told her that he was her greatest support, so no matter what she did, she needed his approval to feel at ease. Tuoba Sheng said it was good that she understood. She could investigate Beauty Lin's father Su Qi's case, but what she could find out depended on her own abilities. Chu Mei thought to herself, if she really found out something, she would come to the prince to claim a reward. Then she reminded Tuoba Sheng to rest early and prepared to say goodbye. Tuoba Sheng glanced at Chu Mei and said, "Did I say you could leave?" Chu Mei felt nervous. "What did you want to do?" Tuoba Sheng patted his shoulder, gesturing for her to continue. Chu Mei quickly complied, massaging for a long time without Tuoba Sheng telling her to stop. Tuoba Sheng laughed inwardly, saying, "You thought I'd let you go back so easily?" The next day, Chu Mei went to the organization's designated location, Wanqingsi. Gathering information became much easier. Although she obtained crucial information, time was too tight to plan meticulously. For now, she still needed to find Tuoba Sheng. Qinglian reported that Tuoba Sheng had been frequenting Zhao's tea house recently. Chu Mei called the shopkeeper, saying she heard Zhao's ice-sold jade tea was famous and wanted to buy some for her husband to try. The shopkeeper apologetically smiled, saying he didn't expect the lady to be a tea connoisseur, but unfortunately, all the ice-sold jade tea had been bought out. Chu Mei feigned disappointment and hesitated. Just then, Tuoba Sheng and someone else walked out from the second floor of the tea house, spotting Chu Mei at the counter. The person beside him said it was surprising someone was interested in ice-sold jade tea, as it was now exclusively supplied to the Northern Star King. Tuoba Sheng interrupted, saying this was his queen. The person beside him was shocked, realizing this was the Northern Star Queen who had crashed the wedding and followed them to the brothel. He then praised that the queen seemed to care for him, coming specially to buy ice-sold jade tea. Tuoba Sheng's face darkened, saying, "Unsolicited favors are either treacherous or thieving." The person beside him held his forehead, thinking he seemed happy seeing her earlier, but now became displeased when complimented. As Chu Mei was selecting tea leaves, she heard Tuoba Sheng's voice from behind. He asked what brought her here. Chu Mei expressed delight, saying it was fate to meet the king here, a chance encounter over 1,000 miles. Tuoba Sheng sensed something different about Chu Mei today and casually replied he was just passing by for tea. Chu Mei waved the tea package in her hand, complaining that Zhao's tea house's business was declining, not even having ice-sold jade tea. She had wanted to give the king a surprise. Tuoba Jun asked Chu Mei if she wasn't supposed to be investigating the case. How did she have time to buy tea? Chu Mei smiled, saying she had found some intelligence and would tell him when they got back. Back in the palace study, Chu Mei asked Tuoba Jun to wait while she made tea for him. Tuoba Sheng told Chu Mei not to bother and to speak directly. Chu Mei stated that she discovered the stolen taxes included not only silver, but also a significant amount of grain. Such a large quantity of grain couldn't be consumed, so the person behind this likely wasn't using it for food. The implication was that the culprit was selling the grain at low prices as quickly as possible to convert it into silver, making a huge profit. This money would be enough to cause trouble. Chu Mei moved closer to Tuoba Sheng, saying she had found a rice shop recently selling fresh rice at low prices, which was likely connected to this matter. Chu Mei asked if the king would be willing to give her 200,000 taels if she revealed the name of this rice shop. Tuoba Jun asked Chu Mei what she wanted to do with the 200,000 taels. Chu Mei said Su Qi wasn't the only one who lost silver this time, but others had used their own money to cover it up, avoiding investigation. However, Su Qi hadn't continued to fill the gap. Tuoba Jun placed his finger on Chu Mei's lips, stopping her from continuing. He leaned close to her face, smiling and saying, "So you want to help Su Qi gather silver to save her life? How rare, Queen, that you want to help a woman with no value to us." Chu Mei covered her chest with her hand and said pitifully, "In your highness's heart, am I really such a cold-hearted person?" Su Chi is an honest and frugal person. He really can't afford it. Then Chu Mei hugged Toba Jun's arm coyly, saying she knew His Highness could certainly afford it, so she came to him. Toba Jun said he had 200,000, but asked why he should give it to her. Chu Mei played with her hair, smiling and asking Toba Jun if she was worth 200,000. What if she served him in bed? Toba Jun suddenly grabbed Chu Mei's chin, saying serving him was what a queen should do. Sleeping with him, as his wife, was free. His hand around Chu Mei's waist, squeezing gently, he asked when she planned to serve him in bed. Chu Mei shyly called out, "Your Highness," but heard Toba Jun return to the previous topic. He said the missing tax rice was in Zhu's company, which was selling it at low prices in Ezhou. Meanwhile, the legitimate Xiao company was struggling. Chu Mei sighed, saying there was nothing he didn't know, and asked again about the 200,000. Toba Jun said if Chu Mei could resist the low prices, he'd give her the 200,000. Hearing this, Chu Mei lightly kissed Toba Jun's cheek, thanking him for the opportunity and promising to do well. Toba Jun turned his head in confusion, saying they'd go together in a week, then left with complex feelings. 2 days later, Toba Jun took Chu Mei to meet Xiaoyu from Zhao's company in Ezhou. Xiaoyu bowed and said Zhu's company was selling rice cheaply, their stock wasn't moving, and they could barely pay wages. As Chu Mei was about to tell Xiaoyu not to be formal, people from Zhu's company came to provoke, saying Zhao's hadn't made a sale in a month, suggesting they lower prices too. If Zhao's knelt and begged, they'd let them survive. Otherwise, Zhao's would never open again. Chu Mei asked who this person was. Xiaoyu introduced him as Zhu Yuchong, head of Zhu's rice company, telling them to ignore him. Zhu Yuchong, seeing Chu Mei, started touching her, asking which brothel she was from and offering money for her company. Toba Tao's face darkened, and his guards were ready to act. Chu Mei grabbed Zhu Yuchong's wrist, warning him to watch his words. Chu Mei warned Zhu Yuchong that if her husband heard, it wouldn't be good. She pushed Zhu Yuchong away several meters. Zhu Yuchong angrily cursed, saying she dared to hurt him, calling her just a bed warmer. He was about to attack Chu Mei. The guards behind drew their swords and quickly dealt with Zhu Yuchong. Chu Mei stepped on Zhu Yuchong. Zhu Yuchong called for his followers to grab Chu Mei. Chu Mei said kindly, "Anyone who wants to end up like him, come forward." Frightened, Zhu Yuchong and his followers fled in panic. Xiaoyu was shocked by Chu Mei's skills. Chu Mei proudly said she taught him a lesson on behalf of the prince, so he wouldn't dare act up again. Toba Jun looked at her with approval, smiling. Xiaoyu arranged for the Northern Star Prince couple to stay. Toba Jun told Chu Mei to go in first, saying he needed to instruct Mo Yin on some matters. Chu Mei turned and left. He ordered Mo Yin, saying Zhu Yuchong intended to harm the queen. After resolving matters here, this person need not be kept alive. Toba Jun entered the room to find Chu Mei confidently, saying she had thought about his matter the whole way and had come up with a plan, but needed the prince's help. Toba Jun looked at her mischievous expression suspiciously, asking what help she needed. Chu Mei coyly asked Toba Sheng to agree first. Toba Sheng remained unmoved, stating he wouldn't agree without an explanation. Chu Mei, with a sincere face, pledged her loyalty. She said Toba Tao was her closest and most trusted person. She trusted no one but Toba Tao. Moreover, only Toba Tao in the whole world had this ability. If he didn't help, no one else could help her. Chu Mei continued to act coquettishly, saying if the prince didn't help, the missing issue couldn't be resolved. Her losing face was a small matter, but as the Northern City princess, it would be a big deal. Even Toba Shin couldn't resist the beauty's sugar-coated offensive. Toba Shin nervously agreed to help and asked Chu Mei to let go. Chu Mei took out prepared night clothes and explained her plan. After listening, Toba Shun held his forehead and asked if he could back out now. Chu Mei pushed Toba Shin out, refusing, saying she was waiting for his good news. Whether there would be a good show at Zhu's house tomorrow depended entirely on Toba Shin. 3 days later, Zhu Yuchong ordered his servants to open the warehouse and move rice. However, they found the rice in the granary emitting a sour smell. The servants also said that Zhao's new Falu rice was selling extremely well. It must be their trick. Zhu Yuchong led people to Zhao's rice shop to cause trouble. He said Zhao's business couldn't compete with his, so they used tricks to make Zhu's rice moldy and smelly. Chu Mei mocked, saying their rice was problematic to begin with, yet they blamed others. If there was no problem, why set the rice price so low? Cheap goods aren't good. Would you do business at a loss? The crowd discussed after hearing this. No wonder it tasted stale. Could Zhu's family be using bad rice to harm people? Zhu Yuchong, furious, raised the rice in front of him, wanting to overturn Zhao's rice shop. The raised rice flew towards Chu Mei, but Tuoba Jun quickly blocked it. Tuoba Jun angrily scolded Zhu Yuchong, telling him to get lost. Zhu Yuchong trembled and told them to wait and see. Chu Mei then told everyone that for every 500 jin of Fulu rice purchased, they would give away 1 liang of newly released imperial salt tea. Everyone could buy with confidence. Hearing this, people rushed to buy. Chu Mei turned and asked Tuoba Tao if he was satisfied with the result of the task he helped with this time. Tuoba Jun praised, saying using an herbal scent to enhance the rice, then using a smoke box to make that pig-like rice appear moldy, and then spreading rumors to fan the flames, was well done. Tuoba Jun recalled that before leaving, Luo Jui had also suggested a similar plan to him. He had underestimated Chu Mei before. Striking opponents, improving oneself, and enticing with new tea discounts. It's a pity you're not in business. Chu Mei didn't take all the credit. She said without the prince putting the plum smoke fragrance in Zhu's granary at night, how could things have gone so smoothly? With the matter resolved, the two set off back to the capital. On the way, Chu Mei mentioned she had already resolved the week's issue. As the saying goes, take people's money, solve their troubles. Tuoba Jun smiled casually and said, it seems the princess has taken quite a few jobs before. Chu Mei laughed it off, saying, after all, one lives in the Jianghu. Even a casual jargon could catch his attention. This guy's alertness was too strong. Chu Mei lifted the curtain and saw a village not far away. She suggested to Tuoba Jun that they go to the village to make him some appetizers. Tuoba Jun agreed. A short while later, Chu Mei brought a bowl, saying she made it herself. Tuoba Jun joked, you won't poison this prince to death, will you? Chu Mei, bristling, retorted, eat it or not, it's up to you. Tuoba Sheng hesitated no more. He took 2 sips. Just as Chu Mei was about to ask how it was, Tuoba Sheng smashed the bowl on the ground, clutching his abdomen. He recalled what Luo Jui had once told him. If Chu Mei wanted to make a move, wouldn't this be perfect for him? Chu Mei, somewhat frightened, asked the trembling Tuoba Sheng what was wrong. Tuoba Sheng, enduring the pain, entered the carriage and told Chu Mei to leave. Chu Mei refused to leave, insisting on checking his pulse. She was shocked to find his pulse extremely turbulent. Tuoba Sheng suddenly rose and threw Chu Mei out. Oh no, he's having another? Tuoba Sheng suddenly coughed up blood. It seems he's experiencing qi deviation. Chu Mei boldly approached again to support Tuoba Sheng, asking how he was. Suddenly remembering something, she took out a bottle of medicine from her sleeve. She urged Tuoba Sheng to take it quickly, saying it could control qi deviation. Tuoba Sheng, as if he had lost his senses, grabbed Chu Mei's wrist and pinned her down. Chu Mei, somewhat terrified, called out to Tuoba Sheng, telling him to wake up. She begged him to loosen his grip. Tuoba Sheng's eyes remained unfocused, desire taking over. In an instant, Chu Mei's clothes above her chest were torn to shreds. Who knows if he remembered his aversion to women in this frenzied state. Tuoba Sheng suddenly opened his mouth and bit hard on Chu Mei's shoulder. Chu Mei, in pain, broke out in a cold sweat, shouting for Tuoba Sheng to wake up. Seeing no signs of him regaining consciousness, she had no choice but to offend the prince. Chu Mei flipped over, looking directly into Tuoba Sheng's eyes, and activated her illusion. In her mind, it was that scene again. This place, with red everywhere. Chu Mei turned to see Tuoba Sheng leaning on a spear. But why did he look so sad? Chu Mei approached, hearing Tuoba Sheng's murmurs turn into angry shouts. Why have I fought all my life? Not for the Tuoba royal family's prestige. Yet I can't protect those around me. My friends, my subordinates, dying one by one because of me. Why is this happening? Tuoba Sheng was crying, as if questioning the heavens' injustice. Chu Mei was deeply moved. She instinctively ran to Tuoba Sheng's side. She reached out and embraced the kneeling Tuoba Sheng, gently patting his back. Your Highness, Mayor is here. As the strong Tuoba Sheng showed vulnerability, tears silently fell from her eyes as well. The repeated, I'm here, gradually awakened Tuoba Sheng's consciousness. Tooba Shun released the bloodied shoulder he had been biting. Chu Mei took the opportunity to pick up the scattered pills on the ground. She put them in her mouth. Then, ignoring the pain in her shoulder, she embraced Tooba Shun's neck and kissed him. It wasn't really a kiss, but rather a mouthful of medicine. After taking the medicine, Tooba Shun fell unconscious. Chu Mei, exhausted from overexertion, didn't have time to wake Tooba Shun before she also passed out. As the sun began to rise, the dragon tattoo on Tooba Jun's chest gradually faded away. Tooba Jun slowly regained consciousness. He turned his head to see the frightening wound on Chu Mei's shoulder. Could this wound be? Tooba Jun gently caressed Chu Mei's face with a hint of pity. Chu Mei also woke up. Seeing Tooba Jun's gesture, she knew he was awake. With a hint of fear, she said, "You're finally awake. Last night really scared me to death." Tooba Shun hesitantly explained that every full moon on the 15th, if he smells blood, his bloodlust would erupt. Chu Mei was surprised that Tooba Shun had revealed his secret to her. She smiled and said, "I'll never dare to give you random food again." Tooba Shun seriously asked Chu Mei why she stayed last night. Chu Mei sincerely replied, "I am your princess. I couldn't just leave you alone." The atmosphere between them became somewhat ambiguous. Just as the distance between them was closing, they heard someone shouting outside, "Let the Northern Star Prince die." A flying dagger came through the carriage window, heading straight for the two. Chu Mei, sensing danger, shouted, "Watch out," and quickly pushed Tooba Shun away, telling him to jump out of the carriage. Tooba Shun jumped out of the carriage. After landing, Chu Mei followed closely behind. The assassin pursued, saying, "Don't think you can escape." Chu Mei, while dodging the assassin's attacks, shouted for Tooba Shun to run. Tooba Shun said the assassin's target was himself and told Chu Mei to leave first, saying he would follow soon. Before Chu Mei could finish refusing, the assassin had already blocked their escape route. "Neither of you can run. Prepare to die." Chu Mei stood in front of Tooba Shun, loudly asking the assassin who he was and why he wanted to kill them. The assassin replied that someone had paid for the Northern Star Prince's life. Chu Mei bargained, saying since it was just a job for money, she would pay double to buy the prince's life. The assassin ignored Chu Mei's negotiation, annoyed by her interference. He pointed his sword at Chu Mei, intending to kill her first. Chu Mei quickly engaged in combat with him. During the fight, she realized this assassin was truly very strong. Without Mo Yin, she couldn't match him. Tooba Shun watched Chu Mei's stubborn resistance, wondering why she didn't just escape herself. This fool. After fighting for a while, the assassin, annoyed by Chu Mei's persistence, pulled out a hidden weapon from his leg. He flung it at Chu Mei. Unable to dodge in time, Chu Mei thought, "This is it," and could only close her eyes tightly, preparing to take the hit head-on. After waiting for a while and feeling no pain, she opened her eyes in confusion. She discovered that Tooba Shun was standing in front of her, using his arm to block the fatal blow for her. Tooba Shun held Chu Mei in his arms, telling her not to be afraid. He then turned to face the assassin with a cold expression, his eyes flashing with anger. "You want to play? I'll play with you." Tooba Shun quickly pulled out the hidden weapon stuck in his arm. He flung it towards the assassin. It hit directly in the left chest. The assassin, clutching his wound, said, "Tooba Shun, you got lucky." Then he struggled to flee in panic. Chu Mei looked at Tooba Shun, about to thank him, saying it was thanks to Ning Man's ability just now. Before she could finish speaking, she saw Tooba Shun's tall figure collapse. Chu Mei quickly examined the wound on Tooba Shun's right arm, inwardly thinking this was not good. "Oh no, it's snake venom." Chu Mei, with a worried face, helped Tooba Shun sit under a tree. She sat down, her face filled with guilt. "My prince, please don't blame me." Chu Mei quickly tore open the clothing on Tooba Shun's right arm. She put her mouth to Tooba Shun's wound. She began to suck out the snake venom from the wound. After a while, Chu Mei raised her head, wiped the remaining blood from her mouth, and told Tooba Shun, "I've cleared out most of the poison. Let me treat you further. There shouldn't be any major problems." Chu Mei rambled on, not seeing Tooba Shun respond. Only then did she look at Tooba Shun and found him intently staring at her. Chu Mei suddenly felt a bit shy. She hurriedly stood up, her face flushed red, wanting to escape. She said she wanted to go check if the carriage was still usable. But Chu Mei underestimated the power of the snake venom. Just as she took a step, her legs felt weak. It was more potent than she imagined. Just from contact with the poison blood, she was also affected by the venom. Chu Mei suddenly fell onto Tuoba Shun's legs. At this moment, Mo Yin arrived. Mo Yin quickly dismounted and apologized to Tuoba Shung, saying he was late in coming to the rescue. Tuoba Shung, holding Chu Mei, said it was all right. He said the princess needed rest. The White Cloud County was just ahead. He told Mo Yin to make preparations, as they would stay there for a few days. After arriving at a safe place, that night, Chu Mei thanked Tuoba Shung for taking care of her. Tuoba Jun told her not to be so formal, saying husband and wife are one. Then Tuoba Jun lifted a corner of the blanket and got into the bed where Chu Mei was lying. Chu Mei nervously asked Tuoba Jun what he was doing. Tuoba Jun smiled and answered, sleeping. Husband and wife should share a bed. Chu Mei shyly pressed the blanket tightly against herself, saying her body was really weak right now. Tuoba Shun cupped Chu Mei's face. He lowered his head and kissed Chu Mei on the lips. Chu Mei was completely shocked, reacting with 3 startled movements. She shrank into the blanket, watching Tuoba Shun smile gently at her, thinking to herself, wasn't he supposed to be indifferent to women? Tuoba Jun leaned down and said, during the blood frenzy, the princess risked her life to save me. This kiss is your reward. Chu Mei secretly felt flattered. She had thought Tuoba Jun couldn't resist because she was too beautiful. Tuoba Jun gently stroked Chu Mei's head and said, be good. We were interrupted by the assassin earlier. Now we've made up for it. Sleep. Chu Mei closed her eyes peacefully. When she woke up again, it was already bright outside. The person beside her was already gone. Where is he? Chu Mei quickly got out of bed. She wanted to run outside. How reckless. Not resting properly. Does he think he's made of iron? The couple arrived at the bustling streets of White Cloud County. Chu Mei was a bit excited. Her radiant face attracted many glances. She saw a stall selling candied haws. She asked Tuoba Shung if she could buy some. Tuoba Jun cast a displeased look at the passers-by, eyeing Chu Mei, then turned to tell her to buy if she wanted. Chu Mei picked a few sweet ones. Then she handed them to Tuoba Jun. Tuoba Jun declined, saying he didn't like sweets. Chu Mei still urged Tuoba Jun to try. Seeing he really wouldn't, she offered the candied haw she had already bitten. She said she understood. You're of noble status and can't eat random food outside. But I've already eaten this one, so it should be fine. Can you eat it now? Tuoba Jun was silent for a moment. He said, you're getting bolder and more casual in front of me. Chu Mei laughed and said, that's being overly formal. What kind of couple would we be? Isn't this how we should live our life together? Tuoba Jun was touched by the phrase, live our life together. He grasped Chu Mei's wrist holding the candied haw. Chu Mei said with some disappointment, if you don't want to eat it, then don't. Tuoba Jun held Chu Mei's hand. He took a bite of the candied haw in her hand. He commented, sweet and sour, and it tastes like your saliva. Chu Mei laughed and retorted, if you dislike it, why are you eating it? Then Tuoba Jun bought all the candied haws. He then discussed with Chu Mei about returning to the capital tomorrow. Chu Mei agreed. The next afternoon, the couple returned to the Northern Star Palace. The palace maid saw them return and hurriedly reported that the Empress Dowager had an edict. Both were startled. The two returned to their quarters and read the invitation. They sighed in relief. It was an invitation to attend the Qiqiao Palace banquet. Chu Mei looked at Tuoba Shung and smiled, saying, I heard this Qiqiao banquet is set up to pray for happy marriages in the royal family. It seems the Empress Dowager cares about your highness. Tuoba Jun told Chu Mei, Mother inviting you is firstly to see if you're suitable for this position. At the banquet, the ladies from various houses need to showcase their talents. You should prepare something. Chu Mei assured Tuoba Jun not to worry. As the Northern Star Princess, she naturally wouldn't embarrass him. She said she would definitely please the Empress Dowager at the palace banquet. Time was running out. Chu Mei thought to herself. She needed to make Tuoba Shung trust her more. This way it would be easier for her to obtain the military strategist's art of war. Tuoba Shung nodded and said tomorrow he would find someone to teach Chu Mei palace etiquette. Since they just returned today, she should rest well first. Chu Mei bowed and said she would follow the prince's arrangements. Inwardly, she complained that dealing with the royal family certainly wouldn't be easy. How come just as the business battle ended, she now had to participate in palace intrigue? Qing Lian brought a stack of clothes and told Chu Mei that Lady Su heard she was attending the banquet and specially sent a dress. Chu Mei picked up the dress and examined it for a moment. The dress was elegant and dignified. The silver threads emitted a fluorescent glow, perfectly understated luxury. It was just right, as she didn't have suitable clothes here. Lady Su was thoughtful. Qinglian also said that since Su Qi was released, Lady Su had been deeply grateful to Chu Mei. She wanted to come and thank her today, but because the prince was always around, she didn't dare to come abruptly. So she sent the clothes instead. Chu Mei instructed Qinglian to send the clothes to the laundry for careful handling, to be worn at the banquet. On the 7th day of the 7th month, the Qixi festival, it was already dusk. Chu Mei was puzzled. Why hadn't Qinglian brought back the clothes yet? It was getting late. Just as she was saying this, Qinglian came in angrily, saying the laundry had stained Chu Mei's clothes and refused to admit it. It was outrageous. Chu Mei turned to look. The white dress was now unevenly dyed with blue dye, and the dye couldn't be washed off. As she was worrying, Deputy Princess Fu Shui arrived at Chu Mei's palace with some female attendants, saying she heard Chu Mei was going to the palace banquet and came specially to serve her. Seeing it was Fu Shui, Chu Mei thought her offer to serve was probably a trap. She smiled and refused, telling Fu Shui to leave the female attendants and go, as she didn't need serving. As Fu Shui was about to leave, she saw Chu Mei's dyed dress. Feigning surprise, she asked if this was the princess's dress for entering the palace. She said Chu Mei probably couldn't wear it like this. If Chu Mei didn't mind, she had some unworn dresses that she could send over. Chu Mei refused her false kindness, thinking Fu Shui must be delighted. She said she was just about to change clothes. Fu Shui smiled and took her leave. She was just waiting to see Chu Mei embarrass herself this time. As soon as Fu Shui left, Chu Mei immediately ordered Qinglian to find brush, ink, and inkstone. She spread the dress on the table. She picked up the brush and began to modify it. You can't mess with me, she thought. Tuoba Jun came to Chu Mei's residence to hurry her. He saw Chu Mei had already put on the blue ceremonial dress. He rarely praised, saying her skirt was uniquely clever. The banquet was set in the palace's imperial garden. Tuoba Sheng and Chu Mei entered the banquet. Tuoba Sheng introduced Chu Mei to the Rue prince couple. It turned out that when they went to question the imperial power before, they went to Prince Rue Tuoba Rue's palace. Chu Mei observed the scene. She thought that what Luo Jieyi said before about the rumors of discord between the Tuoba brothers was indeed true. The other princes all had smiles on their faces. Only Tuoba Sheng was cold. Then the emperor, empress, and empress dowager took their seats. The empress dowager looked at Chu Mei. She said to Tuoba Sheng that this was the first time she had seen Chu Mei. She was indeed a beauty. Princess Jingyan provoked, saying it was this sister-in-law who made the prince give up a noble lady to marry her. She was quite something. Why not let her take the lead now and let everyone see what she can do? Chu Mei stood up and said her talents were ordinary. It was her good fortune to be favored by the prince. The only thing she could do decently was brewing tea. The Empress Dowager smiled with hidden daggers, saying she also wanted to know what kind of tea could make Tuoba Tao so fond of. If the tea wasn't fragrant, she would have to reconsider whether the princess could manage the household. Tuoba Tao would have to rethink this matter. Chu Mei lowered her head and agreed, thinking this old woman wanted to mess with her. After Chu Mei opened the tea box, her expression changed slightly. How could this be possible? There was clearly fresh tea prepared inside, but now the tea cakes in the box were somewhat moldy. Chu Mei felt helpless. It seemed some people really cared about her. Princess Jingyan urged smugly, "Princess, why have you stopped moving?" Tuoba Jun explained for Chu Mei, saying that before brewing tea, the princess must hold her breath and calm her mind for a quarter of an hour to brew tea in the best state. He told Princess Jingyan to be patient. Hearing this, Chu Mei felt warmth in her heart. So considerate, he must really be falling for her. Tuoba Jun looked at Chu Mei again and said, "I'm troubling you, princess. Don't embarrass me." Chu Mei smiled and said, "All right, I won't embarrass you." Tuoba Jun suggested that Chu Mei prepare first, and everyone could eat some fruits while waiting. Chu Mei was suddenly inspired. "Right, fruits?" She ordered people to bring up a low table. The Empress Dowager said she was very much looking forward to it. "Let's begin." Chu Mei smiled and told everyone that since it was the Qixi festival, she would use fruits and fresh flowers as auxiliary ingredients to give the ordinary palace jade tea a different flavor. Chu Mei tossed an empty teacup and used her inner force to grab a handful of fresh flowers. Scattering them, like a heavenly maiden. But those petals all fell precisely into the teacup in Chu Mei's hand. After the flowers were in place, it was time for the fruits. Finally, Chu Mei served the tea to the emperor, empress, and empress dowager. After tasting it, the empress dowager praised, "This is the first time I've had this kind of tea. Not bad. Does this tea have a name?" Chu Mei bowed respectfully and said, "It hasn't been named yet. I request the empress dowager to name it." The empress dowager said, "Since it was made for the Qixi festival, let's call it Qiqiao tea." She then asked Chu Mei if the method of making this tea could be shared. Chu Mei smiled and replied, "Of course it can. However, the taste depends on the types and amounts of fruits and fresh flowers used, so each time the taste is unique." The Empress Dowager distributed the Qiqiao tea. The Qixi festival was originally for praying for good marriages, and now with this Qiqiao tea, she let all the couples present drink a cup. As the night was perfect, Chu Mei took the last cup of Qiqiao tea and came alone to Tuoba Sheng. She smiled and asked him if the current prince was satisfied. Tuoba Sheng just smiled at her without speaking. Chu Mei handed him the teacup. Tuoba Sheng took it and had a sip. Then he looked at Chu Mei, grabbed her wrist, and forcefully pulled her into his arms. Chu Mei was startled but then thought, "Oh well." She gave up resisting. She allowed Tuoba Tao to kiss her on the lips. Everyone was shocked to see the North City Prince couple unable to control themselves in public. Tuoba Tao could only release the somewhat embarrassed Chu Mei. Seeing this, the Empress Dowager smiled and said, "Seeing that Tuoba Tao has now found his beloved and the couple is harmonious, I can rest assured." Princess Jingyan thought angrily, Chu Mei really stole the show today. At the same time, she felt confused. When did Tuoba Jun become so harmonious with Chu Mei? Princess Jingyan bowed to the Empress and asked, "Wasn't there also an entertainment game prepared for today? Why don't we start now?" After getting permission, Princess Jingyan began to announce the game rules. For this Qixi Palace banquet game, all royal couples must participate. This game can test the tacit understanding between couples. The emperor will reward the winners. The game rules are simple. Everyone must seal their inner force and not use martial arts. Each couple's legs will be tied together, and they must catch fireflies in the Imperial Garden. The time limit is a quarter of an hour. The couple who catches the most is the winner. Princess Jingyan looked at the North City Prince couple, thinking to herself, "I don't believe Tuoba Sheng would like a woman like Chu Mei. This game is perfect to expose your fake marriage." The moonlight was perfect. All the royal couples had their legs tied together. Chu Mei put her arm around Tuoba Jun's shoulder. She sweetly said, "Your Highness, our North City Prince's mansion must not fall behind others." Tuoba Jun asked Chu Mei, "Do you want to win?" Chu Mei smiled and said, "I want others to know that we are the couple with the best tacit understanding and the most loving." Chu Mei knew she could use this game as an opportunity to completely win over Tuoba Sheng and secure her position as the North City Princess. Tuoba Sheng also smiled and asked Chu Mei, "Then, can you trust me wholeheartedly?" Chu Mei of course said she could. So Tuoba Jun held the bottle for catching fireflies in his right hand. His left hand wrapped around Chu Mei's waist. He told Chu Mei not to move, to hold his waist tightly, and to just follow him at all times. Chu Mei nodded and said okay. Everyone looked at the North City Prince couple, who were embracing intimately, whispering to each other, and felt confused. Why were they just talking in the bushes? Weren't they in a hurry? Princess Jingyan, seeing the intimate appearance of the North City Prince couple, angrily wondered what other tricks Chu Mei had up her sleeve. Just as she was thinking this, she saw Tuoba Sheng start to move. Tuoba Sheng, with his arm around Chu Mei's waist, jumped up to catch fireflies in the bottle. Chu Mei, however, thought to herself that this was not good. Their feet were out of sync, and she was about to fall. Chu Mei wanted to grab onto something to steady herself, but then remembered Tuoba Jun's instructions to trust him. So Chu Mei withdrew her outstretched hand and held tightly onto Tuoba Jun's arm. As Tuoba Jun landed, he smiled and said, "Since you trust me, I will surely protect you completely." Chu Mei was moved by Tuoba Shun's serious expression. Did she trust him? She immediately cooled her heart and warned herself, "Chu Mei, oh Chu Mei, you're a spy. The word trust shouldn't exist in your world." The competition time was up. Tuoba Shun looked at the bottle full of fireflies and told Chu Mei, "We've definitely won." Chu Mei took the bottle and sweetly said, "Thank you, husband." Princess Jingyan thought incredulously from the side. Tuoba Jun actually helped Chu Mei catch so many. They're going to be first again. I won't let you win. Princess Jingyan quickly ran over and said, "Wow, brother caught so many. Let me see. Chu Mei instinctively wanted to dodge, but forgot that her leg was still tied to Tooba Jun's. She lost her balance for a moment, and the bottle in her hand slipped out. Oh no, don't! Chu Mei lunged forward desperately. Tooba Shun grabbed Chu Mei's arm in one swift motion, telling her not to be afraid. Tooba Shun kicked the glass bottle that was about to hit the ground, easily catching it with his hand. He was about to hand it to Chu Mei, but she quickly refused, saying, "Your Highness should keep it." "I almost dropped it," Tooba Shun said. "All right," then turned his head and glared at Princess Jing'an. Princess Jing'an thought angrily. Why does brother keep protecting her? He helped her again. After tallying the competition results, the Empress Dowager smiled and said, "It seems the North City Prince couple has won." She told them to come to her to receive their reward. She also kindly praised Tooba Shun, saying that the couple had truly impressed her. The North City Prince couple bowed and humbly said the Empress Dowager was too kind. The Empress Dowager said again that the North City Prince couple had particularly surprised her, so she would bestow rewards on behalf of the Emperor. She had a maid bring out a tray. Inside were a golden token of immunity from death, an imperial sword, a blank phoenix seal, an imperial jade seal, and a silver bracelet inlaid with blue sapphire and agate. The Empress Dowager said to let the North Star Prince couple pick up these 5 items at the same time. If they both chose the same item, it would be awarded to them. If not, she couldn't be held responsible. Chu Mei listened and broke out in a cold sweat. Each item was extraordinary. The Empress Dowager's action seemed to be testing Tooba Shun. Chu Mei and Tooba Shun exchanged a glance. They reached out their hands at the same time. It was time to choose. Unexpectedly, both of them reached for the box containing the blue agate-inlaid bracelet. Tooba Jun's hand was ultimately faster than Chu Mei's, picking up the bracelet first. He grabbed Chu Mei's hand and put the bracelet on her wrist. Chu Mei blushed and thanked Tooba Jun with a smile. Seeing this, the Empress Dowager praised them contentedly, saying they were her good children. Their harmonious marriage would put her mind at ease. The couple bowed again to thank the Empress Dowager. The Empress Dowager then announced that the competition was over and today's banquet would end here. The Tooba Shun couple left the Imperial Garden. Tooba Shun said the prince's mansion wasn't far from the palace and asked if Chu Mei would like to take a walk with him. Chu Mei couldn't ask for more and said of course she would. The moonlight was perfect. The two strolled in the beautiful palace scenery. Tooba Jun held Chu Mei's hand. Looking at the bracelet on Chu Mei's wrist, he asked, saying he didn't expect Chu Mei to choose this bracelet. Any of the other options given by the Empress Dowager would have been supreme honors. Chu Mei played with the bracelet, wisely saying that she knew, but supreme honors and power would only bring endless suspicion and jealousy. The prince had already given up his military power, yet still couldn't put the Empress Dowager and Emperor at ease. If she had really chosen one of the other 4 items, it would surely have caused great trouble for the prince. Tooba Shun praised Chu Mei appreciatively, saying she was indeed clever as ice and snow. Chu Mei raised her wrist with the blue agate bracelet, curiously asking Tooba Shun about its origin. For this bracelet to be placed alongside the other 4 items, it surely wasn't an ordinary object. Tooba Shun looked at Chu Mei and explained that it was a relic of his mother. It was something his mother wanted to leave for her future daughter-in-law. Before her death, his mother had entrusted this bracelet to the Empress Dowager, asking her to keep it and later give it to the North Star Princess. Chu Mei was somewhat surprised. It was actually for her mother-in-law. She must take good care of it then. Tooba Shun smiled and said he noted that. If she lost it, she would be punished. Chu Mei bristled, saying she wouldn't lose it. Tooba Shun interlocked his fingers with Chu Mei's. Chu Mei asked again, since the bracelet was a relic of Tooba Shun's mother. The Empress Dowager must have known that Tooba Shun would choose this bracelet. This gesture was probably just a test if she had ulterior motives. Tooba Shun lifted Chu Mei's chin. He made Chu Mei look into his eyes and said affectionately that tonight she had proven herself worthy of being his, Tooba Jun's princess. After this heart-to-heart, Chu Mei carefully asked. Tooba Jun said that from what he saw at today's palace banquet, he realized that although all princes are brothers, there is such a distinction between them. The prince had rendered meritorious service to the royal family. So why was it like this? Chu Mei bowed and firmly said that she had no other intention in asking these questions. As his wife, she only wanted to share the prince's worries. Tooba Jun helped Chu Mei up and opened his heart to her. He He said that when he was young, the late emperor had intended to make him the crown prince. Later, misfortune struck. It was the Empress Dowager who saved him. To repay this life-saving grace, Toba Jun's mother made him swear that he would never seek the throne. Chu Mei murmured, "So that's how it is." Then, with a hint of sympathy, she added, "But your highness is brave and skilled in battle. Your great achievements make you a threat to the throne. It's inevitable that people would be wary of you. It seems your highness has had a difficult journey all this time." Toba Sheng paused, stopping in his tracks. He looked at Chu Mei and asked, "If I'm tired, is the princess willing to share my burdens?" Chu Mei quickly lowered her head, thinking to herself, "I'm only here for the military book." Toba Sheng stared at the somewhat flustered Chu Mei, falling into silence. Chu Mei hastily said, "This isn't something I can decide. If one day your highness finds me displeasing, I'll have no choice but to leave." Both fell silent, walking wordlessly towards the prince's mansion. Toba Sheng escorted Chu Mei to the entrance of Yunzi Palace. He told Chu Mei that he was also tired today and advised her to rest early. However, Chu Mei refused, saying it wasn't time to sleep yet. The various mishaps that occurred today were clearly intentional. It was obvious someone wanted to humiliate her. If it weren't for the prince's protection and her own quick thinking, it would have been a disgrace to the North Star Princess. This time, she wouldn't let it go easily. Toba Sheng nodded and said, "You are the princess. Naturally, you have the right to handle these matters. I won't interfere." After saying this, he turned and left. Chu Mei bowed, then entered her chambers and called for Qing Lian. She asked if the task she had assigned before leaving the mansion had been completed. After receiving Qing Lian's affirmative response, Chu Mei ordered the servants to light the lamps and summon all the palace maids. Chu Mei sat in the princess's seat, looking nonchalantly at the people kneeling before her. She told Qing Lian to bring out the items. Qing Lian brought out the moldy tea cakes and smashed them on the ground. Chu Mei smiled and said, "At today's palace banquet, I was set up twice by people from my own household. It seems I've been too lenient before, so this time, I don't intend to let those who bite the hand that feeds them off easily." Qing Lian pointed at the people on the ground and said, "These are all maids from the laundry. They've all confessed. They were the ones who tampered with the ceremonial robes." Pointing at one of them, she said she was the one who did it. The others were aware, but didn't report it. However, they refused to reveal who's behind this. Chu Mei's mind flashed to Fu Shue's smug face. She sneered, "You think that by not speaking, I won't know who's behind this? This framing tactic is truly amateur." Chu Mei announced that the maids who knew but didn't report, along with their families, would all be expelled from the prince's mansion. The chief steward would be dismissed. As for the maid who tampered with the ceremonial robes, she ordered, "Drag her out, cut off her hands, and hang them at the entrance of Consort Fu's chambers for 3 days. Let her learn her lesson." As the maid was about to beg for mercy, Qing Lian said she would investigate the tea cake incident immediately. Chu Mei stopped her, saying, "No need to investigate. If I'm not mistaken, it's all from the same person. Beat all these people and send them to Consort Fu." Then she warned everyone, "Remember this. Any mistakes in my palace, regardless of who's responsible, will not be tolerated. I want to see who still dares to betray me." The servants were frightened and begged for mercy. Qing Lian asked Chu Mei if they were really going to let Fu Shui off so easily. Chu Mei said sternly that Fu Shui was still Toba Jun's consort, bestowed by the emperor. One must consider the owner when beating a dog. She would keep these accounts for now. If Fu Shui still didn't behave, they would settle all accounts at once. Looking at the servants being punished, Chu Mei said harshly, "Let's see who in this North Star Prince's mansion still dares to plot against me." Suddenly, a voice was heard. "The North Star Princess is indeed formidable." Chu Mei angrily rebuked, "Who dares to be so bold?" It turned out to be young Marquis Pei Xiaonan. Chu Mei asked helplessly, "Young Marquis, why are you climbing walls again? Isn't this improper?" Pei Xiaonan leaped down from the wall. He explained, "It's because that prince of yours is too fierce. He won't let me in. I begged the princess to help me." He pleaded, saying his elder brother's birthday was coming soon. He begged Chu Mei to help him with that precious sword, saying he would do anything. Chu Mei said with difficulty, "That belongs to the prince. It's not so easy. If we anger Toba, it might not be worth it." Pei Xiaonan quickly asked Chu Mei what she meant. Chu Mei thought to herself, if she helped Pei Xiaonan, she could gain favor with the Chong Wagong's family and have another backer. If she ever had a falling out with Tuoba Jun, she would have a place to seek refuge. With this in mind, Chu Mei told Pei Xiaonan that she was moved by his brotherly love and decided to help him test the waters first. She asked him to go back and wait for news, saying she would do her best to help. Pei Xiaonan quickly expressed his gratitude. After Pei Xiaonan left, Qinglian said to Chu Mei, "The prince probably won't agree. Isn't it too rash for you to promise so easily?" Chu Mei replied, "Qinglian, when I married into the prince's mansion, to get the art of war, I had already investigated. Tuoba Jun has a treasure room. The sword is most likely there." Qinglian worriedly said, "Without Tuoba Jun's agreement, I'm afraid it won't work." Chu Mei smiled and said she wasn't in a hurry to act, knowing both sides would allow for better action. Before dawn, she would go to investigate first and also check if the art of war was there. Chu Mei changed into her night clothes and arrived at the treasure room. She thought there might be traps here, so she had to be careful. Before she finished speaking, she stepped on a loose tile on the floor. A flying dagger shot quickly towards Chu Mei. Chu Mei barely dodged it, losing a strand of hair. The dagger embedded deeply into the wall of the treasure room. Chu Mei thought to herself, that was terrifying. Tuoba Jun's precautions are too extreme. Chu Mei walked into the inner part of the treasure room and saw the Qishao sword. She picked up the sword and examined it, thinking it was indeed a rare treasure. No wonder Tuoba Jun was unwilling to part with it. Chu Mei then thought, if Tuoba Jun found out she took the sword, he might strangle her. The difference in their martial prowess was too great. Chu Mei shook her head, saying she couldn't use force. As she was thinking of a strategy, she saw the words forged by Ouya Zi engraved on the sword hilt. Chu Mei smiled and said, "This one is mine." Chu Mei turned and left the treasure room, not noticing the figure in the corner. The next day, Chu Mei sighed, saying she had been busy all morning. When Pei Xiaonan received the sword, he would surely be grateful and bow down to her. Qinglian comforted her, saying it must have been difficult for Chu Mei. Before she finished speaking, someone came with ropes, saying the prince had ordered the princess to be arrested. Chu Mei was first shocked, then angrily rebuked. "Who are you people? How dare you arrest me in the prince's mansion? Do you not value your lives?" The person bowed and said he was only following orders and apologized for offending Chu Mei. Chu Mei was brought bound before Tuoba Sheng. She asked him what this meant. Tuoba Sheng grabbed Chu Mei's neck and said, "You dare to steal Xiao Baojian." Chu Mei denied stealing it. She was startled, thinking to herself if Tuoba Sheng had been monitoring her. How did he know Pei Xiaonan had visited? Tuoba Jun only said to lock Chu Mei in the dungeon, hang her over the cold pool, and he would interrogate her personally. Tuoba Jun came before Chu Mei as she hung over the cold pool. He said, "I told you if you dare betray me, there's only death awaiting." Chu Mei retorted, asking Tuoba Jun what proof he had that she stole the sword. Tuoba Sheng said, "Yesterday, Pei Xiaonan asked for your help. Today the sword is gone. When did you two become so close? But stealing the sword without leaving yourself an escape route, that's not like your usual style." Chu Mei murmured, "With you, I've never had an escape route. Besides, I didn't steal the sword." Chu Mei looked up at Tuoba Sheng again, asking if he had never trusted her. She was gambling that Tuoba Sheng hadn't been monitoring her. Tuoba Sheng lifted Chu Mei's chin and said, "Yes, you're good at arguing. Still won't confess? Do you think I really won't kill you?" Chu Mei said she wouldn't dare think that. She knew if she angered Tuoba Sheng, her life and death would be at his whim. "But I really didn't steal the sword. Why wouldn't I dare to come back?" Tuoba Jun looked at Chu Mei, thinking she was indeed a good actress. Even looking into her eyes, he couldn't see any flaw. Tuoba Jun pressed Chu Mei again, saying, "Who sent you? They've trained you so well, not showing any flaws." Chu Mei argued, "No one sent me. I'm just myself." She had to protect the organization. Tuoba Jun released Chu Mei, saying, "Since you won't speak the truth, you'll hang in the water prison for 3 days without food or water. Let's see if your mouth is still so tough then. As for those around you, they'll be punished too." Chu Mei continued to argue, "I didn't do it. I won't admit it even if you kill me. Involving innocent people, you're just a tyrant." Tuoba Sheng smirked, "A tyrant? Maybe." After Tuoba Jun left the dungeon, Chu Mei sighed, thinking indeed, with Tuoba Jun, she couldn't be tough, only submissive. Kochinji smiled as she secretly watched Chu Mei from the dungeon shadows, saying, "Now it's your turn. Just one Qishao sword can make you turn against each other. Seems your relationship isn't much after all." It turned out the figure in the treasure room yesterday was Kochinji. "Chu Mei, why don't I do you a favor and send this to the Changwagong mansion? The young lord will be very grateful to you. I'd like to see how the prince will deal with you. Kochinji told the guards at the dungeon door that she had come to bring some food for the princess, but seeing her hands bound, she wouldn't tell the prince she had been there. At night, wind and rain raged. Tuoba Sheng was playing chess with Luo Jui. Tuoba Sheng was distracted, and Luo Jui easily won. Tuoba Sheng said, "Let's end today's game here." Luo Jui said, "Your Highness's mind wasn't on the game today. Are you still angry at the princess?" Tuoba Tao gritted his teeth, saying, "She's tough indeed," still refusing to admit her mistake. Tuoba Tao told Luo Jui, "Within a month at all costs, we must find out Chu Mei's true identity." Luo Jui stood up and said, "I dare to ask, is your Highness angry about the princess stealing the sword, or about her giving it to Pei Xiaonan?" Tuoba Jun asked, "Are you trying to plead for Chu Mei?" Luo Jui laughed and said he wouldn't dare. He had just never seen the prince so impulsive before. He wondered if the prince was angry or heartbroken. Tuoba Jun was stunned. He clenched his fist. The Qishao sword was just a sword. He seemed to be even more intolerant of Chu Mei doing things for others and going against him. Seeing Tuoba Jun lost in thought, Luo Jui was about to take his leave, saying that since the prince had given orders, he would go investigate immediately. However, some things would be better to ask the princess directly. Tuoba Jun stopped Luo Jui and went with him to the water prison. He was still worried after all. At the water prison, they found Chu Mei had already fallen unconscious. Tuoba Jun quickly ran over, drew his sword to cut the ropes, and lowered Chu Mei down. He called Chu Mei's name, but she didn't wake up. Tuoba Jun picked up Chu Mei horizontally and told someone to call for a doctor. Then he heard Chu Mei murmuring in her sleep, "Aging, you must wait. Our plan hasn't been accomplished yet." Tuoba Tao froze in place. He said to the unconscious Chu Mei, "What did you say? What plan? Say it again if you dare." Hearing Chu Mei repeatedly calling out, he angrily said, "Even while unconscious, she's still calling someone else's name. My concern was indeed unnecessary." Luo Jui quickly tried to smooth things over, saying that words spoken while unconscious shouldn't be taken seriously. At this moment, Qing Lian suddenly arrived, saying she had something to give to Tuoba Sheng. Tuoba Sheng thought to himself, wondering what trick Chu Mei's people were up to now. Qing Lian knelt on the ground and presented the sword in her hands. Luo Jui took it and saw it was the dragon scale sword. Qing Lian cried and said, "The princess couldn't bear to give away your treasure, so she went to the master swordsmith Old O and asked for another precious sword, intending to give it to the young marquis. Moreover, the princess also had a sword specially crafted for you, your highness. The princess knows that although you have relinquished military power, you still care deeply about the great cause, so you're always frowning with worry. So she had the sword made to nurture through the sword. The princess wanted to express her determination through the sword, to accompany you through hardships, bide time, and regain power when the opportunity arises." Tuoba Sheng understood. No wonder Chu Mei wouldn't give in. He had indeed wronged her. Tuoba Sheng carried Chu Mei back to Yunzi Palace and told Qing Lian to find a doctor. He would take care of her personally. Qing Lian wanted to change Chu Mei into clean clothes, but Tuoba Sheng took over, saying he would do it himself. Just as Tuoba Sheng was about to start, he heard Chu Mei still cursing him as a tyrant in her sleep. This little fox was still being stubborn. Tuoba Sheng took off Chu Mei's soaking wet clothes and changed her into clean ones. He caressed Chu Mei's face and said to her, "Mei, you've suffered." Suddenly, Chu Mei reached out and hugged Tuoba Sheng's waist, trembling and murmuring, "Cold." Tuoba Sheng quickly wrapped his arm around Chu Mei's shoulders and held her in his arms. He asked if she was still cold. Chu Mei stopped shivering and said, "Warm." Tuoba Jun couldn't help but kiss Chu Mei's lips. He pressed Chu Mei down onto the bed. He murmured apologies to Chu Mei, saying it was his fault. Suddenly, the dragon-shaped mark on Tuoba Jun's chest appeared again. Tuoba Jun suddenly came to his senses. What was he doing? Although he liked her, it couldn't be now. At least he should wait until she wakes up. At least then it would be consensual. Chu Mei was about to wake up. She was murmuring and calling for Qing Lian. Tuoba Sheng stood up, thinking she was finally waking up. He would come back to check on her later. He went out and instructed Qing Lian that the princess was about to wake up, telling her to take good care of her. Tuoba Sheng went to Luoyue Pavilion. Luo Jui asked about Chu Mei's condition. Tuoba Sheng replied that he had hurt her too deeply, but now she was no longer in serious danger. Luo Jui hesitantly asked Tuoba Sheng if he had developed true feelings for Chu Mei. Tuoba Sheng said he would find out Chu Mei's true true identity within a month. No matter what her purpose was, he only wanted her to stay by his side forever. Regardless of who she was, there was no woman in this world that the North City prince couldn't marry. He wanted to negotiate with the forces behind Chu Mei. He would keep her no matter the cost. From now on, Chu Mei would only be his princess. In Yunzi Palace, Chu Mei was shocked to learn that Toba Jun had carried her back and even changed her clothes himself. Hadn't he seen everything then? Qinglian said the prince saw the sword and realized he had misunderstood. He looked even more upset. Chu Mei complained, saying the person who put her in this state was also him. If it weren't for Qinglian asking the organization's people to get the sword back from old O in time, she might have lost her life. However, it wasn't bad that he felt guilty this time. It would be much easier to get the military book in the future. Speaking of this precious sword, she didn't know who was framing her behind her back. She told Qinglian to call Pei Xiaonan over, as she had something to ask him. Pei Xiaonan came to Yunzi Palace. He asked Chu Mei what she needed him for, and if the prince knew he was here. Chu Mei said irritably not to mention him. She asked if he had received the Qishao sword, and who gave it to him. Pei Xiaonan asked confusedly if it wasn't her. The maid said the person who delivered the sword claimed to be from the princess. He had even sent someone to the prince's mansion to thank her. Chu Mei held her head and cursed inwardly at such a useless ally. Then she told Pei Xiaonan that she had been framed. How could she dare to steal the Qishao sword? There wasn't only one Qishao sword in the world. She had obtained the dragon scale sword for him and was planning to give it to him. Now someone had framed her for stealing the Qishao sword, and the prince was furious. Pei Xiaonan said in panic, "What? The North City prince didn't do anything to you, did he?" The consequences of his anger can be very serious. No wonder you look so unwell. The North City prince's punishment must have been severe. I'll go back and ask about this carefully right away. Chu Mei comforted him, saying it was nothing, just some physical suffering. Then Pei Xiaonan stood up and bowed to Chu Mei. He said seriously, "It's all because of me that you've gotten into such big trouble. I'll remember this favor. I'm determined to be your friend." Chu Mei returned the gesture, saying, "Young Marquis, you're too kind. If you have any news, please let me know immediately." After Pei Xiaonan left hurriedly, Qinglian brought a tray and said, "Chu Mei, you haven't eaten for 2 days. Have some porridge first, then think about it later." Chu Mei stirred the porridge in the bowl, saying worriedly, "The other party didn't succeed this time. They surely won't give up. They will make another move. I can't wait passively. I need to strike first." Qinglian pondered and said, "Could it be that concubine Fu again? She has tried to harm you several times. The dress and tea cakes didn't succeed in bringing you down, so she might have framed you this time." Chu Mei shook her head and said, "It's not her. Even I took a long time to find his treasure hiding place. Fu Shui and Tuoba Sheng are not close friends. Tuoba Sheng definitely wouldn't tell her. Even if she knew, she couldn't get past the traps in front. To know where the treasure is hidden and to enter smoothly, it must be someone who has been with Tuoba Sheng for a long time. But Tuoba Sheng's people have no reason to harm me. This is clearly aimed at disrupting my relationship with Tuoba Sheng. This person must be afraid of my relationship with Tuoba Sheng getting better and better." Chu Mei fell into silence. Qinglian hurriedly asked if Chu Mei had thought of someone. Chu Mei smiled knowingly and said, "That's right. We've overlooked someone. He's a very special presence in the North Star Prince's mansion, the one living in Peach Blossom Cottage." Qinglian exclaimed, "Miss Ko? Is she doing this because she has feelings for Tuoba Jun? But Kuyu is his sister. How could she do this?" Chu Mei interrupted, "Why not? The human heart is the most unpredictable thing in this world. But we don't have concrete evidence yet. Let's go to Peach Blossom Cottage this afternoon to meet her." Inside Peach Blossom Cottage, Chu Mei and Ko Qingji were drinking tea. Chu Mei smiled and said to Ko Qingji, "I've come abruptly to ask Miss Ko for advice on some of the prince's preferences. I'm new here, but have to take care of the prince's daily life, so I really need to do some homework. With Miss Ko's kindness, I'm sure you won't refuse me." Ko Qingji said with some difficulty, "The prince only returned to the capital recently, and I just moved into the mansion. I've only met Tuoba Sheng a few times before with my sister. If Kuyu were still here, she could probably give you some advice. Come to think of it, my sister and the prince were truly in sync. Not everyone can have that kind of rapport with the prince." Chu Mei held her forehead. "Why do you keep mentioning Kuyu?" Ko Qingji added, "Only my sister knew the prince's preferences well." Ko Qingji laughed inwardly, thinking, there won't be another Kuyu in this world. Some people are just wasting their efforts, even if they ask about his preferences. Chu Mei said somewhat shyly, "Miska hasn't experienced mutual love, so you might not understand some things. Being together every day, intimately naturally creates a rapport over time. Like the prince and I now. Our rapport at the Qiqiao festival was truly enviable to everyone. Oh, I forgot. Miss Ke didn't have the status to attend the Qiqiao festival. What a pity. Chumei noticed Ke Qingji's face change slightly in thought. She gets angry so easily. She quickly asked Ke Qingji with concern, "Sister, you don't look well. Are you feeling unwell?" Just then, Ke Qingji called out, "Your Highness." Chumei was puzzled. Why had he come? Ke Qingji quickly stood up and said, "Your Highness, why are you standing at the door without saying anything? Please come in." Chumei bowed and said, "Since your Highness is here, I won't disturb you. I'll take my leave." Chumei was still resentful towards Tooba Sheng. He hadn't apologized after punishing her, and she really didn't want to stay with him. Just as she was about to leave, Tooba Sheng called her over. Chumei asked if he had any other instructions. Tooba Sheng said, "I heard you were inquiring about my preferences." Chumei retorted defiantly, "Is that not allowed? Have I offended you again?" Chumei thought to herself, "Has he discovered my plan?" Tooba Sheng changed the subject, saying it was the Mid-Autumn Festival today. He wanted to go to Chanda Garden to see the latest play. He kept looking at Chumei as he spoke. Chumei was puzzled by Tooba Jun's gaze. Ke Qingji quickly replied that she would accompany him. Ke Qingji laughed inwardly, thinking the prince was deliberately saying this for Chumei to hear. But she couldn't understand the deeper meaning, "So I'll accept on your behalf." Tooba Sheng said okay. Chumei was a bit surprised, so he came specifically to watch the play with Ke Qingji. "I don't care to go with him anyway." Chumei quickly excused herself. Tooba Sheng asked Chumei if she wasn't coming along. Chumei snorted coldly and said, "You two go watch the play. Why should I tag along? It's rare for your Highness to be in such a good mood. Enjoy watching with Miss Ke." Tooba Sheng was helpless, usually quite clever, but at this moment she dropped the ball. Of course, the true fragrance might be late, but it will never be absent. Chumei still went. As soon as she entered, she heard the Rue princess consort's greeting. "On this Mid-Autumn Festival, why are you wandering China Garden alone? The North Star Prince isn't accompanying you?" "I knew it. How could the North Star Prince like a woman from the Jianghu?" Chumei said she wouldn't argue with fools and ignored her as she walked away. The Rue princess consort blocked Chumei's path, angrily shouting, "Stop. You really think you're a princess consort? You're not worthy. A commoner is just a commoner. I'm talking to you, and you dare to turn and leave without a word." Chumei retorted that she could only understand human speech, and she indeed hadn't heard any sound just now. The Rue princess consort angrily said, "Who do you think you were to talk to me like this? I am the North Star Princess Consort." Her fierce demeanor truly resembled Tooba Tao's. "How dare you make me step down from the white platform? Just wait." The Rue Princess Consort pinched her own arm hard. Then she quickly darted in front of Chumei and grabbed her sleeve. Chumei shook her off, and the Rue Princess Consort fell to the ground. She cried to the Rue Prince, saying Chumei tried to kill her. "Look at what she did to my arm. If I hadn't dodged quickly, she would have broken it." The Rue Prince played along, embracing the Rue Princess Consort and ordering his subordinates to seize Chumei. Chumei sternly asked, "What's the meaning of this? Are you trying to bully the North Star Prince's household?" The Rue Princess Consort grabbed Chumei's wrist and said, "You assaulted a princess consort. If you don't kneel and apologize, I'll report you to the Imperial Clan Court." Suddenly, a short knife flew in and pierced the Rue Princess Consort's right arm. Tooba Jun appeared, asking, "Who dares to make my princess consort kneel?" The Rue Prince and Princess Consort, seeing Tooba Jun arrive, retreated somewhat nervously. Then, gathering courage, they shouted, "Brother, even if you were the North Star Prince, you owe us an explanation." The Princess Consort deliberately harmed Shinro. Tooba Sheng snorted coldly. "Tooba Rue, I clearly saw you provoking Chumei first. Now you're trying to twist the facts. Considering you bear the Tooba name, I don't want to cause trouble for you now. But if you insist on seeking attention, I don't mind dealing with you too." Tooba Rue angrily shouted, "North Star Prince, you've gone too far." Tooba Jun brandished the dagger in his hand. Pointing at the Rue Princess Consort, he said, "For publicly humiliating the North Star Princess Consort, you can either apologize publicly or I'll carve words on your face. Choose one." The Rue Princess Consort trembled and said, "North Star Prince, you're not a man. How dare you bully a woman?" Tooba Jun smiled coldly and said, "In my eyes, there are only the living and the dead. There's no distinction between men and women." The Rue Princess Consort, frightened, fell to her knees. I was wrong. Isn't that enough? Chu Mei clung to Toba Jun's arm and said, since that's the case, this princess is magnanimous. I won't bother with people like you. Prince, let's go. The Rue prince asked Toba Jun if he was satisfied. Toba Jun smiled and said, since my princess has forgiven him, you may leave. The Rue prince left with his princess, gritting his teeth and cursing under his breath. Go ahead and be arrogant. One day, I will avenge today's humiliation. Just you wait. Toba Jun took Chu Mei's hand and told her to come along. Chu Mei asked confusedly, where? What about Miss Ko? Toba Jun replied, she's not here. Chu Mei huffed. Didn't you invite her to watch the play? Toba Jun looked straight at Chu Mei and emphasized word by word. I invited you. Chu Mei said smugly, then today I'll treat the prince to a play. Toba Jun retorted, I booked the most expensive seats and even ordered flower baskets. Do you have enough money? Chu Mei quietly said, not enough. Just these few silver pieces. You'd better not show off. Toba Jun put his arm around Chu Mei's shoulders, smiled and said, silly, then led Chu Mei into the inner room. Chu Mei observed the surroundings and marveled. The prince is indeed generous. Toba Jun asked, didn't you say you weren't coming? Chu Mei pretended to ponder and said, since today's play is one the prince likes, of course I had to come and see it. Toba Jun ruffled Chu Mei's hair. Chu Mei glanced at him furtively and saw Toba Jun smile and say, as expected of you, lying without batting an eye. On stage, they were explaining the plot of the play. It said that many years ago on the Mid-Autumn Festival, the North Star Prince and his warriors were fighting in Daliang. It was their sacrifice that led to today's reunion festival. The play was titled The North Star Prince's 7 Kills in Daliang City. Chu Mei asked, is this about your attack on Daliang back then? Toba Jun was a bit embarrassed and just told her to watch the play. He just wanted to spend a mid-autumn festival with her, but didn't expect to encounter such a play. Chu Mei secretly laughed, thinking Toba Jun was really reserved, coming to watch a play praising his own merits. She then rested her head on Toba Jun's shoulder and said, let's watch the play. Toba Jun, at an angle Chu Mei couldn't see, also revealed a slight smile. On stage, they were praising Toba Jun's legend. Chu Mei thought to herself, this guardian of the new dynasty had become the man by her side. After the play ended, Chu Mei sighed, saying that after watching today's play, she truly regretted not coming to the prince's side earlier. She couldn't witness the prince's heroic figure on the battlefield. Toba Jun smiled, cupped Chu Mei's face and said, it's not too late now. You'll still get to see it. Today is Mid-Autumn Festival. I'll take you for a stroll. Chu Mei happily said, all right. Toba Jun accompanied Chu Mei on a walk through the streets. They were feeling full when they unexpectedly encountered Princess Jing'an. Princess Jing'an angrily said to Toba Jun, brother, you've been hard to find. On Mid-Autumn night, you couldn't even attend the palace banquet, only accompanying this wild woman. Has she bewitched you? Toba Jun reprimanded. Jing'an, you're being disrespectful to the princess consort again. Princess Jing'an turned and left. She would never acknowledge this shameless woman as the princess consort. Chu Mei comforted him, saying, it's all right. She is your sister after all. Since the prince and I are one, she is my sister too. Toba Jun asked, you don't mind? Chu Mei proudly said, of course not. I have the magnanimity of an adult. Toba Sheng praised admiringly. This princess indeed knows what's important. The two stopped in front of a tall building. Chu Mei sighed. I never noticed such a tall place in Chang'an when shopping before. It's perfect for moon viewing. Toba Tao asked Chu Mei if she wanted to go up. Just as Chu Mei was about to say yes, Toba Tao picked her up by the waist and carried her to the roof. Looking at the bright lanterns and full moon, Chu Mei said to Toba Tao, this was the first Mid-Autumn Festival she had enjoyed so much. Toba Tao asked Chu Mei how she spent previous Mid-Autumn Festivals. Chu Mei smiled bitterly, saying Mid-Autumn Festival was for family reunions, but she had no family left, so how could she celebrate it? Chu Mei was lost in memories. Back then, her brother Aging was still by her side. Fire surrounded the siblings. Seeing the fire growing, Aging pushed Chu Mei out. Toba Sheng called out to Chu Mei, who was immersed in memories, asking if she was all right. Chu Mei replied she was just remembering her departed family and felt a bit sad. Toba Tao comfortingly stroked Chu Mei's head, saying, from now on, I'll be your family. I'll spend every Mid-Autumn Festival with you in the future. Chu Mei smiled and said okay, but inside she felt bitter. I'm just a pawn for others to get close to you. How can a pawn have a future? Gazing at the bright moon, Chu Mei said she was happy just living in the present with the prince. Tuoba Jun also responded that the future was long, and he would always be with her. Chu Mei thought, today I'm just myself. Though everything beautiful may be fleeting, at least I've experienced it. Suddenly, Chu Mei saw a familiar figure rushing through the street. Without orders from the organization, he wouldn't appear here. She must have seen wrong. Just as Chu Mei said she was fine, they heard a report that Princess Jingyan had gone missing. Both were shocked. Tuoba Sheng anxiously stood up, saying he had just seen her, wondering what happened. The subordinate replied that according to the princess's guard, after meeting Tuoba Sheng's couple, she was separated in the crowd at a Ning Lane in Chang'an Street. Someone bumped into the princess, and then she disappeared. Tuoba Tao leapt down from the roof with Chu Mei, telling her Jingyan must have been kidnapped. Tuoba Tao wanted to tell Chu Mei to go rest first when they returned to the mansion. Chu Mei volunteered, saying if there was anything she could do about the princess's matter, she would spare no effort. Back in her chambers, Chu Mei instructed Qinglian that Princess Jingyan was missing, and it wasn't convenient for her to leave the mansion at this time. Your martial arts are good. Go to Wan Qingxi right away to gather relevant information. Chu Mei paced in her room, anxiously waiting for news from Qinglian. Finally, Qinglian returned with news. It was indeed Mingjue. It seemed she hadn't seen wrong earlier. Could the organization have plans for Jingyan? Was it because she hadn't obtained the military book, so the young master sent people? Qinglian denied this, saying Mingjue came to Chang'an on another mission. Without orders, he didn't acknowledge Chu Mei. He only saw Princess Jingyan scolding you on the street, felt upset, and kidnapped her. Chu Mei sighed, saying she once saved this child's life, and he still remembered, wholeheartedly protecting her. She needed to quickly have him return Princess Jingyan. Qinglian anxiously said, "It's too late now. Mingjue has sold the princess to the White Lotus sect, 8 provinces branch. They're going to auction her off tomorrow." Chu Mei was shocked. The White Lotus sect was a sworn enemy of the new dynasty. Tuoba Tao had led troops to exterminate them many times. The princess's life was in great danger in their hands. Chu Mei told Qinglian that she had to go to Bazhou immediately. Qinglian said they should at least report to Tuoba Sheng. Chu Mei said they couldn't tell him. Tuoba Sheng would eventually find out the truth. With his temper, he would never spare Mingjue. Chu Mei continued to instruct Qinglian that she couldn't come along. If both mistress and servant were gone, Tuoba Sheng would definitely become suspicious. I'm doing this not just for Mingjue, nor for Tuoba Sheng. By saving the princess, we'll remove the biggest opponent to this marriage. It will be easier to find the military book. Chu Mei changed into night clothes and left. She put on a mask and infiltrated the White Lotus sex auction. The first item to be auctioned was Princess Jingyan. When people heard she was Tuoba Jun's sister, they became excited, saying they wanted to buy Jingyan to get revenge. Chu Mei sneered. Instead of taking revenge on Tuoba Jun directly, they were taking advantage of a woman. What a bunch of shameless scoundrels. Chu Mei activated her illusion technique. Everyone lost their senses. Chu Mei jumped onto the stage and rescued Princess Jingyan. Just as she was about to leave, her mask was torn off. The man introduced himself, saying, "I am Zi Sangmu. I came here specifically for Princess Jingyan today. You snatching her like this, wouldn't it make my trip pointless?" Zi Sangmu said with interest. "To be able to enter and exit this water moon cave using illusions, miss, you interest me more than the princess. Why don't we get to know each other?" Chu Mei was worried. This Zi Sangmu was a notorious playboy, definitely not a good person. She couldn't get entangled with him. Chu Mei threw out her silver needles, but Zi Sangmu easily dodged them. He praised, "Not bad. Your technique is clean and efficient. Looks like you've killed quite a few people before." Zi Sangmu took off his mask and smirked. "Do you think you can escape?" Chu Mei thought to herself. "Not good. I've fallen into an illusion." Chu Mei instructed Jingyan to hide first and not to come out unless called. Zi Sangmu smiled and said, "Since you're skilled in illusions, miss, let's see who's stronger. This is a special romantic illusion I've set up for you. You can see your lifelong love or the person you most want to be intimate with. I wonder who you're thinking of, miss?" Chu Mei felt her body grow hot. She cursed shameless lecher, using such despicable methods. Suddenly, she saw Tuoba Tao's figure appear before her. How was this possible? When Tuoba Tao actually embraced Chu Mei, she realized it was the real Tuoba Tao. Tuoba Sheng hurled the darts in his hand fiercely at Zi Sangmu. Zi Sangmu, hit in the right arm, asked, "Could it be that this woman is related to you?" Zi Sangmu pulled out the dart and swung his fly whisk as he leapt up. He activated his illusion again, saying, "Since you dare come to Bazhou, don't think about leaving. Tuoba Sheng channeled his internal energy and mocked. Is this all you can do? These lowly tricks? Zi Sangmu threw the dagger back, but Tuoba Sheng deflected it, changing its direction. This time it pierced Zi Sangmu's left chest. Zi Sangmu spat blood and said, Prince Beichun, you're skilled. I'll come to Chang'an and return this favor in full. Then he escaped using his lightness skill. Chu-mei looked at Tuoba Sheng again to confirm. Your Highness, is it really you? I thought I was still in the illusion. Chu-mei hesitated for a moment. Just now, in the illusion, was it because I had him in my heart, or was there some other reason? Tuoba Jun asked Chu-mei if she was injured. Chu-mei asked in return why the prince was here. Tuoba Jun only answered that it was intuition. How could he possibly track her here, just based on intuition? Of course, it was because Luo Jui had reported earlier that he found out Princess Jing'an had been sold to the White Lotus sect branch in Bazhou. Strangely, the person watching Chu-mei said she also went to Bazhou, seemingly quite related to this matter. Tuoba Tao was shocked. Bazhou was one of the strongholds of the White Lotus sect. The White Lotus sect had been his sworn enemy for a long time. Jing'an was already in the tiger's den. If Chu-mei's identity was exposed, it would be even more dangerous. That's why he left everything behind in the mansion and rushed here without stopping. When Chu-mei heard him say intuition, she expressed that believing him would be strange. He must have sent someone to follow her. Chu-mei turned her head and said to go check on the princess quickly. After examining, Chu-mei told Tuoba Sheng that Jing'an's acupoints were just sealed. Tuoba Sheng had just unsealed them. Princess Jing'an immediately started accusing Chu-mei, saying it was because of this bitch that they sold her to the White Lotus sect. Tuoba Jun scolded her, saying not to be disrespectful to the princess consort. She risked her life to save you, yet you're still so inconsiderate. Princess Jing'an said angrily that the people who kidnapped her kept saying they wanted to take revenge for Chu-mei. Just because of this bitch, she almost lost her life. Mingjue suddenly jumped out from the side, saying, You dare to curse people? Seeing him, she immediately said, It's this bastard who kidnapped me. Just as Tuoba Sheng was about to strike, Chu-mei shouted for him to show mercy. Mingjue was thrown out. Chu-mei quickly went to check on his condition. Mingjue complained, saying, This dead girl has insulted you repeatedly. You don't need to plead for her. I just want to teach her a lesson. Kill me or chop me up, whatever. Chu-mei quickly stopped him and told him to kneel down. Tuoba Sheng noticed that Mingjue called Chu-mei Sister Chu. Mei quickly explained that Mingjue is Qinglian's brother. They grew up together and depended on each other for survival. Tuoba Jun asked alertly, Is this person your childhood sweetheart? Chu-mei quickly pleaded, saying Mingjue has a quick temper. He couldn't bear to see her insulted, so he impulsively kidnapped the princess. She was willing to take the punishment for him in this matter. Tuoba Jun asked Chu-mei, You're afraid I'll deal with him, so you came here alone regardless of your safety? Chu-mei quickly denied it, saying, Of course not. You only have one sister, Your Highness. You must have been extremely worried when something happened to her. She didn't dare to inform him, but wanted to share his worries. If she couldn't bring the princess back safely, she really wouldn't know how to face him. Your Highness, you also know I don't have any noble ladies. We've supported each other to survive until today. We're not family, but we've encouraged each other in life and death situations. Otherwise, I wouldn't have lived to meet Your Highness. Tuoba Sheng was silent for a moment, then hugged Chu-mei and told her there was no need to hide anything from him. You said you wouldn't hold a grudge against Jing'an. I believe you. Chu-mei then asked what to do about Mingjue. Tuoba Jun said not to mention this person to him again. There was a commotion behind them. The White Lotus sect people had caught up. Mingjue stood in front of them, telling them to leave first. Chu-mei said okay, let him stay behind to clean up, which would also serve as atonement. Chu-mei told Tuoba Sheng that the princess's acupoints were sealed. She needed care, and they couldn't linger in battle. Chu-mei instructed Mingju not to push himself too hard, and then left. No one chased after her. It seems Mingju had already dealt with that group of people. Mingju had practiced martial arts since childhood. His skills were superb. Tuoba Tao really didn't want to hear that name again. Suddenly, a hidden weapon came flying. Tuoba Tao pushed Chu-mei away. An assassin jumped out, telling the North Star Prince to mind his own business. He was after Chu-mei's life. After hearing this, Tuoba Tao furiously threw the dart in his hand. Anyone who dared to touch his people must die. The two became entangled in a fight. Princess Jing'an watched Chu-mei standing still, and angrily said that person came to kill her. You just stand there watching while my brother fights for your life? Chu Mei warned Jinan, you stay put. My martial arts aren't good. If I go over, I'll just be a burden to him. Tuoba Sheng fought with the assassin for a while, but eventually lost and was knocked to the ground. Chu Mei went forward worriedly and asked Tuoba Sheng if he was alright. Tuoba Tao looked down and asked about the assassin's identity. The man only said his name was Han Yi. He admitted he was outmatched and wouldn't say anything else. Kill me or torture me as you wish. Chu Mei was somewhat surprised. Han Yi was that world-class fool. Tuoba Tao mockingly said, so this is the top assassin of the Tiansha Pavilion. Not much after all. Chu Mei laughed. To be able to hire the world's top assassin, that must cost quite a lot. I didn't realize my life was worth so much. Tuoba Jun raised his short knife again, saying, keeping him alive will only be trouble. Better to kill him. Chu Mei revealed the silver needle in her hand, interrupting. He came to kill me after all. Let me do it. Just as Chu Mei was about to act, she suddenly saw the pendant on Han Yi's neck. She immediately became very excited. Chu Mei yanked off the mask on Han Yi's face, demanding to know who he really was. How did you get this ivory carving? Did you pick it up, or did someone sell it to you? Han Yi covered the pendant, telling Chu Mei it was his own. He'd had it since he could remember. Chu Mei continued anxiously asking, then what about your family? Where are they? Han Yi turned his head and said he had no parents, no family. And don't involve my family. If you want to kill, just kill me. Tuoba Sheng, seeing Chu Mei suddenly in tears, asked, what's wrong? Should I do it instead? Chu Mei trembled and quickly stepped forward to stop him, saying, Your Highness, please don't. This pendant, I have one too. All the children in our family have one. This ivory carving might be my brother's. Chu Mei trembled, covering her face as she cried, Your Highness, I beg you. Our family has no one left, so he might be related to my family. Please don't kill him. I beg you. Chu Mei looked at the familiar ivory carving and fell into deep thought. A Jing's ivory carving. Shouldn't it have been destroyed in that big fire? Who exactly is he? Could there be other survivors from the clan? Tuoba Sheng looked at Han Yi and Chu Mei, also pondering. The quality of this ivory carving doesn't seem to be from an ordinary family. So Chu Mei might have been born into a wealthy family. If what Chu Mei says is true, then the possibility of Han Yi being Chu Mei's family member is even greater. Thinking of this, Tuoba Sheng helped Chu Mei up and said, Let's go. I won't kill your family. I won't kill even uncertain family members. Chu Mei gratefully thanked Tuoba Sheng. Tuoba Jun called for Princess Jing'an, about to leave. Han Yi shouted from behind at Chu Mei, I don't know what relationship I have with you, and I don't care. But since you've spared me this time, I won't take on missions to assassinate you in the future. Chu Mei smiled and said, All right, you'll be missing out on some good business in the future. Chu Mei turned to leave, determined to find out who you are. The three of them arrived at the post station in Bazhou, planning to renovate a bit first. Chu Mei sat worriedly on the bed's edge, pondering, unsure if Tuoba Sheng had calmed down about Jing'an being kidnapped, wondering if he would privately cause trouble for Ming Ju. What if he eventually found traces of the organization? As she was fretting, she heard Tuoba Jun enter her room. Chu Mei turned and asked Tuoba Jun if the princess had gone to sleep. Tuoba Jun nodded, saying he hoped this lesson would make her wiser. Chu Mei rested her head on Tuoba Jun's chest, asking how he knew she was in Bazhou. Tuoba Jun answered honestly. He knew as soon as she left the prince's mansion. Chu Mei sighed, saying there truly was nothing in this world he didn't know. Regarding the princess's matter, if punishment was necessary, she should be the only one punished. Tuoba Jun only said it was late, time to bathe and sleep. They had to return to Chang'an tomorrow. Chu Mei was surprised, quickly thanking the prince for not pursuing the matter further, saying she'd draw his bath. She asked if he wanted a flower petal bath, an ice bath, or... Chu Mei paused, her finger tapping Tuoba Jun's chest. She continued asking about a passionate lover's bath. Tuoba Jun froze, flustered, turning away and telling Chu Mei to leave. Chu Mei secretly laughed, teasing Tuoba Tao, saying, Your Highness, what are you thinking? I didn't say I'd take a lover's bath with you. Tuoba Tao gritted his teeth, saying, Get out. The next day, the three returned to the North Star Prince's mansion. Luo Jui was already waiting at the mansion gate. Tuoba Sheng instructed Chu Mei and Princess Jing'an to rest first. He had matters to discuss with Luo Jui. After Chu Mei and the princess left, Luo Jui approached Tuoba Sheng. He whispered that upon receiving Tuoba Sheng's pigeon message, he immediately began investigating and informed him of the identity of those who ordered Han Yi to assassinate Chu Mei. Tuoba Sheng nodded, saying he understood. Then he took out a piece of paper paper, instructing Luo Jui to investigate this object. The ivory carving material was mountain jade, with 8-knife carving technique. He wanted to know which country it came from, or who else might have such an item. Luo Jui opened the drawing, asking if this was related to Chu Mei. Who else could make Tuoba Sheng so concerned? Tuoba Sheng replied that Chu Mei said it belonged to her family. Luo Jui sighed, saying it seemed the prince cared more about the princess consort's background than he had imagined. Tuoba Jun turned to leave, telling him to investigate while he went out for a while. Returning to the bedchamber, Qinglian handed over intelligence from Wan Yang, saying they knew the identity of the person who hired the world's top assassin to kill Chu Mei. Chu Mei was surprised. It was actually him? She angrily said, "They're truly audacious. Today they dared to move against me. Wouldn't they want the prince's life in the future?" Qinglian asked Chu Mei how she planned to handle it. Chu Mei felt a headache coming on. "I can't intervene in this matter, but the prince will investigate it. We'll see what he decides. This trip has truly exhausted me." In the Rue prince's mansion, the Rue prince couple were enjoying tea when a servant hurriedly reported that the North Star prince had arrived. The Rue princess consort Meng Xinrong felt somewhat guilty. Tuoba Rue asked Tuoba Sheng what brought him here. Tuoba Jun replied that Meng Xinrong had hired assassins to kill the North Star princess consort. He came to arrest her. Tuoba Rue arrogantly said, "What do you think my Rue prince's mansion is? You think you can just arrest someone on your word alone?" Tuoba Jun sneered, "You still dare to deny it? Your servant has already confessed." The Tiansha Pavilion assassin's price was quite high. Ordinary families couldn't afford such a fee. Tuoba Jun took a bracelet from his sleeve, saying to Meng Xinrong, "This was part of your dowry bestowed by the Empress Dowager. You had your servant take it to a pawn shop to exchange for money, but you didn't expect him to greedily keep one jade bracelet. It has your name on it, and the pawn shop has relevant records." Seeing her plot exposed, Meng Xinrong fell to her knees in fear, begging Tuoba Rue for mercy, saying it was because of the humiliation at the play last time. She couldn't swallow that insult. Tuoba Sheng, with a dark expression, asked if she wanted to end her own life. "I'll do it myself." After hearing this, Tuoba Rue felt exasperated. What a foolish woman. He had spent so much time concealing his strength and biding his time, not letting Tuoba Sheng discover the long-laid plans. Now you keep provoking Tuoba Sheng. At this rate, Tuoba Sheng will eventually find out. Thinking of this, Tuoba Rue no longer softened. He shook off Meng Xinrong, apologized to Tuoba Shin, saying it was his fault for not managing his household well, and that Tuoba Shin need not take action himself. "I will give Chu Mei an explanation." Then he ordered people to lock Meng Xinrong in the clan court. Tuoba Shin turned and left. After Tuoba Rue bowed, he quietly instructed his servants that the princess need not return. He told the servants to do it cleanly, without anyone noticing any issues. "Meng Xinrong, you almost ruined my grand plan. Don't blame me for being ruthless. Tuoba Tao, we have a long way to go." In the Cloud Palace, Chu Mei was sleeping soundly. In her drowsiness, she turned her head and saw Tuoba Tao right next to her. Chu Mei was about to get up, but Tuoba Tao stopped her. Chu Mei felt a bit shy. How did Tuoba Tao end up in her bed? It must be a dream. Tuoba Jun placed his hand behind Chu Mei's head, pulling her into his embrace. He comforted her, saying her heartbeat was too fast and noisy, telling her not to be excited. "It's just sleeping, not sleeping with you." Chu Mei defended herself, saying she wasn't excited. Tuoba Jun teased, asking who was so eager for his nude painting, who wanted to peek at him bathing, and who got so excited they could barely contain themselves just seeing him get into bed. Chu Mei awkwardly said the prince misunderstood. Chu Mei expressed that she really couldn't explain herself. It was all for the mission. Tuoba Jun placed his finger on Chu Mei's chest, asking why her heart was racing like a little deer then. Hearing her accelerated heartbeat, Chu Mei's face reddened even more. She quickly turned away, changing the subject, asking Tuoba Sheng when he came last night. "This is morning. Seeing someone next to me, my heart raced from shock." Tuoba Sheng replied that he came at midnight, saw Chu Mei sleeping soundly, so he didn't wake her. At this moment, a servant reported that gifts had arrived from the Rue prince's mansion. Qing Lian brought in the Rue prince's letter. Tuoba Shin said Meng Xinrong couldn't withstand the torture in the clan court and had committed suicide. After reading it, Chu Mei asked Tuoba Shun if this was to avenge her. Tuoba Tao replied that daring to touch his people was seeking death. Chu Mei threw herself into Tuoba Tao's arms, saying it felt so good to have someone protect her. She wanted to stay by the prince's side for life. Tuoba Tao smiled and said no taking it back. Just as the atmosphere was right, they heard Pei Xiaonan calling for Chu Mei outside. Pei Xiaonan was about to enter carrying a stack of books when he saw Tuoba Tao embracing Chu Mei as they came out. He asked why she was shouting at the princess consort's chamber door. Pei Xiaonan quickly explained that he came to deliver farewell letters to Chu Mei. In 3 days, it would be Pei Xiaonan's older brother's birthday. This year, Pei Xiaonan wanted to do something special, but he had no ideas himself, so he came to ask Chu Mei for advice. Preferably something surprising, exciting, and moving, like when they caused a commotion at Water Moon Cave the other day. Chu Mei held her head, wondering if such a shocking birthday was really good. Tuoba Sheng gave a suggestion, the Three Paths River. Chu Mei thought, rumor has it that the Three Paths River connects to hell. Going to such an ominous place for a birthday, there must be some hidden meaning. Hearing Tuoba Sheng's suggestion, Chu Mei and Xiaonan were both surprised. North of the mountains outside Chang'an City, there's a river called Three Paths. Legend says it connects to hell. With Wangchuan Gorge as the boundary, going north means no return, while going south is normal. It's said that once you enter Wangchuan Gorge, you can never come out. But beyond Wangchuan Gorge grows a flower called Permitha. In mythology, those who can see the Permitha flower can reach their desired other shore. Tuoba Jun suggested, why don't we rent a pleasure boat? Let's explore the Sunda River and see the spider lilies. Pei Xiaonan thought the other shore was a good omen. This place was also exciting, so they decided on this. Pei Xiaonan invited Tuoba Sheng to join them. Tuoba Sheng readily agreed. Chu Mei became even more confused. Tuoba Jun usually disliked such crowded social gatherings. Today he actually agreed. This was even stranger. 3 days later, Tuoba Jun took Chu Mei on the pleasure boat for the banquet. Chu Mei hesitated. It was said to be an adventure, but Tuoba Jun brought Luo Jui and Kuqingji. Moreover, Tuoba Jun and Pei Yaoding were alone at the front of the boat. She didn't know what they were discussing. This definitely wasn't just a simple birthday party. Qinglian said with a serious expression. Wan Yang said the Sunda River is a place without intelligence. No intelligence means there's a problem. As for whose forces they are, it's unclear. It could be a branch of the White Lotus sect, or it could be related to the Tiansha Pavilion. At this moment, Luo Jui called out to Chu Mei, asking what she was looking at. Chu Mei said dejectedly that she was looking at the prince. She had thought she'd have a chance to tour the pleasure boat with Tuoba Sheng today, but unexpectedly, she was left aside by Tuoba Sheng again. Luo Jui explained that Chu Mei misunderstood Tuoba Sheng. He and the mighty Marquis were clearing the way for everyone. After all, the legendary headquarters of the world-famous Tiansha Pavilion was said to be hidden nearby. Chu Mei murmured, the Tiansha Pavilion before, I was once assassinated by Hani, the top assassin of the Tiansha Pavilion. This Tiansha Pavilion is really bold. Even as the Northern Star Princess, they dare to touch the prince's eyebrows. Jui casually said, the Tiansha Pavilion and Tuoba Sheng are old rivals. 3 years ago, they carried out a large-scale assassination attempt on the Northern Star Prince's mansion. Later, they were suppressed by Tuoba Sheng. The organization was almost destroyed. Chu Mei asked, now that this has happened again, have they risen from the ashes? Luo Jui smiled and said Chu Mei should have heard of Yi Mo Kaijan Bailu, who were top assassins of the Tiansha Pavilion. These 3 narrowly escaped, but were severely injured by someone unknown. Their power is much less than before, but they've been unusually active recently. It has been confirmed that the tax robbery and large-scale silver plundering were their doing. Mimi sighed, saying the prince was really working hard. She only learned about the White Lotus sect when Princess Jing'an was kidnapped. They hated Tuoba Shun to the bone. Now there's the Tiansha Pavilion. They're really 2 thorns in the side of the new dynasty. Luo Jui quipped. Not just 2. There's another one hidden very deep. We become shadows in the night. But the princess can rest assured. The prince is like the sun. Where he is, there is no darkness. Chu Mei thought to herself, isn't that my organization? Tuoba Sheng has indeed noticed it early on. Chu Mei responded, the prince isn't here. Flattering like this won't get you a raise. But Master Luo, are you even on the prince's payroll? Luo Jui waved his feather fan, saying, Princess, you've gotten so much information from me, and now you're still trying to fish for more. Be careful. Up ahead is the Wangchuan Gorge. Chu Mei smiled and said she wasn't afraid the prince would protect her. Pei Xiaonan saw that Chu Mei hadn't paid attention to him the whole way, so he invited Chu Mei to fish for water ghosts together. Chu Mei told Pei Xiaonan to call Kuqingji too. It would be more fun with more people. Chu Mei thought to herself. Tooba Jun's suggestion this time was definitely not for fun. It was likely using herself as bait. She'd take it step by step. Pei Yaoting thanked Tooba Jun for the sword. Tooba Jun smiled and said he should thank the general for helping to lure out the ghosts in this Sunta River. Gathering troops and horses would make too much noise. It would alert them, and the hidden people would be hard to find. Pei Yaoting said this was his responsibility. Just as he finished speaking, a scream came from the pleasure boat behind. Kuchinji was muttering about ghosts. Tooba Jun and Pei Yaoting leapt onto the boat behind. Seeing the white bones hanging from the fishing rod, Pei Xiaonan quickly explained, "Don't worry, it's fake. Want to play at the Sunta River?" He had someone make it from cow bones in advance. Seeing everyone fishing for a long time without catching anything, he threw one in. Unexpectedly, Kuchinji caught it. Seeing everyone's resentful looks, Pei Xiaonan quickly apologized and begged for forgiveness. Suddenly, Pei Xiaonan's eyes lit up. He said, "Look, there are real spider lilies. The riverbank is full of red spider lilies." Tooba Jun put his arm around Chu Mei's shoulder, and they admired the beautiful scenery together. Kuchinji looked at their silhouettes with resentment. She didn't notice the water stirring beside her. Suddenly, a pair of hands reached out from the water and grabbed Kuchinji. Tooba Jun couldn't react in time. Kuchinji had already been pulled into the water. Tooba Jun jumped into the water without hesitation and brought Kuchinji back up. Suddenly, a long whip extended from the water, wrapped around Chu Mei's arm, and pulled her down. Tooba Jun was still holding Kuchinji, unable to move. Pei Xiaonan jumped into the water. Tooba Jun looked at the water surface with concern. At this moment, several assassins jumped from the water onto the boat. Luo Jui defended while telling Tooba Jun that the ones who took Chu Mei were from the Tiansha Pavilion. He saw the heartless whip. Tooba Sheng hurriedly said Chu Mei was no match for Zhao Ge. They must find her quickly. He told Luo Jui to guard the boat and take care of Kuchinji. After saying this, Tooba Sheng jumped into the water again. Luo Jui understood, seeing the mist coming in. No wonder there was no way out after passing Wangshuan Gorge. It was a maze formation. It seems this is really the headquarters of Tiansha Pavilion. In the water, Chu Mei thought she had to shake off the assassins following her first and get to shore. Fortunately, Chu Mei's lightness skill was good enough. Just as she was about to land on shore, someone suddenly grabbed her ankle. Chu Mei turned back sharply. It was actually Pei Xiaonan. Chu Mei helped Pei Xiaonan ashore, just asking how he got here. The heartless whip swung down from behind. Pei Xiaonan stood in front of Chu Mei, telling her not to mind him. "Run!" Pei Xiaonan took the whip hit head-on, spitting blood immediately. Chu Mei saw the assassins had caught up. She quickly threw the silver needles from her sleeve. She couldn't confront them now. Chu Mei hurriedly supported Pei Xiaonan and fled from the poison needles. It wouldn't last long. The assassin would probably catch up soon. Chu Mei helped Pei Xiaonan into the forest. She told him she needed to remove the heartless whip for him. The barbs were embedded in his flesh. "Bear with it and don't make a sound." Pei Xiaonan was still joking at this time, saying, "I've been injured so badly, and you won't even let me cry out?" Chu Mei said, "If you want to call the assassins over, feel free to moan." Pei Xiaonan told Chu Mei to remove it. Moaning is for necessary occasions. Seeing Pei Xiaonan still in the mood to joke, Chu Mei thought his spirit was still good. After removing the heartless whip, Chu Mei tore a corner of her skirt to bandage Pei Xiaonan. She asked him why he was here. Pei Xiaonan smiled and said he was of course concerned about his friend. He originally wanted to be the hero and save the beauty, but ended up embarrassing himself and being saved by Chu Mei instead. Chu Mei said she had used too much energy just now and needed to find a place to rest first. They hid behind a rock. Chu Mei noticed the assassin from earlier stumbling over. It seemed the effect of the poison needles hadn't worn off yet. Chu Mei took the opportunity to swing the heartless whip at the assassin, knocking him to the ground. She demanded to know if he was from Tiansha Pavilion. The assassin sneered. "The Prince of Beichen wants to catch us all at once." Unexpectedly, we've fallen into a maze. Even if we find the headquarters, what can we do? We can't get out anyway. Soon his companions will come too. None of you will survive. Exorcism Heart Sutra. Tooba Tao was trapped. He interrogated the assassin about the location of their headquarters. Before the assassin could answer, footsteps were heard from behind. The assassin said smugly that his companions had arrived. "You're all going to die." A flying dagger came from behind, hitting the assassin. He died instantly. Chu Mei looked at the approaching figure nervously. Who was it? It was Tooba Sheng. Chu Mei couldn't help feeling a bit happy. She called out, "Your Highness," then came to her senses. She thought, what about Kuqingji? Are we leaving him behind? Tuoba Jun asked if Chu Mei was injured. She said she was fine. What about the others? She felt a bit disappointed inside. Why pretend to care about me? Tuoba Jun replied, the others should all be on the boat. Chu Mei said to Tuoba Jun, it's good you arrived in time. The young Marquis is injured. Let's take him back. Before she finished speaking, Chu Mei suddenly felt dizzy. Everything spun around her, and she fainted into Tuoba Jun's arms. Pei Xiaonan anxiously asked what happened to Chu Mei. Tuoba Jun said her body was weak. She needed rest. Pei Xiaonan immediately wanted to go back. Tuoba Jun asked if he could walk now. Pei Xiaonan, covering his wound, weakly insisted he was fine. In her unconscious state, Chu Mei was still calling out, Your Highness. Tuoba Sheng held Chu Mei's hand. Chu Mei fell into a dream. In the dream, Chu Mei fell into the water. Tuoba Tao reached out to grab Chu Mei but missed. Chu Mei hoped in her heart that Tuoba Tao would jump in to save her. But she saw Kuqingji's hand on Tuoba Tao's shoulder. That was the last image Chu Mei saw before falling into the water. Tuoba Tao, you still won't choose me in the end? Chu Mei called out for Tuoba Sheng again in her sleep. Tuoba Sheng quickly responded to her. Chu Mei woke up startled and said, Your Highness can still remember me. I'm truly honored. She felt a mix of emotions. Chu Mei asked about Kuqingji's situation. She sarcastically said she didn't see Tuoba Sheng when she fell into the water, but unexpectedly saw him here. Tuoba Jun put Chu Mei down and asked her, Are you angry because I didn't save you first? He explained, I saw you being dragged underwater. I wanted to save you but missed. I've been looking for you all this time. Tuoba Jun stroked Chu Mei's head and told her, You are the only princess consort I've chosen. I won't abandon you. At this moment, Pei Xiaonan saw that Chu Mei was awake and walked over, holding his wound. Chu Mei quickly went to him and asked how he was doing. Pei Xiaonan, whose face had turned very dark, quickly waved his hand, indicating he was fine. Tuoba Sheng pulled Chu Mei back into his arms and told her, I've dealt with all the assassins nearby. There won't be any danger. When Pei Xiaonan feels a bit better, we'll go to the boat together. It will be safer there. Chu Mei asked Tuoba Sheng worriedly, Aren't you coming back with us? Tuoba Sheng said, If we go further, we'll reach the Tiansha Pavilion's lair. I came this time to eliminate them. Chu Mei expressed her wish to go with him, to provide support. Tuoba Sheng refused, saying it was too dangerous with all the Tiansha Pavilion assassins gathered there. Chu Mei could only watch Tuoba Sheng's departing figure, telling him to take care. Chu Mei watched as Tuoba Sheng walked far away. She told Pei Xiaonan to wait there, saying she would go help the prince eliminate the Tiansha Pavilion and come back for him. Pei Xiaonan quickly stopped her, saying Tuoba Sheng had specifically instructed Chu Mei not to go, and that she was too weak to go now. Chu Mei stretched her muscles and said firmly, He is my husband. I can't let him face danger alone. He told me not to go, so I must go. Pei Xiaonan was stunned for a moment, then smiled and said he would support Chu Mei no matter what she did. Chu Mei turned back and smiled, saying, That's why you're my good brother. After saying that, Lu Pei Xiaonan stood there in silence. His good sister Chu Mei rushed towards the Tiansha Pavilion headquarters, just in time to encounter the guard assassin. After taking him out with 3 poison needles, Chu Mei changed into the assassin's clothes. She was puzzled, wondering what was going on. If this was really the Tiansha Pavilion's headquarters, why were the defenses so weak? Going further, the scenery suddenly changed. What was just barren mountains now had peach blossoms. It was autumn. How could there be peach blossoms? Suddenly the surroundings changed, able to shift with one's thoughts. This was a maze formation. A figure rushed at Chu Mei. Chu Mei dodged, and the figure disappeared. Chu Mei murmured, deducing that assassins were hidden in the maze. This was the Tiansha formation. Not good. This must be set up specifically to deal with the prince. Tuoba Sheng is in danger. I must find him quickly. Chu Mei used her lightness skill to search around. She saw Tuoba Sheng's figure ahead and happily called out to him. Tuoba Sheng sighed. I didn't expect the illusions in this Tiansha formation to be so real. Even the voice is exactly like Chu Mei's. Tuoba Tao threw a short knife at Chu Mei. Chu Mei dodged and quickly told Tuoba Tao it was her. Tuoba Tao not only didn't believe her, but quickly flashed to Chu Mei's front. The knife tip was inches from Chu Mei's neck. Tuoba Tao demanded to know who she really was. Chu Mei grabbed Tuoba Tao's wrist holding the knife, quickly removed her mask, revealing her face, and asked, Your Highness, can't you even recognize my voice? Tuoba Sheng said he couldn't believe it at all, frowning. You're just an illusion. Don't try to fool me. This kind of illusion can make others appear as the person you most want to see. Who are you really? Hearing this, Chu Mei became a bit shy. Tuoba Sheng had just said she was the person he most wanted to see. Chu Mei showed her most sincere smile and said, "So I'm the person your highness most wants to see? I'm truly honored." Tuoba Sheng looked at the familiar smile before him. It really was her. Tuoba Sheng anxiously asked why she had followed. Chu Mei smiled and said, "If they want to use illusions against you, your highness, then you need me." Suddenly, assassins appeared from all directions. Tuoba Sheng wanted to protect Chu Mei behind him. Chu Mei smiled and reminded Tuoba Sheng, "The middle one is real. The ones on the left and right are illusions." Hearing this, Tuoba Sheng killed the assassin in the middle with one strike. Tuoba Sheng asked Chu Mei if she could really distinguish between real and fake. Chu Mei explained to Tuoba Sheng, saying that what she practiced was illusion techniques. Although this Tiansha formation was dangerous, and she couldn't completely break it, she could still distinguish whether the assassins in the formation were real or fake. Unexpectedly, an assassin suddenly appeared behind them, trying to ambush Chu Mei. Tuoba Jun pulled Chu Mei away just in time, killing that assassin. Tuoba Jun himself was also injured. Chu Mei was a bit worried. Tuoba Sheng comforted her, saying it was just a minor wound, nothing serious. However, Chu Mei told Tuoba Sheng that this couldn't go on. The black-clothed men kept coming, intending to wear them down here. Tuoba Sheng continued, saying that if they could find the person controlling the formation, they could break it. Chu Mei closed her eyes and began to use her powers. The person holding the formation must be at the center of Sha Town. Chu Mei tried to locate his position. After searching for a moment, Chu Mei suddenly opened her eyes. 10 miles southeast. Tuoba Sheng immediately took Chu Mei there. Upon arrival, they saw a woman in green clothes waiting there. As if greeting them normally, she said, "We meet again, North Star Prince Tuoba Sheng." Chu Mei told Tuoba Sheng it was her. Tuoba Sheng, as expected, said, "It's indeed you." Bilo. Tuoba Sheng threw 2 flying daggers at Bilo. Surprisingly, Bilo didn't dodge, but caught the 2 attacks head-on. Chu Mei asked Tuoba Tao in shock, "Why?" Tuoba Tao coldly said, "He can't dodge. I crippled his martial arts 3 years ago." Tuoba Tao stepped forward, demanding Bilo to reveal who issued the mission to Huang Quan to assassinate his people. Bilo spat blood, laughing and saying bluntly, "North Star Prince, are you asking for yourself or for that dead foolish woman? Kyu, the woman you loved most died for you, yet until now you can't avenge her. You deserve it." Hearing Kyu's name, Tuoba Jun flew into a rage, grabbing Bilo's neck and roaring, "You're not worthy to say her name." Chu Mei thought Tuoba Sheng indeed couldn't forget Kyu. Seeing Tuoba Sheng somewhat losing control, Chu Mei quickly stepped forward to stop him, saying they should take Bilo back as bait. Once he confessed, they could lure out the people behind him to silence him. Bilo laughed and said, "Princess Consort, save your strength. This is all because the North Star Prince has done too much evil. Kyu's death is retribution. Tuoba Sheng destroyed my country and family. No one instructed me. I wanted to kill him myself. The prosperity of the new dynasty, the North Star Prince's great achievements, are built upon countless white bones. I may die, but thousands more will come to seek revenge against him." Chu Mei slapped Bilo, saying, "It's not your place to say such high-sounding words. The battlefield is a matter of life and death. Yet you vent it all on the North Star Prince alone. Don't be ridiculous." Tuoba Jun, never having been defended by others before, was somewhat surprised. Chu Mei pressed on, saying, "The Tiansha Pavilion that was destroyed 3 years ago was rebuilt so quickly. It's impossible without someone's help behind the scenes." Chu Mei held a silver needle against Bilo's neck. "You're so loyal, but do the people behind you trust your loyalty?" Bilo sighed, admiring that Chu Mei was no less than Tuoba Sheng. "Since I'm at the end of my rope, I might as well tell you. The master of the Tiansha Pavilion is from the Tuoba royal family. The master of the Tiansha Pavilion is none other than Tuoba Rue. They are all controlling the Tiansha Pavilion under the Rue Prince's orders, including the large-scale assassination attempt 3 years ago. It's a pity Tuoba Shun didn't die." Tuoba Shun asked why you suddenly said so much. Bilo laughed and said you found out. "I was just stalling for time. It's useless even if you know. You can't get out now. I'm here to eliminate you as a future threat for Prince Rue." A large fire ignited around them. The illusion was gradually disappearing. Chu Mei observed the real environment around her. A sealed palace with no doors or windows. This should be the top floor of Tiansha Pavilion. Bilo intended to perish together with them. They could only hear Bilo's remaining words saying they couldn't escape. Chumei covered her nose and said there must be a mechanism in this room. But at the current rate the fire was spreading, there wasn't enough time. Tooba Shun threw his short knife. The knife bounced back from the wall. Tooba Shun said the wall wasn't built with bricks, but was specially made from a whole piece of marble. An ordinary wall would have been pierced by the flying knife. The palace beams were burned and collapsed. Tooba Tao took Chumei and dodged the falling wooden beams. Looking at the hole in the roof, Tooba Tao took Chumei and escaped. Bilo watched the two escape. She regretfully said she still couldn't complete the task for the pavilion master. Tooba Tao, who had just escaped, heard a noise and was about to be alert to who it was. Then he saw Pei Yaoting and Pei Xiaonan appear before him. Pei Yaoting reported to Tooba Shun, saying all the assassins from Tiansha Pavilion had been killed. Tooba Shun thanked Pei Yaoting and asked how they found this place. Pei Yaoting replied that he found Pei Xiaonan, who told Pei Yaoting that Tooba Shun and Chu Mei had gone to Tiansha Pavilion's lair, so they rushed over. Pei Xiaonan looked at the weakened Chu Mei in Tooba Shun's arms and stepped forward to ask what happened. He said he told her not to come. Tooba Shun held Chu Mei tightly, not letting him look, and replied that she was fine. Pei Xiaonan sighed in resignation, saying it's good if she's all right. Everyone looked at the blazing headquarters of Tiansha Pavilion. Since it had been eliminated, they could go back now. Tooba Shun said, "Let's return to the ship and regroup with everyone, then go back to the capital together." Back on the pleasure boat, Tooba Shun took care of the exhausted Chu Mei. Listening to Luo Jui's report, all the recent events could finally be connected. It seemed they were all related to Prince Rue. Tooba Tao smiled and said, Tooba Rue was previously in charge of government affairs. Embezzling silver from the Ministry of Revenue wasn't difficult. Knowing the tax situations in various places was even easier. Luo Jui recalled that controlling the embezzlement of silver from the Ministry of Revenue, it seems this wasn't his first time. It's just that this time he was caught. After catching the Vice Minister of Revenue, he sent Huang Quan to silence him. Tooba Shun fell into deep thought. These things were done by Tooba Rue, no doubt. But what about 3 years ago? Was it him too? Tooba Shun told Luo Jui not to let this information leak. They would discuss it further after returning to the capital. Luo Jui smiled and said Prince Rui must be restless now. They just needed to wait for him to come to them. In her sleep, Chu Mei called out for Tooba Shun to run quickly. Tooba Shun was about to comfort Chu Mei when he heard Chu Mei call out another name, aging. Tooba Shun was startled. This name again. It seems he needs to have Jui investigate this person thoroughly. Chu Mei's dream was still about that big fire. The difference was at the end of this dream, Tooba Shun appeared. Chu Mei woke up and found herself no longer in the Tiansha Pavilion. Tooba Jun told Chu Mei that they had already escaped. Chu Mei quickly asked if anyone had gone to find Pei Xiaonan. Hearing that Pei Xiaonan had already been taken back by Pei Yaoting, Chu Mei breathed a sigh of relief. Tooba Jun couldn't help but say, "You're my princess, yet you care so much about Pei Xiaonan." Chu Mei was stunned. She smiled and asked Tooba Jun if he was jealous. Tooba Jun stubbornly denied it, saying how could he possibly be jealous of Pei Xiaonan. Chu Mei countered, asking what the prince was angry about then. That day when she fell into the water and no one rescued her, she met Pei Xiaonan in the chaos. He was poisoned while trying to save her, which is why she cared about him more. Chu Mei sighed, thinking he was still angry. She said, "Now I only consider Pei Xiaonan as a good friend who has been through life and death together. Just like how you have things you want to protect. How you treat Kuyu, I've never had any complaints about it." Tooba Jun turned his head, wanted to say something, but was interrupted by Chu Mei. She said, "I should see my position clearly. The prince likes Kuyu, cherishes Ko. Naturally, I can't compare to that." Tooba Shun became increasingly displeased as he listened. He suddenly embraced Chu Mei and kissed her. Chu Mei was startled, wondering what Tooba Shun was doing. Chu Mei was kissed so intensely she could barely breathe. She forcefully pushed Tooba Shun away. Tooba Shun cupped Chu Mei's face and earnestly told her, "It's not what you think. You are the first woman I've willingly and actively kissed. As for Kuyu, when you've recovered, I'll take you to see him. Then you'll understand why I've been preserving his body all this time." Chu Mei hesitated, wondering if she could trust him. At this moment, Chu Mei's stomach growled in protest, breaking the awkward silence. Tooba Shun personally fed Chu Mei. Suddenly, Chu Mei noticed blood stains on Tooba Shun's clothes. She anxiously said, "You're injured. Let me take a look." Tooba Shin told her to finish eating first before looking. Chu Mei snatched the bowl from Tooba Shin's hand and gulped it down in one go. She fiercely told Tooba Jun to let her see quickly. Delayed treatment could cause problems. "Hurry up and take off your clothes." Looking at the wound on Tooba Jun's left chest, Chu Mei asked why he hadn't let others help treat it first. "Does it hurt?" Tooba Jun replied, "It doesn't hurt. I don't like others touching me." Chu Mei realized, "Oh right, you have a cleanliness obsession. You don't like being touched." Chu Mei then asked, "Your Highness, if you don't like being touched, why did you kiss me?" Tooba Jun smiled and said, "It's because you're always sticking to me like a dog skin plaster. I had no choice but to reluctantly accept it. Now that you've come to my side, I won't easily let go. Do you understand my meaning?" Chu Mei verbally agreed, but felt a bit sad inside. She wondered if this meant he had accepted her. At this moment, a servant reported that the mighty Marquis and his wife were seeking an audience. Pei Yaoding brought his wife to see Chu Mei, saying that the poison from the whip that struck Pei Xiaonan had flared up again. They had consulted several doctors who all said it was incurable. Having no other option, they came to disturb Chu Mei. Chu Mei said seriously, "I've long heard that the poison on the Heartless Whip is difficult to cure. I didn't expect it to be this tricky." Chu Mei promised the Duke and Duchess of Weiwu, "I will definitely find a way to treat Pei Xiaonan. I'll go check the medical books right away and prepare medicine for him as soon as possible." Tooba Sheng disapprovingly said, "You haven't fully recovered yet. Don't be in such a hurry." Chu Mei said somewhat embarrassedly, "Isn't it because of the trap you set at the Sunda River? Since we're husband and wife, I can't avoid filling in this pit." Tooba Jun expressed that he was pleased by the husband and wife remark. Chu Mei was anxious to find a way to save Pei Xiaonan's life. Tooba Jun pulled her back to the room, saying she hadn't recovered and wasn't allowed to go anywhere. "I have many ancient medical books in my study. I'll go get them for Chu Mei." Chu Mei was startled by Tooba Jun's thoughtfulness. His change was too drastic. Had someone cast a spell on him? Later, Tooba Tao was summoned to the palace by the emperor to discuss hunting matters. He sent someone to deliver the medical books to Chu Mei. Chu Mei flipped through for a long time and finally found a method to neutralize the Heartless Whip's poison. It was rare to see Tooba Tao's normal rare books in the mailbox. This time, she must read them carefully. At this moment, Chu Mei turned to a folded page. Curiously, she read, "Its true name is the Nine Netherworld Coffin. It can preserve one's appearance eternally. Using this coffin to awaken patients in a vegetative state only takes 3 years." Reading this, Chu Mei was extremely excited. Vegetative state, isn't that referring to aging? My brother can be saved. After her excitement, Chu Mei quickly calmed down. Now she only knew such a thing existed. She still needed to carefully inquire where to find it. This book was from the prince's study, which only he could enter normally. Could there be clues about the Nine Netherworld Coffin in the prince's mansion? Chu Mei handed the prescription to her maid, asking her to send it to the Chongwagong mansion and remind Pei Xiaonan to take the medicine on time. "I'll go back in the afternoon to give him some acupuncture." Back in her room, Chu Mei instructed Qinglian to find Wanyang and help investigate news about the Nine Netherworld Coffin. She also told Qinglian that this item could save Aging's life and must be found. Chu Mei was anxious inside. She waited for a long time, but didn't see Qinglian return. She wanted to go look for her personally. Just as she went out, she saw Ku Qinji and Fu Shui walking together. Chu Mei was a bit confused. Fu Shui greeted Chu Mei and said, "Ku Qinji wants to invite us to have tea at the Peach Blossom Pavilion. We came specially to invite you." Ku Qinji also said, "Actually, I've wanted to get closer to you all for a long time." Tooba Jun also said I should interact more with everyone, so I invited everyone for tea. Side consort Fu agreed. "Can you come, Chu Mei?" Chu Mei thought, "What's going on? The sun is rising from the west? How come she's inviting me for tea?" Chu Mei said, "As the principal wife, of course I agree. But I need to leave a note for my maid first, in case she comes back and can't find me." Chu Mei put the note on the table, thinking, "Let's see what tricks you have up your sleeve." While drinking tea, Chu Mei sighed. This Peach Blossom Pavilion indeed has excellent scenery. No wonder the prince likes to stay here. Ku Qinji said, "The prince does value this place. He rarely lets anyone disturb it." Fu Shui asked, "Why is that?" Ku Qinji smiled and said, "Because Ku Yu is buried under this peach grove. She will accompany the prince forever." Chu Mei was also surprised. She didn't expect Ku Yu's final resting place to be under this peach blossom forest. Ku Qinji, as if wanting to deliberately provoke Chu Mei, continued, "My sister didn't want to leave the prince. Being buried in the northern Qin prince's mansion is the best destination for her. The prince often comes to the Peach Blossom Pavilion not to see me, but to see my sister. I'm explaining this so the princess won't misunderstand. Chu Mei smiled and said, Miss Kuyu doesn't even have a grave. How can the prince pay respects to her? Kochinji explained that although this was a secret, everyone here was not an outsider. Although sister is gone, she hasn't turned to bones. The prince found a way to preserve sister's appearance, exactly as when she was alive. Chu Mei was shocked. To keep a dead person's appearance unchanged, there was only one thing that could do it: the 9 Netherworld coffin. Could it be that the 9 Netherworld coffin I'm looking for is in Kuyu's tomb? How come, just as I'm searching for it, he seems to deliberately leak this information to me? Is this a coincidence or a plot? Chu Mei stood up and said, I need to go give the young Marquis acupuncture. After all, it's a matter of life and death. I won't stay with you. Kochinji also stood up, pretending to see her off. Chu Mei pretended to stumble, dropping a pendant from her earring. Kochinji apologized to Chu Mei. Chu Mei helped Kochinji up and then left. Kochinji revealed a slight smile. Since you want the 9 Netherworld coffin so badly, I'll give you a hand. Chu Mei arrived at the Changwagong mansion to give Pei Xiaonan acupuncture. Pei Xiaonan noticed Chu Mei had something on her mind and asked her about it. Chu Mei told Pei Xiaonan about her dilemma. After listening, he was terrified. So that 9 Netherworld coffin is the one currently holding Kuyu? And you want to take the coffin? Do you know the consequences of stealing a coffin? Chu Mei nodded. I know. I won't destroy Kuyu's body. I just want to borrow it for a while. I'll return it immediately after use, Pei Xiaonan said with difficulty. But once Kuyu's body leaves the 9 Netherworld coffin, it will decay quickly. And Tooba, Sheng won't let you off for this. He imprisoned you just for stealing a sword before. This time, he might kill you. Chu Mei said she would find a way to prevent Kuyu's body from decaying for a short time. This is for my brother. He's been half dead for many years. He's my only family in this world. Even if it means opposing the Northern Qin King. Even if he wants me dead, I must wake him up. Pei Xiaonan patted Chu Mei's shoulder and said, even if the sky falls, you still have me. Even if Tooba Jun drives you out, I'll take you in. Chu Mei comforted him. Don't think of things as so irreparable. Let's make a plan to steal the item first. Pei Xiaonan said, right, let's help you strategize first. He silently vowed, since you want it, I'll definitely help you get the 9 Netherworld coffin, and I won't let anything happen to you. Chu Mei brought Qinglian to the Peach Blossom Lodge. In front of a stone wall in the Peach Grove, she secretly felt around for a while. There was indeed a mechanism. Kochinji had appeared from this stone wall last time. Chu Mei arrived at the tomb entrance and instructed Qinglian to be careful, as there might be an ambush. Chu Mei opened the mechanism of the tomb chamber. Inside was cold and gloomy. This was the place. Chu Mei told Qinglian to guard the entrance. Qinglian tried to stop her, saying it seemed too simple and to be careful of traps. Chu Mei reassured her, I've already investigated. Kochinji goes to the temple for blessings and stays overnight on this day every month. He won't return in the afternoon. Today is the 9th night. Tooba Sheng, who escorts him, is also preparing for the hunting event. He's not here during the day. I don't have time. Chu Mei looked at the reliefs on the tomb chamber walls. Clearly, Tooba Sheng had put his heart into it. If he knew she was stealing the coffin, he probably would never forgive her. The passage came to an end. Inside, Kuyu's tomb was exactly as described in Tooba Jun's notes. Indeed, Tooba Jun cared deeply for Kuyu. The body was preserved so carefully. Chu Mei bowed to Kuyu's body. Excuse me. Chu Mei opened the coffin lid. She sprinkled her specially made medicine on Kuyu's body. This is all I can do for you. Suddenly, Chu Mei noticed a lotus mark on Kuyu's hand. It looked familiar. Chu Mei swore in front of Kuyu's body. She would borrow the 9 Netherworld coffin and return it within 10 years. If there were problems and she couldn't return it by then, she would spend her entire life preserving the lady's body. Returning to her chambers, Qinglian reported that Pei Xiaonan had come to give gifts again, saying he wanted to thank Chu Mei for saving his life. She told him Chu Mei doesn't accept gifts, but Pei Xiaonan wouldn't listen and waited for a long time before finally leaving. Chu Mei said she understood. If it weren't for Pei Xiaonan using gift-giving as an excuse, she wouldn't have been able to legitimately send out the 9 Netherworld coffin. Tooba Jun came to Kuyu's tomb again. Kuqingji also followed, saying the prince had been busy lately, and she thought he wouldn't come these few days. 5 days ago, when he came to see sister, she was still exactly the same as before. Tooba Jun suddenly smelled something. Thinking something was wrong, he rushed into the inner chamber. Kuyu's body was unrecognizable, with only one arm remaining. Kuqingji fell to her knees, crying. After examining the body, Tooba Jun began trembling. Someone had burned Kuyu's body. Kuqingji cried, asking where the other parts were and where her sister's ashes were. As she spoke, Kuqingji fainted. Tooba Jun supported Kuqingji and noticed something shining on the ground. Tooba Jun returned to his residence. Listening to Luo Jui's report, the culprit's goal was the 9 Netherworld coffin. So they directly pulled Kuyu out and burned her, aiming for a quick in and out. The arm must have fallen into the pool water unnoticed. Tooba Jun held the earring found in the tomb chamber, deep in thought. Luo Jui said once they find the whereabouts of the 9 Netherworld coffin, they'll know who destroyed the body. Tooba Jun asked in confusion why they would bother collecting the ashes if it was for convenience. It seemed unnecessary. Kuqingji cried, saying it wasn't unnecessary at all. They clearly wanted to crush her sister's bones and scatter the ashes. This person obviously hated her sister deeply. She only hoped he could seek justice for her sister. Tooba Jun said sternly that the 9 Netherworld coffin was a secret of the Northern Shan Prince's mansion. Outsiders couldn't possibly know about it. Whoever destroyed Kuyu's body must die, no matter who they are. Kuqingji, crying, said it was most likely someone from the mansion. She suddenly remembered the earring she picked up, which she had seen when having tea with the consort. And that day, she had also mentioned the 9 Netherworld coffin. Tooba Sheng asked Kuqingji why she invited them for tea. Kuqingji replied that they are your wives, so I should get along with them harmoniously. It was careless of me to mention that my sister was buried here. Tooba Jun said he understood. Kuqingji knelt down, pleading tearfully. Tooba Jun said, please seek justice for my sister. Don't favor them just because they are your wives. My sister lived a peaceful life. Who would want to disturb her eternal rest? Luo Jui helped Kuqingji up. Tooba Jun swore to Kuqingji, saying Kuyu was his close friend and he wouldn't tolerate anyone, no matter who they are. Since this earring is related to the princess and consort, I'll go ask them now. Kuqingji immediately asked to go along, saying that Yunzi Palace was the closest. They should ask the princess consort first. Qinglian rushed in to report that Kuyu's body had been burned, leaving only an arm. Chu Mei was shocked. How could this happen? When I took the 9 Netherworld coffin, I properly preserved her body. Could someone else have entered her tomb? Tooba Sheng and Kuqingji arrived. Chu Mei composed herself and asked why they came together. Tooba Sheng informed Chu Mei about Kuyu's body. Tooba Jun grabbed Chu Mei's hand, asking if she and Fu Shui had visited Peach Blossom Lodge a few days ago. Chu Mei said Kuqingji had invited them for tea. Tooba Jun then asked how she knew about the 9 Netherworld coffin. Chu Mei honestly answered that she saw it in a medical book in his study. At this moment, a subordinate said he was ordered by Luo Jui to investigate the 9 Netherworld coffin and found that the princess consort was also inquiring about it. Chu Mei defended herself, saying she had long studied medicine and was interested in any rare medicinal materials. She said she had inquired about many rare items, not just the 9 Netherworld coffin. If I had known the 9 Netherworld coffin was in the prince's mansion, I would have asked the prince directly. Kuqingji said Chu Mei was clearly making excuses. She was investigating the 9 Netherworld coffin and learned from me that it was in the prince's mansion. How could she not covet it? Tooba Sheng grabbed Chu Mei's chin, asking if she was really involved. Chu Mei said no, insisting she wasn't capable of stealing under his nose. Tooba Sheng pressed Chu Mei, asking if she thought he could trust her now. Chu Mei said she didn't want to be the prince's enemy, so she wouldn't do something like destroying Kuyu's remains. Tooba Jun held up an earring, asking Chu Mei if it was hers. Chu Mei was startled, wondering how her earring ended up in his hand. But Chu Mei still denied it, saying she had never seen it before. Kuqingji pointed out that she clearly saw Chu Mei wearing it when they had tea that day. Tooba Sheng said it was found in the secret passage where the 9 Netherworld coffin was kept. Chu Mei continued to argue that the earring style was common, and it wouldn't be strange if she had a similar one. She said they shouldn't just take Kuqingji's word for it. Tooba Sheng asked again if it was hers. Chu Mei said it wasn't. Do you believe me? Seeing Chu Mei's determined eyes, Tooba Sheng let go. Chu Mei said, I'll trust you this once, but only once. If you betray my trust, I will kill you myself. Kochinji hurriedly said they hadn't searched yet. How could they easily believe her? They should search the palace first. Tooba Shung sternly said, she is my princess consort. I trust her. No one is allowed to cause trouble in Yunzi Palace. Chu Mei was touched. He actually chose to believe her. Tuoba Jun was about to go to Fu Shui. Just then, they heard the sound of something falling. A maid came out, carefully saying she found that one of the princess consort's earrings was missing and was about to ask about it. Kochinji angrily shouted that the earring was exactly the same as the one they found. She said she hadn't seen it before. She was lying. Tuoba Jun walked in. The maid picked up the other earring. Chu Mei looked at Kochinji. Could it have been at that time? Tuoba Jun was furious and grabbed Chu Mei's neck. Is this the trust you reported to me? Was it fun deceiving me, Chu Mei? Chu Mei struggled to say, the earring is mine. I must have dropped it at Peach Blossom Lodge. Someone picked it up. Tuoba Shun threw Chu Mei away. The coldness on his face was something Chu Mei had never seen before. Where are the remaining parts of Kuyu's body? Hand over even the ashes. Chu Mei said, I don't know. If not you. Tuoba Jun continued, I once vowed to properly preserve Kuyu's body. If anyone desecrates it, they will be killed without question. Don't force me to kill you. Chu Mei still said she didn't know. At this moment, Luo Ji walked in and said, I know, I shouldn't interrupt you at this time, but the investigation you asked me to do earlier about Chu Mei's true identity, the results are out. He whispered to Tuoba Shun for a while. Pinching Chu Mei's chin, he said, it was you, right? Burning Kuyu's body was for revenge, wasn't it, fairy princess? Chu Mei couldn't hide her shock. Wasn't my identity erased by the young master? The North Chin Prince's mansion is more powerful than I expected. Tuoba Shun gritted his teeth. Jinling was destroyed by me. For revenge, you married your enemy. I admire your patience. Chu Mei said seriously, not every royal descendant wants revenge. I didn't want to kill you, let alone desecrate a corpse for vengeance. Now I just want to live. Tuoba Tao looked at Chu Mei's expression. Even your lies seem sincere. How many truths are there in your words? Tuoba Tao grabbed Chu Mei's wrist. Then why did you appear by my side? Chu Mei admitted, I did come with a purpose, but it wasn't to kill or harm you. I had no choice. Tuoba Shun tightened his grip. Yesterday, several carriages left the prince's mansion. The 9 netherworld coffin was hidden in them, right? Finally, Chu Mei confessed. Yes, I took the 9 netherworld coffin. The book said the 9 netherworld coffin could cure my brother, who was burned into a living dead. So I wanted to try. Your brother was burned into a living dead. So you burned Kuyu? Chu Mei shook her head. I'm not just telling you these things to make you sympathize with me. I really didn't burn Kuyu's body. Tuoba Jun sneered. Chu Mei, every time you lie, you make it sound like the truth. The Jinling princess infiltrated the North Chun prince's mansion with an unclear mission, stole the 9 netherworld coffin, and burned Kuyu's body for revenge. I can't find a reason to spare your life. I'll ask you one last time. Where are Kuyu's ashes? Chu Mei cried. I really don't know. The prince can kill me now. Anyway, I won't live long if I can't complete the mission. Tuoba Shun gritted his teeth. I wish I had never met you. Tuoba Shun threw the knife in his hand to the ground. Chu Mei looked up in surprise. You're not killing me? Tuoba Shun said coldly with a stern face. Get out. Never appear before me again. Chu Mei stood up to leave. Before leaving, she turned back and said, I never knew the prince could be so merciful. Kochinji saw Chu Mei leave and hurriedly pulled Tuoba Jun's sleeve, saying, How could you let her go? My sister's ashes haven't been found yet. If you can't bear to kill her, let Luo Gongzi handle it. Tuoba Shun's eyes showed fatigue. Letting her go is my order. No one in the entire mansion is allowed to touch her. Chu Mei glanced at the prince's mansion and said, Take care. She was about to leave with Qinglian. Then they heard Kochinji's mockery. Just leaving like that? Why are you crying? Hoping the prince will keep you. Dream on. Chu Mei retorted to Kochinji. Can you face your sister? Kochinji felt a bit guilty. Chu Mei moved closer and said, In the entire prince's mansion, besides the prince, you're the only one who can freely enter Kuyu's tomb. That day you deliberately knocked off my earring while drinking tea. You planned it all along. Kochinji angrily said, You're just randomly accusing people now. That was my own sister. Chu Mei slapped Kochinji. This slap is on behalf of your sister. Whether you've wronged her or not, you know best in your heart. Kochinji, covering her face, said, The prince has already decided. You're the one who desecrated my sister's body. What's the use of saying anything now? You don't even know who's been planted by your side. I'll kindly tell you that Yunk has been placed by your side by Fu Shui for a long time. Chu Mei slapped her again. This slap is for myself. I didn't do it. I will prove it, and you won't be so arrogant for long. Kochinji said resentfully. You can't turn this situation around. Chu Mei reflected on the past days. Indeed, for people like us, the word like is still too luxurious. Knowing I don't deserve his affection, I still can't let go. Tears fell unconsciously. Qinglian looked worried. Chu Mei wiped her tears and said, It's nothing. I'm just thinking about how I couldn't get the military book and got kicked out. How will I explain this to the young master? Chu Mei took one last look at the North Qin Prince's mansion. Toba Tao, I'll let you know I'm not the culprit. Suddenly, someone called Chu Mei's name. Chu Mei turned. Why are you here? The person who came was Pei Xiaonan. Pei Xiaonan said, The servants brought news that the North Qin Prince discovered the 9 Netherworld coffin was stolen. I was worried about you, so I stole my brother's token and borrowed some men from the 5 cities military affairs department. Looks like I came late. Are you all right? Are you hurt? Chu Mei shook her head with red eyes. I'm not really hurt, but he kicked me out. Pei Xiaonan asked Qinglian, Do you have a place to stay? Qinglian replied, We left without bringing anything. How could we have a place to stay? Pei Xiaonan said, Come rest at my place for now. Chu Mei followed Pei Xiaonan to the Chongwagong mansion. Pei Xiaonan comforted her endlessly. You can stay at my place for now. My mansion is big. There'll be plenty of room for you. If you have nowhere else to go, just keep staying here. I'll provide you with the best food and drink. You can do whatever you want. Pei Xiaonan looked at the dejected Chu Mei and scolded. Look at yourself now. You're just kicked out by the North Qin Prince, and you're crying? Chu Mei retorted, Nonsense. Who's crying for him? I'm crying for myself. After preparing for so long, it all came to nothing in the end. I might just go back and wait for death. How can I not cry? Pei Xiaonan worriedly said. So you really had another purpose at the North Qin Prince's mansion? What is it that you couldn't complete? Are the consequences very serious? Chu Mei suddenly woke up. She quickly changed the subject. Let's not talk about this now. The most important thing is, I need to clear my name. I can't let others wrongly accuse me. Pei Xiaonan asked Chu Mei what she planned to do. Chu Mei said, I still need you to take me to the prince's mansion. Pei Xiaonan was shocked. Go there again? Tuoba Jun probably wants to eat your heart now. Chu Mei smiled and said she had a plan. Pei Xiaonan listened to the plan, sighing. You're willing to do anything for the Northern Qin Prince. Chu Mei said guiltily, It's not for him. It's to save my own life. Pei Xiaonan patted Chu Mei's shoulder. Don't worry. I'll go to the prince's mansion tomorrow. I'll definitely support you all the way. At the Northern Qin Prince's mansion, Luo Jui comforted, saying he had already sent people to investigate the whereabouts of the 9 Netherworld coffin. He also asked if Tuoba Sheng was worried about Chu Mei, saying he already knew Chu Mei's current whereabouts. Tuoba Sheng asked where. Luo Jui said Chu Mei met Pei Xiaonan after leaving the mansion. Learning that Chu Mei had nowhere to go, Pei Xiaonan took her back with him. Tuoba Sheng sighed and said fine. At least the Marquis's mansion is safer than here. He then asked Luo Jui, Do you think Chu Mei is the one who burned the body with the inscription? Luo Jui replied, Chu Mei did enter the mansion with a purpose. But based on our interactions during this time, she doesn't seem like someone who wouldn't leave herself a way out. If she really burned the body, she would have left the prince's mansion directly. She wouldn't have waited for the prince to come looking for her. Tuoba Sheng said, From the moment that Mei dropped the earring, I understood. This was a trap set for her to fall into. The timing, motive, witnesses, and evidence were all arranged perfectly, making it impossible for her to escape no matter what. But it's precisely because nothing was missing that it seemed strange. Luo Jui asked, So that's why you turned the tables and drove Chu Mei out? To protect her? Tuoba Sheng said, Before finding the real culprit, I must maintain this stance to protect her. If I continue to keep her in the mansion, who knows what desperate acts the person behind this might do. I don't want anyone else to die inexplicably, especially Chu Mei. Whether she's an elf princess or here on a mission, I want to protect her completely. Let her stay safely by my side. Tuoba Jun clenched his fist. Back then, Kuyu was just a friend I hit it off with at first sight, yet I got him killed. Everyone thinks Chu Mei died from an assassination, but you and I both know that Sword Strike wasn't fatal. It was just to cover up her death. All these years we've been investigating the real culprit. We have some evidence, but we don't know if these people have stopped now. If it's related to framing Chu Mei, they'll definitely have spies watching our every move. Keep investigating, but don't alert them. After Luo Jui left, Tuoba Sheng stared at the incense burner on the table, recalling his moments with Chu Mei in the study. Chu Mei's last words were, "Take care." Tuoba Sheng pulled himself out of the memories and looked out the window. At the full moon, he murmured, "Chu Mei, hang on a little longer. I'll definitely uncover the person behind this and bring you back safely." Feeling troubled, Tuoba Sheng got drunk for a while. Luo Jui stopped Tuoba Sheng from continuing to drink. He helped Tuoba Sheng to bed. Before leaving, he heard Tuoba Sheng repeatedly calling Chu Mei's name. Luo Jui felt sad. He had never seen Tuoba Sheng in such a heartbreaking state. "I'll investigate further. We must be able to find something." Luo Jui went to Ku Qingji's residence. Ku Qingji asked why he came at this hour. Luo Jui said, "The prince is troubled by the burning of Ku Yu's body. I came to see if there are any clues to ease the prince's worries." Luo Jui entered Ku Yu's tomb chamber again. This time he really made a discovery. The next day, Pei Xiaonan came to visit. Tuoba Sheng said he came on someone's behalf to handle a matter. "You all say Chu Mei burned Ku Yu's body. I don't believe it. I want to bring someone to examine it." Tuoba Sheng sneered and said, as requested by someone, "It was Chu Mei, right?" Pei Xiaonan turned his head and said nothing. Tuoba Sheng continued to sneer. "You think the Northern Qin King's mansion is a place you can come and go as you please?" At this moment, Luo Ji walked in and whispered something in Tuoba Sheng's ear. Tuoba Sheng was shocked and asked if it was true. Luo Jui nodded. Tuoba Sheng turned to ask Pei Xiaonan, who he wanted to bring to examine. Pei Xiaonan called someone in and introduced them as the coroner he found. Although Chu Mei had used a disguise, Tuoba Sheng recognized her at a glance. It was Chu Mei. She was actually involved with Pei Xiaonan again. Chu Mei noticed Tuoba Sheng staring at her and felt uneasy. The way he's looking at me, could he have recognized me? Tuoba Sheng turned and said, "I'll give you a chance. Examine the body in front of me. If you find nothing, I'll throw you out." After the examination, Tuoba Sheng asked Chu Mei for the results. Chu Mei replied that she determined the time of destruction through the deceased's remains. But the remains had been preserved using 3 different methods. Luo Jui quickly said his findings were the same. The first method used a special material. It preserved the body for about 3 years, probably from the 9 Netherworld coffin. The third method was dry ice, used after we discovered the remains. The second wasn't our doing. It was something similar to the Ministry of Justice's ice powder. Though we don't know exactly what it is, we know it can preserve bodies from decay, but not for long. Tuoba Sheng asked Chu Mei if she knew what it was. Chu Mei answered that it was soul-calming incense, similar to ice powder. Sprinkled on a corpse, it can preserve it for 10 years. Tuoba Sheng thought, "You're trying to prove yourself. Although you took the 9 Netherworld coffin, you tried to preserve Ku Yu's body." Pei Xiaonan added that this soul-calming incense was Chu Mei's own secret medicine. Luo Jui summarized that Chu Mei stole the 9 Netherworld coffin and sprinkled soul-calming incense, probably hoping the prince would be lenient if discovered. Tuoba Jun then asked how to explain the earring. Pei Xiaonan retorted, "Chu Mei admitted to stealing the 9 Netherworld coffin. She must have dropped it when leaving." Tuoba Jun looked at Chu Mei. "I thought you weren't safe in the mansion, so I sent you away. I didn't expect you to go to such lengths to return. In that case, it's better to keep you by my side, to prevent you from staying with some ignorant people." Pei Xiaonan said Chu Mei's innocence was proven, so they should leave. Tuoba Sheng directly revealed Chu Mei's true identity and asked, "You're indeed clever, using this method to protect yourself. But if you wanted the 9 Netherworld coffin, why didn't you just ask me?" Chu Mei sighed. He indeed recognized me long ago and asked, "If I had asked you, would you have given it to me?" Tuoba Jun said, "If you want it, I'll give you anything I have. Now that you've proven your innocence, what reason do I have to send you away?" Pei Xiaonan, watching the reconciled couple, left angrily. Tuoba Jun instructed Luo Jui to continue investigating the real culprit who burned the body. He ordered to kill without mercy anyone involved in burning the body. After Luo Jui left, Tuoba Jun held Chu Mei's wrist and anxiously asked how she had been these past few days and if she was treated well at the Marquis's mansion. Chu Mei snorted and sarcastically replied, "So your highness finally believes me?" Tuoba Sheng quickly tried to appease her, saying he had no reason not to believe her now. He also asked if anyone at the Marquis's mansion had mistreated her, deliberately mentioning Pei Xiaonan. Chu Mei continued to speak sarcastically. Everyone at the Marquis's mansion treated her very well. They didn't bully her just because the prince had driven her out. Pei Xiaonin was also very righteous. If it weren't for him this time, she might have ended up on the streets. The young Marquis was kind and righteous. How could he neglect her? Tuoba Jun was very displeased. Hearing Chu Mei praise another man, he mocked Pei Xiaonan, saying he had a reputation for womanizing. Saying he was kind and righteous was probably an overstatement. He also warned Chu Mei to remember she was a married woman. Chu Mei was also displeased. Of course I remember. I also know that my husband will drive me out at the slightest disagreement. Besides, Pei Xiaonan and I are just friends. There's nothing improper about it. Tuoba Jun wanted to say more, but was interrupted by Chu Mei. She said she hadn't had a good night's sleep in days. Now that she could finally rest in her own place, she wouldn't bother the prince anymore. Tuoba Jun watched Chu Mei's retreating figure, reflecting that she had just returned, yet he was arguing with her about irrelevant people. To make amends, Tuoba Jun quickly caught up with Chu Mei. He hugged her from behind and said, "I'm sorry for making you suffer." Then he picked her up in his arms, saying, "I'll take you back to Yunzi Palace." Chu Mei was still angry, "So you know you wronged me." After bringing Chu Mei back to the palace, Tuoba Jun stroked her head and said he was indeed at fault, but she was also wrong. He asked her to think about where she went wrong. Chu Mei turned her head and said she wasn't wrong. Tuoba Jun pulled her close and said, "We are husband and wife. Everything in this mansion is both mine and yours. Why didn't you ask me for what you wanted? Why go through all this trouble alone? Isn't it tiring?" Chu Mei frankly said she was just used to it. Before, she was always alone, with no one to help her. Tuoba Jun continued to close the distance between them, looking straight into Chu Mei's eyes. He firmly told her, "You have me now. You're not alone anymore. I am your support. You can tell me anything you want." Chu Mei looked at his military book and asked, "Is that possible?" Tuoba Sheng, seeing Chu Mei lost in thought, asked what she was thinking about. "Do you think my promise is untrustworthy?" Chu Mei asked, "Can you really give me anything I want? What if it's something very precious?" Tuoba Sheng thought Chu Mei was referring to the 9 Netherworld coffin. He smiled and said, "This thing is indeed rare, but in my heart, nothing is more precious or important to me than you. There's something else I've wanted to tell you for a long time. I have no romantic feelings for him. He and I were like-minded friends. 3 years ago, he died on the battlefield because of me. I used the 9 Netherworld coffin to preserve his body because there were clues on it. I want to find the real culprit and avenge him. Nothing more than that." Chu Mei understood that they were just friends. She quickly turned her head and said, "You don't need to tell me these things." Tuoba Jun wouldn't let her avoid it. He turned her chin and solemnly told her, "You should know that there has only ever been you in my heart." Chu Mei threw herself into Tuoba Jun's arms. "I know. You said it yourself. You better remember it well. In my heart, there's only you two, Your Highness." In the heat of the moment, they kissed. Just as Tuoba Sheng was about to make his next move, Chu Mei suddenly let out a cry of surprise. Tuoba Sheng quickly asked what was wrong. Chu Mei was seen holding her left shoulder, trembling uncontrollably. Tuoba Sheng hurried to check. On Chu Mei's shoulder appeared a butterfly mark, identical to the one on her wrist. Tuoba Sheng, watching Chu Mei tremble nonstop, asked her how she was feeling. He thought to himself that this mark had also appeared on Kuyu's arm before she died. It was exactly the same. Chu Mei endured the pain, thinking she couldn't tell him. This was the annihilation butterfly placed by the master. He would become suspicious. Chu Mei reassured him, saying she had this strange illness since childhood. It would flare up from time to time. Apart from the pain, there was nothing else wrong. Tuoba Jun held Chu Mei in his arms, asking her why she couldn't cure her own illness if she was so skilled in medicine. Chu Mei explained that her illness was incurable. Tuoba Jun knew Chu Mei wasn't telling the truth. This was clearly poison. It was this same poison that killed Kyu back then. But after her death, he had requested a coroner to examine the body. The coroner said her death was due to an incurable poison. There was no antidote. Chu Mei might die too. Chu Mei reassured him that she was fine. It would pass if she endured it. Tuoba Sheng said he would use his inner energy to ease her pain. He thought to himself, since you still can't trust me completely, there's no point in pressing you further. You won't tell me anyway. I'll give you time. Chu Mei stopped Tuoba Sheng from transferring his inner energy, saying that if Qing Lian prepared some medicine for her, she would be fine. Tuoba Sheng agreed. That night, while Tuoba Shung was taking care of Chu Mei, Luo Jui came in and asked Tuoba Shung if he was going to prepare for tomorrow's trip to Mount Ontai for the half-price blessing. Tuoba Shung told Luo Jui to lower his voice and said he had something to arrange for him to do. Tuoba Shung asked Luo Jui if he remembered the butterfly mark that appeared on Kuyu's arm after she was poisoned. After receiving an affirmative answer, Tuoba Shung told Luo Jui that the same mark had appeared on Chu Mei's body. They were probably poisoned with the same substance. I guess the person who poisoned them is from the same group. He told Luo Jui to investigate the origin of this poison immediately. When Chu Mei woke up, she found Tuoba Shung still sitting by her bed. She asked in surprise why he was still there. Tuoba Jun asked Chu Mei if she was still in pain. Chu Mei said she felt much better. Have you been here all night? Tuoba Jun helped Chu Mei sit up, leaning her against the headboard. He said, "You were sick. How could I leave?" He continued, "Now that you're awake, I can leave with peace of mind." Chu Mei asked where he was going. Tuoba Jun told her he had to accompany the emperor to Mount Ontai for a blessing. He instructed Chu Mei to wait obediently for his return, then left. Chu Mei pondered, looking at the butterfly mark on her shoulder. Could Kuyu have also been affected by the annihilation butterfly? Qinglian rushed in, telling Chu Mei that she had received a pigeon message from the master, summoning her back to headquarters immediately. Back at headquarters, the master asked Chu Mei about the progress with the military book. Chu Mei replied that she was incompetent and hadn't found the whereabouts of the book yet, but would continue to search diligently. The master stepped down from his seat, saying, "You're not incompetent. You've developed feelings you shouldn't have." The master pressed his folding fan under Chu Mei's chin, forcing her to look up at him. He said he would give Chu Mei one more chance. If she couldn't find the military book, her brother aging, who was barely hanging on, would breathe his last. Chu Mei quickly begged for mercy, asking the master to be lenient. Chu Mei was in a panic. Hearing Mo Ju ask if she was scared, she said, "That's good. I'll give you one more chance." Chu Mei hurriedly begged for mercy, saying she acknowledged the master. He instructed Mo Ju to help Chu Mei up, asking if Tuoba Jun was not in the mansion. Chu Mei truthfully said he had gone to Mount Ontai for a blessing. Mo Ju wiped away the tears that Chu Mei had shed in her panic. He smiled and said, "Tuoba Jun probably won't return so smoothly this time." Chu Mei asked him why. Mo Ju smiled and said, "The emperor has long been intolerant of Tuoba Shung. This blessing trip is actually a ploy to eliminate Tuoba Shung. That foolish emperor has actually helped us." Chu Mei was shocked. The prince is in danger. Mo Ju continued instructing, "Go back immediately. Search every inch if you have to, but find that military book. Tuoba Jun is the best military strategist in the royal family. Without him, no one will be able to hinder me anymore." Chu Mei quickly agreed. Mo Ju continued, "The art of war was written by General Yu, the war god of the previous dynasty. The military strategies recorded in it can help me restore the fairy dynasty. So you must find the book this time. As a descendant of the fairies, remember this. Tuoba Shun destroyed your country." Chu Mei acknowledged. Chu Mei fell to the ground. Tuoba Shung was in danger. But what about aging? Suddenly, she remembered Tuoba Shung telling her not to bear burdens alone. Chu Mei decided to find Tuoba Shung and tell him everything so they could figure it out together. Chu Mei was waiting for Pei Xiaonan. Only he could take her to Mount Ontai now. Pei Xiaonan came running to tell Chu Mei that Tuoba Shun had found out who burned Kuyu's body. Oiti was Ke Kingji. He had already been executed. Chu Mei didn't care about this and only asked Pei Xiaonan if he knew the location of the royal blessing and if he could take her there. Pei Xiaonan asked why she wanted to go there. Chu Mei said, "The prince is in danger. I must go." Pei Xiaonan sighed. For him, you're willing to do anything. He thought to himself, I guess I really have no chance. They rushed on their journey. By nightfall, Chu Mei finally arrived at Mount Ontai. Tuoba Shung looked at Pei Xiaonan who came with her, and asked Chu Mei with some displeasure, "Why did you come?" Fu Shui, standing nearby, mocked, "Chu Mei is so improper. For such an important event, instead of accompanying the prince, you're with another man. Where does this put the prince?" Chu Mei glared at her and asked if she hadn't copied enough of the women's code. Tuoba Jun embraced Chu Mei and said, "I didn't ask you to come because I was afraid you'd be tired. I didn't expect you to come on your own." Tuoba Jun glared at Pei Xiaonan, telling him to do as he pleased. Fu Shui thought angrily to herself, "Let's see how long you can be so arrogant." Tuoba Jun went inside and asked Chu Mei if there was any urgent matter for her to come find him at this time. Just as Chu Mei was about to speak, she was interrupted by an announcement from outside that the emperor had summoned Tuoba Jun. Tuoba Jun immediately prepared to see the emperor. Tuoba Jun got up and said he would go see the emperor, and they would attend tomorrow's blessing feast together. Chu Mei worriedly held onto Tuoba Jun's robe, telling him to be careful. Tuoba Jun noticed something off about Chu Mei's expression. What does this mean? Is she hiding something from me again? Chu Mei felt uneasy. What business did the emperor have with Tuoba Sheng at this hour? Suddenly, she heard footsteps on the roof. Could it be an assassin? Chu Mei rushed out and saw Fu Shui meeting with someone. After that person left, Chu Mei approached Fu Shui and said it was so late. Yet consort Fu wasn't resting, but meeting someone instead. This seemed rather improper. Fu Shui defended herself, saying she couldn't sleep and was just taking a walk. Chu Mei grabbed Fu Shui's hand and said, "If you won't tell the truth, don't blame me for being impolite. I haven't settled the score about you arranging someone in my room earlier." She then used an illusion technique on Fu Shui. "Who did you just meet? What are you planning?" The next day, after the blessing ceremony, the emperor was delivering polite speeches. Tuoba Rui was about to flatter him when Fu Shui suddenly rushed out, attempting to assassinate. The empress's guards stopped Fu Shui. Tuoba Shin knocked the knife out of Fu Shui's hand. Fu Shui, pinned to the ground, shouted, "It's all because of that bitch. If I kill him, I can be with you." Tuoba Jun asked Fu Shui what her plot was. Fu Shui pushed away Tuoba Jun's hand. She cursed, "If it weren't for helping the emperor monitor you, I wouldn't have become your consort." The emperor, feeling guilty, said, "Nonsense. Take this mad woman away." Tuoba Sheng asked the emperor, "Is what Fu Shui said true?" Suddenly, Fu Shui pulled out her golden hairpin. She cursed at Tuoba Sheng, saying he relied on his military achievements and looked down on everyone. "You've caused the emperor's sleepless nights. I said I'd help the emperor kill you." Chu Mei threw her teacup, knocking the hairpin out of Fu Shui's hand. The emperor, fearing Fu Shui would continue to speak nonsense, ordered the guards to execute her on the spot. Tuoba Jun smiled sarcastically and said, "It seems Fu Shui's feelings for your majesty run deep. Your majesty shouldn't have given such a beauty to me. I've wasted her affections." The emperor said, "You believe the ramblings of a madwoman?" Tuoba Tao smiled and said, "It's true that you're wary of me, but sending such a person to eliminate me underestimates me." Tuoba Rui tried to smooth things over, saying Fu Shui had gone mad, and it was all a misunderstanding. Tuoba Tao left with Chu Mei. On the way back to Chang'an, Tuoba Sheng asked Chu Mei if she had put Fu Shui under an illusion. Chu Mei nodded and said, "Your Highness values loyalty. You wouldn't have believed the emperor had such intentions unless you heard Fu Shui reveal the truth herself." Tuoba Jun embraced Chu Mei and said, "In this world, the only one who thinks I value loyalty is probably just you. Even my own brothers want me dead." Tuoba Jun was about to kiss Chu Mei when he sensed that she had something on her mind. Chu Mei thought Tuoba Jun was already troubled. Now wasn't the time to tell him about the military book and Gongzi's matter. Chu Mei replied, "Seeing you and the emperor like this, what are your plans after returning to Chang'an?" Tuoba Jun said he had fought countless battles and killed many. He thought he would grow old alone, but the gods blessed him with meeting Chu Mei. Upon returning to the capital, he planned to withdraw from worldly affairs and spend the rest of his life with her. Chu Mei thought to herself that she might not have such good fortune, but she smiled and said, "All right." Back at the prince's mansion, a servant said the Peach Blossom Lodge had been cleaned. Tuoba Shin said Kuyu's matter had been resolved, and there would no longer be a Peach Blossom Lodge in the mansion. Chu Mei replied that Kuchinji was already dead, so there was no need to be so extreme. Tuoba Jun said seriously, "I promise to get justice for you. I keep my word. From now on, we'll rely on each other. We'll face everything together." Chu Mei was about to confess to Tuoba Sheng. Suddenly, Luo Jui rushed in, saying he had something to report. Chu Mei decided to leave first and talk about the military book later. Luo Jui told Tuoba Sheng that he had discovered some nobles who escaped when Jinling fell had formed an organization called Shadow of the Night. The leader was called Mo Ju. They had kept a low profile over the years. Though they organized assassinations, only Chu Mei successfully enter the mansion. The butterfly mark was from Mo Ju's unique poison. He gave the antidote to everyone in the organization. Only Mo Ju had it to control them. Back then, they poisoned the tea to assassinate you, but Kuyu drank it instead. Toba Tao told Luo Jui not to alert them. Repeatedly sending people into the mansion must mean they had other motives. Just then, the emperor sent someone with an imperial edict. Chu Mei came to ask what the emperor said. Tuoba Tao replied that the emperor wanted him to attend the hunting event in 5 days as usual. Looking at the edict, Chu Mei thought with Prince Zhao's temper, if provoked again, he might not stay silent. Chu Mei asked Tuoba Tao to take her along. She was worried the emperor might try something again. Tuoba Shen knew Chu Mei was concerned for him. He joked, "Do I seem that useless?" Chu Mei shook her head. "No, but you said husband and wife are one. We should face things together." In the Rue prince's mansion, Tuoba Rue was frustrated. He had finally convinced the emperor to send Fu Shui to the northern Chun prince's mansion. I set up such an elaborate plan, yet still failed to eliminate him. Tuoba Tao, let's see how long your luck lasts. Someone walked in, saying they wanted to kill Tuoba Tao. How could I be left out? Tuoba Rue smiled and said, "I've been waiting for you." The person who came was Zi Sangmu. He told Tuoba Rue he had a plan to help eliminate Tuoba Tao. "I don't know if you're willing to cooperate with me." Prince Rue was naturally willing and asked Zi Sangmu for the details. After hearing the plan, Tuoba Rue went to arrange things at the northern Chun prince's mansion. Chu Mei asked Qing Lian, "Are the things for the hunting event prepared?" Hearing no response, Chu Mei called out twice more. A maid entered and asked Chu Mei what she needed. Chu Mei asked where Qing Lian was. The maid replied that she didn't know. She hadn't seen Qing Lian since the afternoon. Chu Mei became anxious and told them to search. A day later, the maid reported they had searched everywhere, but couldn't find Qing Lian. Chu Mei told them to keep looking. Suddenly, she saw Qing Lian's figure behind her, clutching her chest. Chu Mei anxiously asked who had hurt her like this. Qing Lian took out a paper and handed it to Chu Mei, saying Gongzi asked her to give it to Chu Mei. She was punished for not fully assisting Chu Mei in finding the military book, so she went back to be punished. Gongzi also said if you have second thoughts again, you, me, and aging won't need to live anymore. Chu Mei trembled as she supported Qing Lian, saying, "Since Gongzi is so heartless to hurt you like this, you rest well. Leave the rest to me. I'll go to the hunting event with the prince. I'll find a way to end all this." Arriving at the hunting event venue, Tuoba Rue smiled at Tuoba Shun and said, "I thought you wouldn't come." Tuoba Shun calmly replied that the emperor ordered it, so he dared not disobey. Tuoba Rue said it was strange that the emperor hadn't shown up yet. If they waited any longer, it would be noon. What hunting could they do then? Someone announced the emperor's decree. The hunt would begin soon, and the northern Qin prince would light the sacred fire this time. After Tuoba Jun lit the smoking sacred fire, he mounted his horse and told Chu Mei to wait obediently for him. Chu Mei looked at the smoke from earlier and found it familiar. Suddenly she realized it was San Kus smoke, colorless and odorless, highly toxic. Chu Mei hurriedly mounted her horse. The prince is in danger. Chu Mei rode around, but couldn't find Tuoba Tao. Suddenly, her horse's leg was hit by a hidden weapon. Chu Mei was thrown off. A group of assassins suddenly jumped out from all directions. Zi Sangmu walked out, pointing a knife at Chu Mei. He smiled and said, "Tuoba Shun has been poisoned by San Kus smoke. He's probably done for now. Why don't you come with me?" Direct attack wouldn't work, so she had to use her wits. Chu Mei smiled and said, "All right." Zi Sangmu ordered the assassins to guard the surroundings. He then untied his belt and said to Chu Mei, "The scenery is nice. Why don't we do something fun?" Zi Sangmu embraced Chu Mei and said, "You really are something. Even your scent is so unique." Chu Mei smiled flatteringly. She pushed away the knife beside her and said, "Young master, holding this might not be convenient for what we're about to do." Chu Mei took the initiative to pull Zi Sangmu closer. Taking advantage of his unpreparedness, she stabbed a needle into Zi Sangmu's neck. "Die, you bastard!" Disgusted, Chu Mei quickly continued to search for Tuoba Shun. Suddenly, she heard a voice nearby saying, "Today is Tuoba Shun's death day." Tuoba Tao was leaning on his sword at the edge of the cliff. He looked at Tuoba Rue and questioned, "It was you who poisoned me?" Tuoba Rue admitted, "Yes. This is what I carefully prepared for you. The San Kus smoke has sealed your inner power. The more you use your energy, the faster the poison will take effect. Just as Tooba Rue was about to deliver the fatal blow to Tooba Tao, Chu Mei rushed out. She stood in front of Tooba Sheng, telling him to run. Tooba Rue kicked Chu Mei off the cliff, saying, "You bitch, you're still not dead?" Chu Mei looked at Tooba Sheng and bid him farewell. "Take care, I can't be with you anymore." Watching Chu Mei fall, Tooba Sheng jumped off the cliff without hesitation. This jump stunned Tooba Rue. He immediately announced, Tooba Sheng harbored evil intentions, colluding with assassins and having wild ambitions. He has been killed by me. To prevent any remaining evil from causing trouble, I will protect the emperor. At the bottom of the cliff, there happened to be a tree that caught Chu Mei. The two looked at Tooba Tao's pained face. Chu Mei quickly gave him the antidote. After the detoxification, they confessed their feelings to each other. Chu Mei said she noticed something strange about the sacred fire, so she was worried about the prince's safety. Now that the poison is neutralized, I'm really happy. Tooba Tao was also happy to see Chu Mei being so honest. Chu Mei asked Tooba Tao, "Why does the emperor want to harm you so badly?" Tooba Jun smiled and said, "I was just setting up a trap with the emperor, to lure out those with evil intentions." Tooba Jun whispered something to Chu Mei. She understood. "So you already knew Prince Rue had rebellious intentions. You pretended to be at odds to make him show his true colors." Tooba Tao nodded. Chu Mei got angry. "You shouldn't have risked your life. That Sanku smoke is extremely toxic." Tooba Tao smiled and comforted her. "As a subject, there are some things I must do. I knew my princess was skilled in medicine." Tooba Tao hugged Chu Mei and said, "Now we've been through life and death together. Do you have anything to say to me?" Chu Mei still hesitated. Tooba Tao was confused. "You've risked your life to save me several times, yet you're unwilling to say a few sincere words." Chu Mei confessed, "I came to the prince's mansion for the art of war in the mansion. Your highness knows I'm an orphan from Jinling, but you don't know that when Jinling fell, I wasn't the only survivor." Tooba Sheng said, "I know. I also know about the shadow of the night. The person who asked you to get the military book is called Mo Ju, right?" Chu Mei sighed. "So you knew everything." Tooba Sheng held Chu Mei's face and said, "If it weren't for this life and death moment, were you planning not to tell the truth? I've never been so patient with anyone. You've really made me wait too long." Chu Mei frankly said, "Your Highness, I wanted to tell you the truth several times, but I was afraid that once I did, you would despise me forever. What I'm afraid of losing is not the position of Northern Star Princess." Tooba Jun pressed on. "What could it be? When people fear losing something, it's only because they want to gain something. Besides the military book, what else do you want to gain?" Chu Mei replied, "The military book is not what I want. I'm just following orders. My brother is in the master's hands. If I can't get the military book, I won't be able to save his life. I have no choice but to obey. What I want is only your highness's true heart. Do you believe me, your highness?" Tooba Jun said of course he believed. Chu Mei took the initiative to hold Tooba Jun's hand. "Your highness said you never thought you'd meet me. I never thought I'd meet you either. Before, I was like a puppet, constantly working for the master to save my brother. But now I suddenly want to live for myself." Tooba Jun hugged Chu Mei and said firmly, "When we return to Chang'an with the military book, I'll accompany you to report back. No matter what Mo Ju demands, as long as I can do it, I'll agree. Then I'll keep you by my side forever." Chu Mei quickly stopped him, saying, "You can't. Mo Ju wants the military book to restore his country. When war breaks out again, there will be widespread suffering. Who knows how many people will become homeless and lose their families. Mo Ju's restoration is only for power. Although Jinling is my motherland, I don't want to plunge the world into chaos again for personal gain." Tooba Jun asked, "Then how will you report back?" Chu Mei smiled and said, "Don't worry, your highness. In that moment between life and death, I thought of a plan, but it's just a rough idea. I need to go back and think it through carefully." Tooba Jun straightened Chu Mei's shoulders, making her look him in the eye. "Whatever plan you come up with, you must tell me. We'll discuss it together and act together. You can't take risks alone anymore. Do you understand?" Chu Mei was worried, thinking, the master is ruthless. If he knows we're in love, he won't let it go. Not only will aging and I lose our lives, but you might be implicated too. Tooba Jun smiled at Chu Mei and said, "We've already had our wedding ceremony and shared a bed. Think about what you should call me now." Chu Mei smiled and called out, "Husband." Tooba Jun asked again. The previous royal family of Jinling had the surname He. "What was your name before Chu Mei?" Chu Mei answered, "Wan He." Tooba Jun smiled and said, "That's a good name. Wanwan Ching Si Tong Xineg How. It's very good. I wish Wanwan will stay from now on." Chume replied, "All right." Tooba Rui was rushing towards the emperor, thinking smugly, now that Tooba Jun is dead, that sickly emperor is no threat. I'll go force him to write an abdication edict, then I can ascend the throne. From behind came Pei Youting's order, "Arrest Tooba Rui. His Majesty has received a secret report from the Northern Star Prince. Prince Rui Tooba Rui has harmed his siblings and intends to force the emperor to abdicate. After investigation, this is found to be true. His Majesty orders Prince Rui's arrest." Tooba Rui raised his sword to fight back, saying, "Pei Youting is falsely transmitting imperial orders. Let's all go see the emperor, and the truth will be clear." Tooba Rui thought angrily. Tooba Jun just fell off the cliff, and the emperor already knows? He even sent troops. By tomorrow morning, he'll have a plan to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Luo Jui rushed over, shouting, "He's trying to escape. Quick, after him." Pei Youting threw a dagger. It hit Tooba Rui's right arm. "He can't run now?" Tooba Rui fell from his horse. Rather than being captured and humiliated, he'd rather end it quickly. "Tooba Jun, I admit you've outmaneuvered me." Then he drew his sword and took his own life. Luo Jui rushed over and asked, "Where is the Northern Star Prince?" Tooba Rui laughed with satisfaction. "You'll never find him." Luo Jui wanted to press further, but Tooba Rui had already breathed his last. Luo Jui asked General Pei Youting for help, saying, "General, the prince is now missing. Even the princess is nowhere to be found. Please help us search for them." Pei Youting ordered a search of the mountains, saying they must find Prince Beichen. He told young Master Luo not to be polite, as Prince and Princess Beichen were also his friends. They must find them. At this moment, the emperor arrived and announced that the traitors had been executed. He ordered an immediate return to the capital. Luo Jui felt utterly disheartened. The emperor indeed didn't care about the prince's life or death. Pei Youting reported, "Your Majesty, Prince Beichen has not been found yet. I was about to lead a search party." The emperor seemed unconcerned, saying, "Tooba Rui is treacherous and cunning. Prince Beichen is upright and honest. He has likely already fallen victim to Tooba Rui's schemes. In this elimination of traitors, Prince Beichen has rendered great service, even to the point of sacrificing his life. I will build a cenotaph for him and proclaim his merits to the world. Therefore, General Pei must escort me back to the capital as soon as possible to handle this matter. There must be no delay. This is an imperial order." Pei Youting had no choice but to accept. Pei Youting was in a difficult position. He told young Master Luo, "I'm afraid I can't help you anymore. The prince is a good man. Heaven will protect him. Prince Beichen will surely be safe." Luo Jui thought to himself, "The emperor indeed burns the bridge after crossing the river. Even if I'm left alone, I must find the prince." Luo Jui said to Pei Youting, "General, I understand you have no choice. Please take care of yourself too." Pei Xiaonan rushed over, saying he had heard about Prince Beichen's situation and had brought people to help. Pei Youting asked Pei Xiaonan to help search while he escorted the emperor back to the palace. As night fell, Chumei's inner strength was insufficient. She couldn't jump up despite her efforts. Tooba Shun was poisoned and needed a few days to recover. Tooba Shun told Chu Mei to rest, as she had been trying for a long time. Chu Mei was truly puzzled. "My prince, we're trapped here. How can you be so calm?" Tooba Shun smiled and said, "Think of it from another perspective. Such a moonlit night, with a beautiful woman in my arms, soft jade and warm fragrance, is also a blessing." Chu Mei was frightened. "My prince, have you been poisoned by something else? Let me check." Tooba Shun smiled and reassured her that he was fine. "I'm just very happy, because I can finally be with the person I like." Chu Mei responded, "And so am I. You are the first person I've ever liked. From beginning to end, I've only ever liked you." Unable to control their emotions, they kissed. Tooba Shun suddenly remembered the butterfly on Chu Mei's shoulder. He told her, "When we get back, I will search the world for famous doctors to cure you." Chu Mei immediately calmed down. Now is not the time for romance. We still haven't dealt with the military book and young master's matters. So Chu Mei urged, "Then let's quickly find a way to get back. I have an idea. Your martial skills are better than mine. Although you can't use your inner strength, you can climb up this cliff. Then go get help to rescue me." Chu Mei tugged at the nearby vines and said, I'll weave these vines into a rope and tie it around your waist to prevent you from falling again. Tooba Shin grabbed Chu Mei's arm, refusing. If we leave together. I'll carry you up. Chu Mei also refused. No, that won't work. I'm too slow. It will waste time. Besides, without someone holding the rope for protection, it's very dangerous. Tooba Shin still firmly refused. With no other option, Chu Mei stood on a tree, swaying precariously, and said, "If you don't go, I'll jump down." Tooba Shin wasn't falling for it. He replied, "If you jump, I will surely follow you in life and death." I mean what I say. As they were at an impasse, they heard someone searching for them. "It's Jui. We're saved." Tooba Shun took out a signal flare from his sleeve. Luo Jui lowered the rope for the two of them to climb up. Luo Jui asked worriedly about Tooba Shung's poison. Tooba Shung reassured him that Chu Mei had already given him the antidote. Pei Xiaonan grabbed Chu Mei and asked, "Chu Mei, are you all right?" Chu Mei avoided Pei Xiaonan's hand. "Thank you for your concern, young Marquis. With His Highness here, how could anything happen to me?" Tooba Jun warned, "Pei Xiaonan, please mind your manners. I will take care of my own wife." Seeing the tense atmosphere, Luo Jui quickly tried to lighten the mood, saying, "We've been searching high and low for you two in the forest." Who knew the prince and princess were just hiding away for some alone time? Chu Mei turned to Tooba Jun and said, "Your Highness, I have a few words to say to the young Marquis." Tooba Shung agreed. "Keep it brief. Come back quickly." Chu Mei walked up to Pei Xiaonan and bowed. "All this time, you've spoken up for me and helped me wholeheartedly. Having such a loyal friend like you is my good fortune." Chu Mei. Pei Xiaonan smiled forcefully. "I'm content just being your friend. I wish you and the Prince of Beijing a long and happy life together. You should go back now." Chu Mei smiled apologetically. "Young Marquis, you're handsome and talented. You'll surely have a wonderful companion in the future." Pei Xiaonan made his final farewell in his heart. "Chu Mei, I'm fortunate to have met you in this life." Back at the prince's mansion, Chu Mei gave Tooba Shung an antidote pill to prevent any lingering effects of the poison. Tooba Shung said he also had something to give her. Chu Mei was shocked when she saw it. Tooba Shung continued, "This is the military strategy that Mo Ju wants. I don't know what plan you've come up with, but I'm giving it to you. Whether to give it to Mo Ju or not, it's your decision." Chu Mei trembled as she held the book, thinking to herself, all this scheming was for him. Tooba Tao grabbed Chu Mei's arm and said, "Wait, actually, the simplest and most feasible plan is for me to escort you to meet Mo Ju. We'll give him the book, and if he has any other conditions, as long as I can fulfill them, I will. I just want to secure your freedom." Chu Mei agreed. "All right, I'll do as you say." Though Chu Mei agreed verbally, she had already made up her mind. "Your Highness, I'll always remember your sincerity, but I can't involve you. After tonight, it might be our final farewell." Chu Mei took the initiative. "You've been traveling for days. Let me serve you." Tooba Tao also said, "We've been married for a while but haven't consummated. Why don't we do it tonight?" Chu Mei agreed with a smile. "After tonight, we might not have another chance." Looking at the sleeping Tooba Tao, Chu Mei apologized. "Husband, I'll go report to the young master myself. I know you don't want me to take risks, but I don't want to involve you either. The medicine I just gave you has a sleep-inducing effect. It will let you sleep soundly until morning. I'm leaving now, husband. Take care." Chu Mei left, unaware of what was happening. But Tooba Shung opened his eyes on the bed. Tooba Shung recalled that Luo Jui had told him to find the real culprit who killed Kuyu and save Chu Mei. They needed to start with Chu Mei herself. Tooba Shung went to Luo Jui's quarters and left him a message. Luo Jui woke up startled. He learned that Tooba Shung was going to the shadow of darkness. Tooba Shung followed behind Chu Mei. "I won't let you take risks alone again." Chu Mei arrived at the Shadow of Darkness headquarters. She handed over the Wu Ho military strategy to Mo Ju. He praised her, saying, "You've done well with this task." Just as Chu Mei was about to thank him, she heard Mo Ju order his men to tie her up. Mo Ju smiled and leaned down to Chu Mei, saying, "But there's one thing that disappoints me. You actually fell in love with Tooba Tao. He was the one who led the army to destroy Jinling." Chu Mei defended herself. "Young master, I didn't." He couldn't believe her. "I warned you not to betray your motherland, not to betray your people. But you insisted on your own way. It seems I need to find a way to make you obey." Chu Mei continued, "Young master, if you want to punish me, I'll accept it, but I haven't betrayed my motherland." Mo Ju sneered at her continued denial. He was about to whip her when his whip was cut by Tooba Jun's hidden weapon. Chu Mei was surprised. "Your Highness, why are you here?" Tooba Shung helped her up. I told you, I won't let you take risks alone. I keep my word, Chu Mei said sadly. Your Highness, I must resolve this myself. It's dangerous here. You should leave quickly. Emoju laughed. Tooba Shung, you've been on the roof for so long. If I hadn't tortured her, were you planning not to show yourself? Tooba Tao asked. Since you knew I was here, if you wanted to see me, you could have just said so. Why trouble a woman? Emoju said sarcastically. Aren't you the one troubling her? She was a princess of Jinling, growing up in luxury. But you destroyed Jinling, forcing her to live like a dog, begging to survive. Tooba Tao frankly admitted, I don't deny destroying the country. But Chu Mei is the one I've chosen. What conditions do you have for letting her go? Emoju said he had considered releasing her. After all, she served me for 8 years. But she actually developed true feelings for you. Now I can't possibly let her go. Tooba Tao, you've been investigating Kuyu's death, right? I was the one who poisoned her. Tooba Tao said he had known that for a long time. Emoju swung his sword at Tooba Tao. So, what if you know? You can't save her. Now the woman you love most is also poisoned. You can't save her either. I want you to watch as the important people around you die painfully before your eyes. Only this can quench the hatred in my heart. The grudge of a destroyed country cannot be forgiven. Tooba Tao also raised his sword to meet him. Since you've repeatedly targeted my people, don't blame me for being ruthless. Chu Mei stepped forward to stop them. Your Highness, you can't. Tooba Tao asked her why not. Emoju laughed and said, of course it's for her brother. Emoju said to Chu Mei, kill Tooba Jun and I'll give you aging. Otherwise, if you two leave, aging dies. Chu Mei couldn't choose. Tooba Jun said to Chu Mei, trust me, you and your brother will both be saved. Emoju laughed and threw his hidden weapon, saying, none of you can be saved now. Chu Mei shielded Tooba Shung and was hit by the weapon. In the moment of injury, Chu Mei activated her illusion technique. Chu Mei trembled and said to Tooba Shung, the military book was fake. I said I wouldn't betray you, and I kept my word. Tooba Shung said, you fool. I don't care about the military book or the throne. I only want you. Chu Mei murmured, I know. I've never asked you for anything. Now there's one thing you must help with. I thought I could complete the task, then rescue my brother and return to you. But now I can't survive. But you must save my brother. Please. Tooba Jun interrupted. I will bring both of you back. Chu Mei smiled and said, I believe you. Then she fell unconscious. Tooba Jun recalled Kuyu's last words before dying. Having you as a friend, my life hasn't been in vain. I only ask that you take care of my sister. Don't let her end up like me. All the important people around him were truly hurt by Emoju. Tooba Shung grabbed a knife from the side and began fighting with Emoju. Emoju was ultimately no match for Tooba Shung. Just as Tooba Shung was about to finish him off, Emoju laughed and said, if I die, Chu Mei won't live either. The annihilation butterfly on Chu Mei's body. Only I have the antidote. If I die, it's not bad for her to accompany me. Tooba Shun said angrily, I'll kill you and dig 3 feet into the ground here to find the antidote. Emoju laughed and said, would I let you easily find something so important? My life may not matter to you, but are you willing to let her die with me? Tooba Jun grabbed Emoju's collar and said, hand over the antidote and I'll let you go. Emoju laughed and said, now you're the one asking me for something. You should have the attitude of someone making a request. Tooba Jun put away his knife and said, state your conditions. Emoju smiled and said, cripple your martial arts. Give me the real military book and I'll give you the antidote. Tooba Jun really wanted to agree. Chu Mei struggled to get up and said, Your Highness, you can't. Tooba Jun smiled and said, trading my martial arts skills for your life is worth it. Chu Mei whispered something in his ear. Emoju asked Tooba Jun if he had changed his mind. Tooba Jun said he would absolutely not go back on his word. Then he really used his inner force to cripple his martial arts. Emoju mockingly said, people say the Northern Qin Prince is a great hero, but he's just a fool blinded by a woman. You destroyed my Jinling, but a woman from Jinling has also ruined you. This retribution is truly satisfying. Emoju said, let Tooba Jun bring the military book within an hour, or Chu Mei will die. Tooba Jun took out the military book from his chest and said, to be prepared, I brought it with me early. Mo Ju said he would verify the book's authenticity before giving the antidote. Tuoba Sheng insisted on exchanging simultaneously. Just as Mo Ju was about to take it, Chu Mei canceled her illusion. The military book turned into a blade. Mo Ju was severely wounded in the abdomen by Tuoba Sheng. He looked at Tuoba Sheng in disbelief. Didn't you cripple your martial arts? Tuoba Sheng replied. Chu Mei cast an illusion on you when she blocked your sleeve arrow for me. Since then, everything you've seen has been an illusion. I never crippled my martial arts. Tuoba Sheng helped Chu Mei up. Mo Ju laughed sarcastically. I never thought the sharpest knife I honed would stab me instead. Chu Mei knelt before Mo Ju, tearfully confessing, no matter what, I can never repay your kindness in saving Aging's life and nurturing me for these 8 years. I had no choice but to use illusion on you. Indeed, I have repaid your kindness with resentment. I don't want the antidote for the annihilation butterfly anymore. I'll use my life to repay yours. But please tell me where Aging is. She's innocent. Mo Ju took out the antidote from his sleeve. With Jinling's fall, there are few surviving descendants of the Hellion royal family. I can't live on, and if you die too, the Hellion clan will truly have no heirs left. This is the antidote. Consider it payment for your years of service to me, or even now. As for Aging, she's in my secret chamber. You can take her away. Jinling may be gone, but at least the Hellion clan can still exist. Chu Mei walked out of the headquarters and sighed to Tuoba Sheng. Jinling is no more, but our homeland still exists. Only the country's name and ruler have changed, but the mountains and rivers have never changed. We still live the same way, still carry on the same legacy. Why were we so stubborn? Tuoba Tao also sighed. People kill their own kind for profit, but what do they gain in the end? But those things don't concern us anymore. Wherever you want to go, I'll take you there. Okay. Chu Mei threw herself into Tuoba Sheng's arms, smiling and saying, I can finally be Hellion One again, and stay by your side. Luo Jui watched the two embracing. He stopped Pei Xiaonan, who was hurrying over together with him. Let's just stay here. We shouldn't disturb the young couple's tender moment.